ABC Sport. AFL.
Gets set for the deafening roar. The pent-up emotion is about to flow.
Listen to the crowd roar.
AFL.
Fans are on their feet. Can't believe what they're about to see.
The 2021 AFL Premiership season.
Grandstand AFL.
We've got a game on our hands here. This is really good, fierce stuff.
This is a fantastic game of football.
Someone told me there was something wrong with our game. I can't see it today. Actually, it's a spectacular contest.
Dreamers, keep on dreaming.
Oh, the impossible angle.
Sinners, keep on sinning.
Don't go anywhere. The theatre of it all.
Winners, keep on winning.
And he dribbles one through and blows a kiss to the crowd.
Just a new day beginning.
Breaks the paint. Has a shot. Makes no mistake.
Sends it for home. A sublime strike.
Hard against the boundary. That's the classy finish.
That is sensational.
Can he slide it through for the finish? Yes, he can.
Wide angle on the paint of 50. May have just snuffed through an incredible goal. Tries to fend off. Got it. Takes him to ground. Back to that Louis. Second, don't argue.
Go to your best players. Go to your match winners.
Plays on, man down from behind. Holding the ball.
Perfect tackle.
It might be a game saver.
Dreamers, keep on dreaming.
Ricochets to Martin. You know the rest. The razzle-dazzle has arrived.
That is spectacular.
It's a new day, new day, new day beginning.
Osterberg kicks the goal. Welcome to the big time.
Oh, a great mark.
Outside of the boot, Eddie. Oh, he has kicked it. Makes no mistake. Goes back.
Straightens up towards goal and brings it back superbly. Here's that familiar roar. Double fist salute to the crowd. They might have a new fan favourite. He'll snap. He'll go. A ripper from Gripper. Snaps off a single step and bends it through.
Grandstand AFL.
The 2021 AFL Premiership season.
Dribbles it through and ends the game.
On ABC Radio and on ABC Sport Digital.
Carried on the Antarctic winds, the big freeze has travelled north of the border on the day that 27 years of connection comes to an end. Nathan Buckley will say farewell to Collingwood after nearly 500 games as a player and coach. There's a true sense of occasion for the Magpies who, despite their shortcomings, are coming off a spirited win and today get their opportunity against the competition's benchmark in the Melbourne Football Club. Welcome to the Sydney Cricket Ground on an overcast Sydney day. My name is Brett Sprigg, and to call the action along with me, it's a very good afternoon to Quentin Hull.
It's great to be a part of this important day in football. Having called Collingwood and Melbourne at the Gabba last year, it's extraordinary to think that here we are after all of these years between these two famous clubs. There were 238 games in Victoria in a row between Collingwood and Melbourne. And now this is the second in a row beyond the postcode, starting with 3. But walking to the ground, it's not quite the feel that you'd get at the MCG before this game, as you'd expect. I walked past the Sydney Roosters coach Trent Robinson and talented young back rower Victor Radley. So we've got that Sydney feel there. Seeing, of course, the D's and Pies Guernseys out around Driver Avenue, but also the orange and charcoal of the Giants and the red and white of the Swans with the BF7 beanie. So the locals are getting a part of this big day, and I think they do realise just the significance of it.
They certainly do. And as much as there is no substitute for a busy and roaring MCG, the idea of staging this game here doesn't have to be that unusual. The Danahers, as you know, Q, are a proud New South Wales family.
And played on this ground,
yes,
along with John Longmire, and I think Wayne Carey played that night when New South Wales had a famous Origin victory over Victoria. I remember watching from Wagga as a kid. But yes, the Ungary connection through the Danaher family is so strong. So nice that we can bring them back to their New South Wales roots here on a day which is so important for the Danahers.
Team news as far as these two teams are concerned. No late changes for the Demons. Just the one change from their team from last week. Ed Langdon returns from concussion. Jake Melksham has been omitted for the Pies. Chris Mayne and Beau McCreary both back in. Braden Sire out with that jaw injury. And Jay Rantel has been omitted, although retained in the squad as their medical sub today, and the Demons medical sub is Cade Chandler. The opening bounce here is about 45 minutes away. So during our pre-game chat coming up, we'll chat to Collingwood Vice President or Joint Vice President Paul Acuria to get his perspective on what's been a tumultuous 2021 so far. We'll keep an eye on what's happening with the Big Freeze slide at the MCG. We will chat to one of the sliders as well sometime between now and the opening bounce. So plenty for us to look forward to between now and the opening bounce. Your texts are always welcome, 0437 774 774. Our experts on Grandstand AFL, a dual premiership player and Norm Smith medalist, Ryan O'Keefe. Welcome.
Yes, great to be here. Very much looking forward to this.
And one of your premiership teammates, Ty Canelli. Nice to see you.
Yeah, it is great to be here on a day off. And as a footballer, I used to be jealous at this day of the two football clubs playing it. I often used to love watching it. Obviously up here in Sydney, but very jealous to not take part in it, and very appreciative to be able to take part in it today on radio.
As far as the overall interest, I think Sydney does feel a sense of responsibility here, as you sort of mentioned, Q, that during the week I have seen Aussie rules in radio programs or in papers where I wouldn't otherwise see Aussie rules. There are heaps of people out and about wearing the blue beanies. I was hoping it would be reflected in a big crowd here today. It's sort of slow going early on. They are famously late comers, Sydney sports fans, when they do turn out. But I think Sydney understands the significance of this event. We can't be at the MCG. That's a shame. Let's turn out in good numbers, or at least support the fundraising effort as well.
And obviously football people know of Neil Danaher and know of the Big Freeze, but it's a totally different market. As you know, we go to Melbourne, those that have blended sporting loves, and I'll mention big names in rugby league, and people from that part of the world won't even know who I'm talking about. It's exactly the same here in Sydney. This is Melbourne's day, but luckily we still get the coverage of the slide and the Big Freeze at the MCG. We didn't have that last year, and I mean, I got very used to it. You came up at the end of last year. Yep. You just can't make Brisbane Melbourne. You can't make Sydney Melbourne. As good as Dreamtime in Perth was, it's not the G. That's a great venue, but every part of this country can't reflect what the MCG is on the big days. So you just got to be yourself.
But Melbourne's never going to lose that in terms of the people and the awareness. But what it is doing, it's spreading its awareness and reach to different parts of the country. So I know there's a lot of people that mightn't turn up here, but they're having barbecues and that, people, and they're enjoying the game. They've got the beanies, and the awareness is growing. So it's different. The culture, especially here in the northern states, is not everyone rugs up and let's go to the MCG, but people are watching the footy, and they'll be watching the slide and they'll be celebrating it, but just in a different way.
Yeah, that's right. And nor do we want it to be like Melbourne. That's the best thing about this football. The game of AFL, it's unique to everyone. I'm an Irishman that's played the game, came from the other side of the world. The game's unique. We're not trying to replicate what happened in Melbourne, but we're spreading the game. I look at what's happened to myself in 22 years since I've came to Sydney. The growth of AFL has been enormous.
And your Australian accent, I mean, I just can't get over it, Ty.
And that's changing every day. So my mom and my three kids trying to take me off. It's quite funny. But, that's what's great about the game, the uniqueness of it all. And Sydney will do it their way. And you're right, Ryan. There's a lot of people I know as well that are having barbecues, and that's what they do in Sydney, And Sydney loves a sellout.
Yeah,
loves coming to a sellout, whether it's a musical or whether it's in sport. That's what Sydney does very, very well. And unfortunately, this is not going to be a sellout, but they do appreciate, obviously, the Danaher connection and what he's going through personally.
And this is a game, Spriggy, that the Melbourne Footy Club was lucky to hang on to 10 years ago. People forget. They were talking about, because Melbourne was in such a poor state on and off the field, we can't afford to give Queen's Birthday Monday top billing to a club that's just no good. And look at what this caused, and now the footy club on the field has done.
Just as far as our first guest to join us very shortly, the slide so far. So Shane Crawford, the Hawthorn champion, he's gone down as down the slide as the Queen. Daisy Pearce as Bluey. Jeff Farmer, rather appropriately, went down the slide as a wizard, although he stripped off his big wizard's cloak and went down in Budgie Smugglers. There was a group of them that jumped in at Icebergs, at Bondi Icebergs just down the road. Jack Viney, Jeremy Howe among them. Sarah Jones from Fox Footy, she went down as Mary Poppins. Razor Ray Chamberlain went as Elton John in the LA Dodgers, the sparkly LA Dodgers kit with the big glasses and everything. Craig Bellamy, the Melbourne Storm master coach, wasn't at the MCG. He did his up on the Sunshine Coast, where the Storm's temporary base is. He was Elsa from Frozen at the request of one of his grandkids. So great work, Craig Bellamy. Shani Norda, perhaps
Let It Go is actually good for Craig. It's not very good.
Yes. Shani Norda, who perhaps is best known as Shani Leighton, the champion netballer and AFLW player, went as some sort of rapper. She got the big sort of gold chain, the tracksuit, and we've just seen Billy Brownless go down
in the Assumption jumper.
The Assumption jumper.
I think that's something to do with the Danaher's schooling or something.
Was Shani Leighton Missy Elliott or something like that?
Oh, probably something like that. Yeah.
I must admit, we were sort of just getting ready to go on air, and we saw this bling and her doing dance moves, and thought, yep, what a character she is.
So, just as far as that's concerned, so we'll talk more about, I guess, the Nathan Buckley and what he means to Collingwood on this historic day. He's been gifted a patch of turf by the SCG Trust. Very quickly as well, the football flavour to the Queen's birthday honours.
Sorry, he's been given a gifted patch of...
Yeah, I'll come back to this. This is...
Where's ours, Tyke?
It's a little bizarre, but we'll come back to it. Nonetheless deserved.
Right, sorry.
Just on the Queen's birthday honours, and perhaps most significantly, Neil Danaher has been elevated to an AO, an Officer of the Order of Australia. Erin Phillips was awarded an OAM. Bet Goddard, someone who's worked with us here on Grandstand, a premiership coach with the Adelaide Crows in the AFLW, now in charge of Hawthorn. She's received an OAM. Jan Cooper, another of the key minds, influential in the development of the AFLW competition, also an OAM. Michael Long, for service to Australian rules football and the Indigenous community, and founder and director of the Michael Long Foundation, such a key part of Dreamtime, the Dreamtime game, which we saw last week. Can't forget Charlie King, our good friend and colleague, Quentin, up in Darwin. He's been awarded an AM, so great work for Charlie. And Tony Cochrane, the, shall we say, outspoken chairman of the Gold Coast Suns, also with an AM honour. So there you go.
Yep. And just another shout out to Charlie listening. He's got such a plethora of people. You speak to him around the country and you think, oh, have you ever called a game with Charlie King? And one of the great highlights was going to Alice a couple of years ago and Sir Doug Nicholls round and getting to call with Charlie in the Red Centre. So good on you, mate. Absolute pleasure to have been a friend and colleague, so well done you.
You're on Grandstand AFL live from the Sydney Cricket Ground. Brett Sprigg alongside Quentin Hull, Ryan O'Keefe and Ty Kennelly, and there's no question that 2021 has been a challenging time for the Collingwood Football Club. It's seen the departure of their long-time president, Eddie Maguire, after the release of the Do Better report found significant cultural shortcomings. There's a boardroom challenge playing out in the interim, and as we know, they'll farewell Nathan Buckley as coach today, which brings to an end his long association with the club. One of their former players, he's a dual best and fairest and now joint vice president of the Collingwood Football Club, Paul Licuria, joins us on Grandstand AFL pre-game. Paul, welcome.
Good afternoon, guys.
I want to firstly talk about this occasion, the Queen's birthday game, and what it means for Collingwood to be a part of something like this, which you've done consistently now for 20 years. How important is that for the football club?
Yeah, look, it's extremely important for us. I mean, we've played such a massive role in it. You know, I remember playing in it 20 years ago. You know, we'd get sort of 80, 90,000 people at the G, and it was arguably one of the biggest games of the year alongside Anzac Day. I'm not counting finals, of course. So it's really important for us, and again, such a great cause and creating a lot of conversation across the country.
The sense of occasion is not lost on any of us. What does Nathan Buckley mean to you personally, and what does he mean to this football club?
Yeah, look, he's an absolute gentleman, Bucks. I mean, we could be here all day going through his highlights and accolades. He's probably won just about almost every award but a premiership. He was terrific teammate, terrific captain for us, and has played a significant role in coaching side over the last 9-10 years. So he's a real ambassador of our football club. You know, I'm sure you guys sort of heard him speak during the week. Just the way he conducted himself as a real gentleman. So it's sad for a lot of people at Collingwood and of course supporters across the country.
Are you hopeful that he'll remain on good terms with the club and perhaps have some sort of informal involvement in the club again in the future?
Look, hopeful probably isn't the word, because I know that, where the way that it ended in the best possible scenario that it could. And I was telling someone during the week, I could see Nathan, in 2-3 weeks' time coming to the footy and sitting next to Nathan and talking about players and the game, So he's look, it's certainly no hard feelings between the club or Nathan, and he could definitely play an important role for us in the future.
Paul, there's clearly an appetite for change in the broader throng at Collingwood if the petitions and all that, the rest of it are taken into account. I know there's a verification process playing out here with the David Hatley petition to force the EGM, but what's the overall message you want to send to your members and fans as far as the perception of instability? What are you working towards to create a more stable club?
Yeah, well, I think you hit it on the head there, mate. It's the perception, and I reckon there's a couple of hidden agendas, just with trying to get a disruption type of message across, because that's not the case at all. I can honestly say on the board's extremely united. Of course, there's always going to be some challenging conversations across the board table, but you want that as long as it's respectful, and that's exactly how it is. We have our support, 100% support behind Mark Corder as president. Anyone who's going to take over Eddie Maguire had massive, shoes to fill, and Mark's very different than Ned. Obviously, that doesn't not the big PR sort of media personality, but very, very good behind the scenes around governance, and that's something that the club needs. So in terms of the perception being there's disruption, I could honestly say that's not the case at all. There's obviously we haven't been playing as well as we like on the footy field, and there's a fair bit of work to do there. We had an incident, we had probably poorly communicated around the trade period last year, but that's it's the guys are working extremely hard behind the scenes. But in terms of the word disruption that I keep hearing, I find it a little bit offensive, to be honest. We are united. We've always been united at Collingwood. So I'm really excited about the future. As hard as the week's been with Nathan's departure, we've got a great young list of guys who are starting to get a fair bit of some games underneath them and starting to develop personally and on the field. So it's really exciting for the club moving forward.
Paul, it's Quentin Hull here. The timing is very coincidental. So what a portion of Nathan's exit do we, in respect, put down to the lack of stability at board level at the club?
I actually don't put it, and I'm speaking genuinely from the heart. It's, again, there's no lack of stability from our board, and I'm not just sort of being a board member and saying a cliche. It's not that at all. I think it's been perceived. I certainly think there's a bit of an agenda. It's not the case at all. It's been very, very united. Nathan, the exit of Nathan was more about where the club's at, where we need to go, and as Nathan got the passion and the desire to commit for the next 2 to 5 years.
I just want to change tack for a moment and ask about the guy himself. The thing that intrigues me and the footy public about Nathan Buckley, for someone that knows him so well, Paul, where was the moment, the series of moments, the trigger points that the intense competitor became the vulnerable, the more introspective Nathan Buckley that we see today?
Look, he's always been really, really, really sort of calculated in terms of the way he's thinking and personally and around the game. Like I remember playing with him. I actually played against him one year. I was playing for the Swans and I had to tag him, and he gave me a good old touch up in the first quarter, and I got moved off him straight away. But he was super, super competitive, as we all know, on the field and even off the field. And in terms of his preparation was the best I've ever seen. And without a doubt, he made a lot of players be better footballers, just the way that he handled himself. I think there was some question around his leadership style. He put a lot of work on that. Transitioning into coaching, he knew as a coach, I guess his competitiveness had to change focus and angle. It was more about the team than trying to coach a player. It was more about how do we make you a better player to the team. So he's certainly changed a lot throughout his communication with players, but just very, very calculated and very thoughtful in terms of he's really good at understanding a question and sort of summarising it in his head before he gives an answer. He's a shoot from the hips bucks. He's just really, really matured over the years, and he's certainly got a lot more to give football. That's for sure.
Yeah, Licker, Ryan O'Keefe here, mate. Look, Look, what's done is done, and you guys have made your decision, and Bucks is moving on. So I don't want to live in the past. I want to look at the future. What's the next sort of coach you're thinking that needs to coach the Collingwood Football Club? Is it an established someone that's been in the game before, or are you looking to develop or a newer coach? Some progressive, more, I suppose, up-to-date ideas or anything like that? What's the sort of direction Collingwood's going to take with their next coach?
Mate, that's a good question, Keith. We look, we spoke about it last week, and everyone's got their own sort of individual ideas, and particularly the papers in Melbourne. They're sort of shooting out 3 or 4 different names that continually come up, and they're a lot more mature age coaches that have had some experience and had some success. I can honestly say, and it's been, and we said this last week, just out of respect for Bucks, that we weren't going to get together and start talking about the next coach. We haven't completed the coaching committee that's going to put together criteria and go out and interview coaches. And it was always, let's wait, let's give Bucks the respects he deserves. We'll play out today's game, and then we'll get together probably the next 2 days and put that together. In terms of coaches, I think it's, one thing's for sure, that we'll run a proper formal process. And to be honest, speaking on behalf of myself, it's not like the biggest name of footy has to come to Collingwood. I think if we can run the process, understand the needs of Collingwood and what's best for Collingwood Footy Club, whether it's a big name or not, I think we'll find the right person.
Paul, I know you've mentioned only recently that you practically begged Eddie Maguire not to resign. Perhaps that was to emphasise that you didn't have a hand in that happening and sort of underline how good your relationship is with Eddie. But can you understand why that was the right thing for the football club?
Look, there is... Obviously, Eddie's been there, was at the club an extreme long time as president, and I got to Collingwood, my first training session at Collingwood. I left Sydney and got there, and I remember my first day thinking, what have I done? I've left an amazing football club here in Sydney, and I got to my first training session at Collingwood. I actually trained in the clothes that I rocked up at training in. We had no training tops, and the footies were like the size of soccer balls. And then come along Eddie Maguire, and then a year later, Mick Moldhouse. It created an enormous amount of change the club needed. So he did such an amazing job. There was Ed met with we did the review in 2017-18. Part of the review was that the board had been there for a long time, and we had to create some change there. And Pete Murphy and Eddie Maguire worked really closely together to create a transition for Eddie's exit as well, which could be, at that point, was like 2 to 3 to 5 years, but there was a time we all knew that was going to happen, and it had to happen, right? It couldn't be there forever. So, but yeah, look, I guess it was a shame in the way that it happened. I come off, we had the Trelaw trade issue, we had a Dubia report, and then Eddie Maguire sort of resigned. So I can understand how people can say, well, there's a disruption there, but the way it was, we didn't know. I certainly didn't know that he was going to resign until 15 minutes beforehand, and that's when I made the call to Ed to say, mate, you've still got a lot to handle. He was going to retire and resign at the end of the year anyway, and he's got a major role to play at the club. So it was disappointing, in terms of him moving on. Was a plan put in place a little while ago, and I guess the dismount just wasn't as elegant as we would have liked.
Paul, best of luck for the Pies today. You're watching from home?
Oh, I've flown up, actually. I've come up to...
okay.
I've got a fair bit of work up here to do, so I'll be heading to the ground now and sitting back and just enjoying the game.
Enjoy that. Appreciate your time.
No worries, guys. Thank you very much for your time. Bye-bye.
Paul Licuria, Joint Vice President of the Collingwood Football Club. And just to transition from the rather serious conversation about the overall feel of the Pies and everything else, Gillon McLachlan, the AFL CEO, has just gone down the Big Freeze slide dressed as Meatloaf as a nod to one of the more regrettable, pre-match entertainments in recent living memory.
You're very kind. More regrettable, the most regrettable decision of pre-game entertainment made.
But you know what, though? We all make mistakes in life, and I think it was a pivotal point that AFL learned from it. Now, let's get good Australian talent to be our entertainment.
Yeah, so
that's what we do. Exactly. So
Shepherd at the Gabba was outstanding.
It was outstanding. So if we didn't have the Meatloaf saga, we wouldn't be able to produce all this, have our best, we've got some seriously talented artists in Australia. Let's use them.
It's a pretty expensive mistake.
They pay him a lot, don't they?
Pay him a lot of money for international stars to come out here.
Hey, it's not the first expensive mistake a company's made.
Just as far as the history of this game. So the Queen's Birthday game became an annual fixture on the Monday public holiday in 2001. In that time, the Magpies have won 12, Melbourne 6, and there's been one draw. It didn't happen last year due to the COVID shutdown. You mentioned you called the game. They played sort of around the same time.
It was a Saturday twilight game in misty rain at the Gabba.
Yes. So back in 2019, Collingwood won that by 41 points. Jordan Ngoe and Will Hoskin-Elliott each kicked 3. Adam Treloar had 34 disposals and was awarded the Queen's Birthday Medal. The previous year, Big Mason Cox, who's not playing today, he's in their emergencies. He kicked 5, got the 3 Brownlow votes as well. So Collingwood have won the 2 most recent Queen's Birthday games. Melbourne's most recent win, 2017, when Christian Petrarca was best on ground.
I'd love to ask Ryan and Tig, what value emotion in football? This is the day, surely, where we can weigh it up. We have an out-and-out humming competition leader. Only a controversial call at the Adelaide Oval seems to have been the difference between them being 12 and zip and 11 and 1. And here, one of the most revered names at one of the biggest sporting organisations in the country, struggling incredibly, and one of its favourite sons is falling on his sword, so to speak, on this day. So there is the football sense of Collingwood is no hope today.
But how often do you see when a coach gets pushed, resigned, sacked, however you want to wrap it up and package it?
And you guys have been in those rooms, so what's it like?
It's like the shackles have been released.
I'm a romantic. Like I'm a very emotional person. I played with emotion. It does get you through components of football and components of game when it's difficult. And what Ryan's saying is the players in there will be wound right up, knowing what this bloke has given to the football club. And that's Collingwood footballers I'm talking about. The question that you have is, have they got enough ability to do it against a team that has been the best team in the competition all year? If it was anyone else, I'd give them a better shot. But I just think where Melbourne are playing, they'll try and take the emotion out of Collingwood by matching it with emotion themselves straight away. They've got to match it emotionally. It's Neil Danner. Flip it back on your own football club. Forget about Nathan Buckley. If I was coaching Melbourne, I'm going, you know what? We've got enough emotion to play with. And you're back in your process as far as the Melbourne Football Club is concerned and what they've done over the past 12 weeks. But it will give them a lift. I have no doubt about it. I'd love to be a player in that rooms for a bloke that's been given so much for your football club, and the way it's ended, it's not great, and he hasn't had a whole lot to say in the end, really. And interesting with Licker saying, I really was thinking of probing a bit further about the conversation they had with Bucks. Are you willing to hang around for another 5 years? I don't think they had that conversation with Bucks, because if they did, you'd give it to him. He's one of the best coaches in the country. So I don't think they had the conversation with him. Are you willing to hang around and bring this group back up into finals? It's probably going to be a 5-year process. So, and that's probably where the separation will come with the football club for someone that's been so loved and loved the football club. Is it a bad breakup, basically? Because if he was asked that question, I'm sure he would have said, yeah, I'll put my hands up and I'll stay here for 5 years. But as back to your question, it's going to play a big part. Melbourne have to adapt early with the emotion themselves.
I don't know. I think Melbourne will be more businesslike. They're on a journey this year. They'll shop early to beat the rush. If they get, I reckon Goody's, he'll come out and say, look, they're going to come out huffing and puffing. But who knows what the emotion's going to play. Like if Bucks wasn't here and he'd been, moved on during the week and the new caretaker coach, I'd say the shackles would be there. But I don't know. He's part of the breakup because some of the players weren't happy with the situation. I don't know. I'm not in there, so. There's going to be emotion coming out of the Collingwood, but I think Melbourne, the way they've gone about their business this year, is very like, yep, this is us. We've got our process. Collingwood's going to come out of emotion. Let's bang it early on the head, and then we'll get back to business.
We'll talk more about that process as we get closer to the bounce down with the preview coming up. The immediate game preview, the opening bounce in about 20 minutes' time. No late changes for the D's or the Pies. The banner, the joint banner, has been run out there. There's a nice story behind that as well, which we'll talk about coming up very shortly. But we are on ABC Radio, News Radio and ABC Sport Digital. Queen's Birthday Clash coming up next here on Grandstand AFL.
In winter, echidnas are snuggled up in their little burrows. You can snuggle in too with Bluey on ABC iView.
Okay, ready?
ready. I'm so excited. Or Doctor Who, or The Wonder Gang, or David Attenborough, or The Investigators.
It's always very exciting.
Don't be surprised by the selection of jaw-dropping, mind-blowing, snuggle-worthy family favourites.
Unexpected.
I know. Wow. Stream for free now on ABC iView.
The 2021 AFL Premiership season on ABC Radio and on ABC Sport Digital.
Big Freeze 7, which accompanies the traditional Queen's Birthday clash. There's nothing traditional about our venue, at least not in a football sense for these two sides. We are live here at the Sydney Cricket Ground. Brett Sprigg is my name, alongside Quentin Hull to call the action. Welcome to those parts of our audience that have just joined us on Grandstand AFL. I mentioned it was an overcast day a little earlier. Some blue sky showing through the light clouds off to the east above the ocean, and the fans still filing in here as well. Plenty of blue beanies to be seen to mark Big Freeze 7. We've had the big slide. We hope to speak to one of the sliders shortly, who I think has fans in all parts of Australia. I'm reliably informed, by the way, just on the extra bit of information about the costumes, that Billy Brownless wore the Assumption because he went to Assumption College, as did the Danahers, and Shani Norda was Vanilla Ice. There you go. That was the sort of the vintage I was going for as far as the hip-hop was concerned. Team news here. No late changes. Medical subs will be Cade Chandler for Melbourne and Jay Rantel for the Pies. Ty Kennelly and Ryan O'Keefe, our experts on Grandstand AFL. Quentin Hull, we're talking about Nathan Buckley, I suppose, and his involvement coming to an end today. And he's one of those, look at 27 years, it's a long time. There would be a lot of people, Collingwood fans or even just fans of other clubs, that don't know a Collingwood football club without Nathan Buckley. It was the same thing when, say, Ricky Ponting retired from international cricket. I felt that as a cricket fan, that I hadn't seen an Australian team without Ricky Ponting. He's one of those players. He is synonymous with that football club, albeit began his career somewhere else, the Bears. But it is a very special day for them.
Oh, and of course, a Port Adelaide premiership player as a teenager before he came into, as it was then, sort of VFL with the Brisbane Bears, before he got traded to Collingwood in the deal which saw Craig Starcevich, one of our own, go from Collingwood to Brisbane. But just having a look at even this playing list, and you think of Scott Pendlebury's standing at Collingwood. He's the man that's played for Collingwood more times than any other, and he's the only guy out there who actually has experience putting on the Collingwood strip with his coach. So he played with Bucks in his first year and a half, and now, of course, has been coached with him by him for so many years. These are two names that will go down in annals right at the top of one of the most historic honour boards that Australian sport has. So it's as you mentioned, it's a real moment in time that happens to be here in Sydney because of the COVID lockdown in Melbourne. So the emotion that we spoke about a moment ago with Ryan O'Keefe and Ty Kennelly, it's not just an emotional day for the players. This is an emotional day for a football club which has seen two of its biggest ever figures leave the main posts in the last 3 or 4 months.
The Big Freeze cause as well is the other thing. Obviously, Neil Danaher, it's such a huge part of this Queen's birthday occasion. So I think they said something like, $50 million all up over the course of, since we began the Fight MND cause. I think they've got $500,000 from beanies alone this year. They want to get $2 million today by the time it's all said and done, the Savo. It's such a vital thread, which is really reinvigorated the Queen's birthday game. You mentioned the fact that Melbourne were down and out years ago, uncompetitive against most sides. Well, they're certainly up and about now. Top of the ladder, of course, 11-1 here against the Pies, who are currently 16th. But Neil Danaher deserves to be commended, doesn't he, Ryan and Ty, for everything he's done for the cause?
Oh, it's fantastic. And, yeah, this course is a bit close to my heart too, as my uncle's got MMD. So, it's amazing just what Neil has done and brought awareness, and it was a disease or something that no one probably ever knew about until Neil come up and has pushed so hard for it, and that's what you love about football or sports is the community and the connection that it has, and it touches so many people. So look, and I think that's everyone that's part of this platform is that, you know, it's a real honour that we get to be able to share and put awareness to some really, really good causes out there and support and have a real community feel. So, look, you know, beanies off to Neil and what he's done. And, look, hopefully we find something to be able to help this this shocking disease. And I firsthand know how bad it is and what it can do.
Yeah, well said, Ryan. You know, when you think of Neil Danner, it's the bravery, you know, that I see every time I see him interviewed, and the push that he's continuing to raise awareness for this cause. It's just the bravery of the man, and to see what he's done, and one person has done it. And it's a great story, a great lesson for any young kid or anyone coming through. The things that you can do as an individual is very impressive.
The umpires have walked out in their beanies as well. The banner is on the ground. Now, it's a joint banner. The Sydney Swans banner squad helped make the joint banner, which the Pies and the Demons will run through together. Obviously, the Melbourne banner squad couldn't leave Victoria, so they've helped out and put it together. If that's not a sign of the footy community pulling together, I'm not sure what is. Right, we've tracked down one of our sliders. He played 249 games, 118 of which at the Melbourne Football Club. He played under Neil Danaher in the grand final of 2000, and Fremantle fans would fondly remember the man they called the Wizard as well. Jeffrey Farmer can join us on Grandstand AFL across Australia. Jeff, welcome.
Hello, thank you very much for having me.
How was the slide experience? I reckon you stripped right off. You had the Wizard's cloak on and the beard, and then you just went budgie smugglers. How was the slide for you?
Look, mate, it was awesome. Obviously, I played a lot of football, but I was never as much nervous to go down the slide. So, great cause, great to be a part of, mate. And, you know, hopefully and then everyone gets behind it, supports it like they've always done in the past, and we raised a lot of money.
As Collingwood make their way out onto the SCG here, the opening bounce is 14 minutes away. How did the offer come to you? How did you find out that you were doing the slide? And obviously you would have said yes straight away, but how did you find out?
Yeah, look, I'll tell you a little quick funny story. On a Monday, I'll get a text message from someone that they wanted to contact me, and I'd forgotten to get back to them. Come Thursday, I'll get a text message again from someone that says, "Oh, congratulations, Jeff. Thank you for accepting the nomination." And I haven't spoken to anyone at all, and I don't know what's going on. I don't know if this is a prank, but yeah, like you said, mate, as soon as you know, it came forward, in the end, there was no other answer than yes. You know, I've got a lot of time, a lot of love, and a lot of respect for Neil Danaher and the cause. You know, everyone continue year to year to back it, support it, and donate. You know, hopefully, fingers crossed, we're not too far away from finding a cure.
Look, you only had the budgies on, Jeff. It's Quentin Hull here. What's your diet been like in your gym regime the last couple of weeks? It looks like you prepped well.
Yeah, look, I'd love to be able to say I've been training hard, but sadly, in the end, I've got possibly 3 beautiful young kids that I've got to chase around. So that's probably the only cardio work I do, to be honest. But, yeah, look, in the end, I try and do my best to look after myself.
Oh, yeah, very humble. You flexed to the... I just wish that there was a full house there today. The way you gave the flex to the...
Yeah, Jeffrey Takinelli, you were never that humble when I used to play against you. You used to give me that hard a time.
Oh, well, you were too fast for me anyway, brother. You know what I mean? The Irish connection, mate. It's very, very, very strong.
Obviously, as a former player of Neil's, you'd have a good idea of what makes him so respected and revered. Obviously, he's still doing great things for the Fight MND cause. But what was he like as a coach?
Yeah, look, when he first came to the football club, mate, it didn't matter whether you're a first-game player, 100, 200-game player, you know, treated everyone the same. He had expectations which were very, very high, what he expected from you as an individual and as a team. You know, look, I've given little insights on, you know, when you weren't doing the right thing, mate, he certainly let you know, you know, the old Wizard, you missed 2 tackles, but you're going all right. Still burns in my ear to this day. But, you know, the players love him, mate. There was a respect and love that sort of featured all the way through his career and our career. You know, I'm very, very proud to be a part of the Neil Danaher army, and obviously the football club holds Neil in high regard as, you know, no doubt a legend of our football club.
I mentioned that Freo fans would remember everything you did so well, but equally so the D's fans. Do you enjoy following Melbourne and seeing what they're doing at the moment, being a real contender?
Yeah, look, I've, you know, been very, very proud, like a lot of us, you know, watching them go about their business. right the way through from each line, back line, midfield and forward line is just phenomenal the way that they're going about. The brand of football that they're playing, they're exciting to watch, ruthless as well, and they're very serious contenders. I said to a few people that Geelong is the next big test to really see where they're at and get a gauge. But at this stage, mate, everyone should be very, very excited and looking forward to, what they can do and hopefully, those finals when they come this way.
Jeff, just lastly, you mentioned your kids. Your son Kobe, who was draft eligible last year, back playing Colts at Swan Districts now. Can we expect to see him coming through the next couple of years?
Yeah, look, mate, he was very humbled and obviously as a father, mate, and a former player at Melbourne, I'm very proud of the opportunity that he got to come over and train with the boys, rub shoulders with people that he watched on TV and get a taste of, what you'd sort of expect and, the life of an AFL footballer. Fingers crossed, mate, and then I hope he goes back and plays some very good football and hopefully he will nominate and get the opportunity to be able to fulfil his dream as an AFL player one day. Like a lot of other young kids, it's been tough with this COVID and football seasons have sort of been cancelled and it's made it hard for a lot of people to be able to get their name out there, and show their wares. So fingers crossed he's one of the many that get an opportunity at the end of the year.
Jeff, well done. Great stuff on the slide and we appreciate your time on Grandstand AFL.
Thank you very much, boys. Take care and go D's.
Jeff, the Wizard Farmer, joining us on Grandstand AFL across Australia. The grand old flag is fluttering above the members' stand here at the SCG. Both teams are out there and they will walk side by side. Max Gawn and Scott Pendlebury lead their respective teams through the joint banner which was put together by the Sydney banner team. D's and Pies unite in the fight against MND. Big Freeze 7 coming up in just a matter of moments here at the Sydney Cricket Ground. You've got Brett Sprigg alongside Quentin Hull, Ryan O'Keefe, Ty Kennelly. I mentioned no late changes. The issue here was going to be for Tom McDonald. His wife is due to give birth to their second child mid-next week, so he was sort of just waiting on standby as to whether he'd have to be required back there. Jake Lever made the revelation to us last week post-game that his wife was willing to move the birth and everything up into a potential hub, and God forbid we're not going to get there, hopefully anyway. The bye is next week, so at least they're nice and safe at least.
Second child, you're right. He's there for the first one. Sorry, move on. You know what it's all about.
That's peer pressure I've ever heard, isn't it? Hey, look, Jake said his wife's going to move. Like, come on, let me play it up.
It seems as though the Pies, just reflecting on their win against Adelaide last week, they used the corridor a little bit more. Yep. They improved their transition out of defence. Certainly got Jamie Elliott involved. He kicked 6 goals. The Demons, we talk about their balls in their Petrarca, Brayshaw, Oliver. But defensively, the way they set up behind the ball and then slingshot their way forward, kind of similar to the way the Pies played last week. What do you see in these two teams, Ryan O'Keefe, firstly?
Look, I think Melbourne have been just so clinical this year. They've obviously all got on the same page. They've got a great system, a great plan, and it starts from their captain. Their captain's had another great year and led from the front. But what Melbourne have brought is this hard running, but this hard contested defence. Like, their defence has been absolutely unbelievable this year. So, look, I think they've just really got all the pieces to their puzzle put together, and they're all on the same page. Probably Collingwood's probably been a little bit disappointing. Look, I think they've got absolute immense talent, and they've got some really, really good players, but it just hasn't come together, hasn't synced.
They have shifted the last 3 weeks.
What's gone wrong?
They have shifted. They have changed the last 3 weeks. And Buckley came out and said that about a month ago, saying they wanted to be better defensively. And hence they got the result. They lost by a point. Port Adelaide lost to Geelong by 10 points in the win against the Crows. So their last 3 weeks have been okay from a Collingwood perspective, the way they've played. But to beat Melbourne, you have to win the contested footy and the clearance, because they're set up so well defensively. If they're going forward with the ball, they are the best defensive team in the competition. And once they get territory and go forward, they're set up so well, hence the number one in the competition defensively. You can't get the ball out against them. And the only way of doing that is winning the ball at the source by you getting the ball going forward, which allows you to set up defensively. But also, like I said last week, there's a bloke that had kicked 6 goals in Jamie Elliott, and he's a very hard matchup forward. He's on the ground, he's just as good in the high, because he can, and high ball, he can mark it. So that's what they've done. But they have changed things the last 3 weeks, Bucks, and the coach, and that's why he's such an impressive coach. and they have shifted, and it's been a big shift for them.
Yeah, but they had to change because they'll go on that badly. Like you don't have to be a great coach to realise, hang on, something's not working here. So, look we've spoken.
Yeah, but the players listened and players adapted, and that my point being that the players actually still wanted Bucksy to be a coach.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think it's a change that needed an all change, like that institutionalised sort of thing. There's a reason why he's whether he's realised that, hey, I haven't got the buy-in from the players, or if it's come from the top down. I think it seems like it's a pretty admirable, breakup. But I think everyone's realised, hey, we need a change. We need something different if we're going to get the best out of this list.
Do you think we'll see Pendlebury back half again today?
I don't know. I reckon Bucks might just say, hey, guys, let's all play to our strengths and go out there and just play. It's my last game, just go for it.
In the pre-game warm-up, I've just been watching him. He's been working off Darcy Cameron, so unlikely the way he's been working as an inside mid, but I was thinking about that myself on the way in.
0437 774 774, keeping you company on this Queen's Birthday Monday right across Australia through ABC Radio, News Radio, ABC Sport Digital. Melbourne Collingwood coming up in a few moments' time.
And a big shout out to you if you are at work today, because the majority of the country is.
Yep.
Sydney, of course, and New South Wales not. Melbourne and Victoria not. But your home state at work today. My state of residence at work today. So as much as it is a holiday Monday for many, it's a work Monday for some.
If you've got us in the ears at the office desk or something, give us a shout out. 0437 774 774. David from South Freo, speaking of which, absolute Starbucks. Loved that he actually went to Brisbane for the year, then went to where he wanted to. Lots of other players signed Form 4s. Ooh, the old Form 4. They never went. Ironically, lost the grand final to them. Good on you, David. 0437 774 774. Ty Connelly and Ryan O'Keefe, give us your final couple of points then as far as key matchups, where this game is won and lost as we get closer to the opening bounce here at the Sydney Cricket Ground.
Look, I think Melbourne's just going to be too good. Look, yeah, there might be a bit of emotion and some heat and intensity from the get-go, but I think Melbourne will settle early. They'll get to business. It starts from the middle from Gawn. Petrarca's probably the most improved player out of their list. He's always had immense talent and potential, but I think he's actually starting to live up to it. So, you'd see him and Pendlebury going head-to-head there in the middle. But, look, I just think the Ds are just too well balanced across the whole field. And I think, it might be a tight first quarter, but as the game gets on, Melbourne will just start running away with it.
Yeah, I'm going to go for Collingwood for an upset. I'm going to go with the emotional side of it, that it's going to get them over the line. I'm an emotional bloke, so go with that over my head. But they've got a lot to play for, obviously, Collingwood. Like we said, Ryan touched on beforehand, when there is a coach has decided to move on or has been sacked, the players do release the shackles a small bit and they play a lot freer, because it's like a new beginning now. Well, you know what? I got a new coach, new opportunities, new contracts. Everything opens up and your brain just frees up more as a footballer, and you play a lot freer. And that's what you're hoping that Collingwood and Nathan Buckley will get from his team.
Well, look, if Adelaide can beat Melbourne in Adelaide, surely Collingwood's got a chance of beating Melbourne at the SCG.
They did beat Adelaide too.
They're the lineal champion.
Well, everyone's got a chance. It's a two-horse race. Of course they can. But
I think.
Well, we saw what Hawthorn did to Sydney. So things happen.
Yeah.
And it's been a strange roll into football.
And things are always,
that's what we love about the game.
The great Lee Matthews, among others, used the saying, things are never as bad or as good as they seem. But at Collingwood, they're always worse than they seem, or better than they seem. Because it is Collingwood, because we've seen Eddie go, and then Bucks go. People are looking at the pillars of this organisation fall around a team that is 3-9. But if you've got Pendlebury, if you've got Sidebottom, if you've got De Goey, etc., Melbourne's going great, that's for sure. But this is a team that you and I, Spriggy, called in the second week of the finals last year.
Let's see if things are better or worse as they seem downstairs. Sophie Clappin on the boundary. What's it like down there, Soph?
Well, guys, it's definitely not nearly as cold as it has been here in Sydney this week, and the grey clouds are parting to blue skies, so it's pretty good conditions. Looking forward to today's clash. And look, it may not be the MCG either, but the crowd is slowly filling, and it's fantastic to see so many big Freeze beanies around the footy community, certainly uniting for such an important cause. So going to be a great game. No late changes for either side. As you mentioned, Spriggy, Melbourne's medical sub is Kay Chandler, and Collingwood have Jay Rantel today.
Certainly right, Soph. We'll check in throughout the Arvo. Scott Pendlebury won the toss, and the Pies will kick to the southern or Randwick end, the right of our broadcast position. Fans are on the eastern side of the ground in the O'Reilly stand, the Victor Trumper stand, and sort of lower bowl, the Bradman stand as well, the second tier up behind the goals. Some on the members' side.
It's filled up a bit, like it's coming. It's not a bad crowd.
Queen's birthday, big 3-7 with a difference here at the SCG. And getting us underway on Grandstand AFL, here's Quentin Hull.
It's Lynch against Gawn for the first centre bounce, and Lynch, the Collingwood rookie, gets it down with a touch, but his hand pass is stolen by Neil Bullen. First clearance for Melbourne, high to a 2-on-2 in the pocket. Moore makes the spoil for Collingwood, ball to ground level. Fritsch a chance, can't gather, and Noble gets his hands on it for the Pies, but runs it over the line. But there's a free kick in that contest. It's going to Bailey Fritsch, who was manhandled there, and he's right on the paint of where the blue of 50 meets the white of the boundary underneath the big scoreboard and the Dalek Messenger stand. He's at right half forward, kicks tight to the pocket. Maynard's in the way of the lead of Wiedemann and takes the intercept mark for the Pies.
He wastes no time, comes up the corridor for Hoskin Elliott. Lays off the hand pass back to Maynard. He can give them some distance here beyond left half back. May goes back with the flight. Has to win the contest against Cameron. Hand pass off to Salem. Goes all the way back here for Hibberd. On that left boot. Comes from right half back for the Melbourne Footy Club. Fritsch in the contest. Got tangled up with Maynard and the ball bounces loose out the back for a throw-in. Just forward of halfway. Melbourne's attacking side. No score in the opening 70 seconds.
Big start for Maynard. Give away a free kick. His intercept marks. Gets a couple of possessions and again another spoil. Massive 90 seconds.
And what a day for Max Lynch working against the four-time All-Australian Max Gawn. And Lynch got the first hand there, taps boundary side, harms though roves for Melbourne. Hand pass to half forward, stolen by Noble of Collingwood. Hand passes to Hoskin Elliott, the kick from the left half back flank. Around the wing, Cameron and May do battle. May wins it for the Demons. Whistle on play, Salem takes the advantage and his short chip finds a target. And already Stephen May on Cameron out there.
That in itself, Quinton's a big call. Mason Cox not playing, obviously, and backing in young Lynch. It's obviously a sign to go forward in the future.
Langdon receives a short pass and kicks to a pack at half forward. McDonald the target, no market again. Pies at the fall. De Goey to clear.
Oh, his kick's a little shonky though, going back inside defensive 50. Sets a task for Quaynor. Has to beat Cozzy Pickett. Good luck. He goes the fend here on Poulter. He's dragged to ground Pickett. Ball comes loose here for Fritsch. He balks. Squaring pass inside 50 and the mark is taken. An early look here for Melbourne with Alex Neil Bullen. 30 out, slightly left of centre.
Fritsch has been very busy early, leading up, competing, and some beautiful class there. Just to be able to assess it, not panic, and just lower his eyes.
Yeah, Quaynor just worried out of it by Pickett there, wasn't he, on that ground ball, as you would be with the dangerous speed around the football.
He's approaching 100 games, Alex Neil Bullen. This is game 93 to Savo. He connects from 40 for the first score of the game. It's a goal. Melbourne's way after 2.5 minutes here in Sydney. One straight 6. Collingwood yet to score here on Grandstand AFL.
Just an example of how Melbourne set up once they get the ball going forward. We said it in the pre-game, when Melbourne get forward in the forward half territory, they're very hard to get the ball out. May intercepted and ball went back inside Collingwood's defence, and the guy with, not a great decision coming across. You'd like to see him come straight down the middle of the ground there. If he's a player that's used to, familiar with the SCG, you come straight through the middle of the ground there, and you're in passing half forward if he goes direct along, but decided to come switch, and like I said, Quaynor was worried out of it with Pickett, but nicely played by Fritz, and lovely finish.
It's because he got speed up forward. Look at Pickett and Spargo. They got some real wheels down there to put. So when the ball goes in, they get at him and get him really hard. Like Cozzy Pickett's has been a revelation this year. I know he's my son's one of the favourite players. Like he just loves him. So it's exciting setup structurally they got Melbourne.
Ryan O'Keefe and Ty Kennelly, your experts on the national broadcaster. ABC Sport at the SCG for Big 3-7. Gawn clearly the tap over the Lynch, but out the back it's side bottom clearing for the Pies. Hand passes to Goey, edge of the centre square. Tumbling kick inside 50, rolls through the pack. At the back it's Lever there for Melbourne to mop up in the pocket. Hands it to Salem. His exiting kick to the flank, such a task of Brayshaw. Main came at it as well. Ball to ground level. Quaynor does the roving. Right to the tackle of Neil Bullen. Hands to Pendlebury. His hand pass to no one. Stolen by Pickett it on the half-back flank. He gives to Hibberd. De Goey there makes the tackle along with Thomas. Ball spills free. Ump lets them play. Pickett spins away. Great hand pass to Brayshaw. High contact after Cozzy Pickett got rid of it, and he'll get the free kick on defensive 50 at left half-back for Melbourne.
He was just adamant, pressure and pressure. Brilliant defensive work there.
Pickett comes wide for Petrarca. Just forward of left half-back. Comes back up the line now. Back with the flight, Neil Bullen. He is paid the mark. Moore coming the other way. His opposite number. Left half forward, just forward of the wing. Floats a hand pass out wide here for Salem. Now finds Brayshaw riding boundary side. Goes a fend on Pendlebury. Back here towards Salem. On that left boot inside forward. 50. The intercept mark is taken by De Goey. Pies can start again from half back. Melbourne have the early goal of the game.
Straight and play on, direct.
He's chipped it to Thomas, and he just holds it up tight. Back infield on the 45 to Maynard, and now the switch out to the O'Reilly wing where there is space for Bianco. Takes the mark, forward of the wing. He's got a teammate running shotgun. It's Hoskin Elliott. He gives the hand pass. He's 55 out. Doesn't go for goal. Kick for Cameron. Got a couple to beat. Nice work, Lever. Leaving his man to make it a 2-on-1 against, but it's a Melbourne Collingwood free kick.
Well done, Darcy Cameron. Yes, it was a 2v1 contest with Lever coming back in his face, and I was a bit critical with the ball movement. I thought he could have went quicker, Collingwood, through the corridor. If you go quicker, it doesn't allow the intercept markers of Lever and May to get back in. Well done contest. I'm not too sure the free kick was there, but he's got it now, and will know this ground very well. Obviously, Darcy Cameron to the Swans for 3 years.
Jaden Hunt just held his arm very slightly, and that's the free kick for Darcy Cameron. Of course, spent a bit of time in the Harbour City, did play one game for Sydney. Back on the SCG, but playing for Collingwood today to level the scores on the Queen's birthday Monday. He kicks the goal from point-blank range. It's one straight apiece after 6 minutes.
Yeah, Melbourne are very good. They set up that defensive zone back there, so I can see why Collingwood aren't going to go super quick, because Lever rolls off well, May rolls off well, and they don't care. The Melbourne defenders don't care who they pick up, as long as they're picking up someone. Because like Cameron there was getting picked up by Salem there at one stage, so they're happy to hand over as long as they're protecting their areas. So look, I think it's that fine balance where
you've got to go quicker for mine, don't you?
Yeah, but if you do go quick, there's two Melbourne blokes sitting there, so it's one of those things. There's a fine balance. I think if you can get them on a turnover, you've got to go quick. But if they've got their defensive structure set up, Melbourne, you're just going to have to pick through them.
Off the text, Jack in Perth. Hey, grandstand team. At home today after copping a head knock at footy yesterday. Wondering what the Collingwood-Melbourne fan ratio is like. Hard to tell, because everyone's got the blue beanies on. There's some neutral colours as well as De Goey slips a tackle from the restart. Hand pass to side bottom. Little wobbly kick will work out okay here for the Pies, and they can get it going through McCreary from the logo. Kicks inside forward 50, straight down the throat of Stephen May. Intercepts here, 35 out from defensive goal. They'll choose the outer side here, the Demons. Tom McDonald goes up, setting a task. Main at the drop. Darcy Moore sends it back from whence it came, but Salem gets back in the hole. Intercepts now for the Demons. 7.5 minutes played, one straight 6 apiece here at the SCG.
He's very wide to Jordan, who appropriately plays in number 23, just forward of the left back pocket. And he's going to roll on now with a kick towards the members' wing. Looking there for Jackson in the pack, can't mark, roved by Pendlebury. His hand pass into the chop, stolen by Petrarca. His hand pass stolen by Maynard. Collingwood's ball. 1-2 by hand, Maynard to Pendlebury and back again. Maynard's kick to full forward. Punch to the foot of the pack, Melbourne numbers there. Jordan hands to Salem. His pass semi-smothered. Hunt has it off the ball. He's given away a free kick, McCreary. He almost threw him into the Brewongle stand. And there's going to be a free kick there for Jaden Hunt. There are no patrons in that stand, but Hunt almost went into the seats there.
Yeah, silly, really. They had him pinned in boundary. Probably going to go for a stoppage, not to get a free kick.
Next defensive 50, 2-on-2. Floating across, up goes Jackson. Had enough of the football to be paid the mark. Goes off the hand pass. Oliver running by. In close quarters to Gawn. Back to Oliver. Entry here for the Demons. Up inside forward 50. Fritsch wants to sit up there nice and early. It's out the back and over for a boundary throw in. 30 around from Melbourne's goal. Paddington end. One straight 6 apiece here. 8.5 minutes played. Maynard and Fritsch having a bit of a tussle as well off the ball.
And can I be old-fashioned and say this is the best Collingwood strip, the one that I grew up watching, the predominantly white with black stripes, not the black with white that we see these days. This is the away strip for Collingwood, with the D's in there, deep blue and red from the throw-in. Quainer a little hand pass to Ruffy. He kicked it into the head of Dacos. He's dazed. Neil Bullen picks up for Melbourne, kicks it over the head of McDonald. It's rolling to the goal line, and I don't think that's been touched. The goal umpire, wearing the BF7 beanie, gives the two-fingered salute for another goal for Collingwood. And on the big screen, well, young Josh Dacos is... I don't think he needs an HIA, but nonetheless, he's a little dazed. Melbourne 2 straight, Collingwood 1 straight.
You can see how strong they are in the contest, Melbourne. I know that's a lucky goal, and Collingwood almost got the clearance, but they just swarm the numbers around there, and they're so clean. So they're giving themselves time. They've got the inside players, but then they've got that really good balance of outside where they win it inside, feed it out, and then they're away to go. So look, it's not as emotional as fiery as I've first thought.
I reckon he's touched it, McDonald.
We're back to the arc now. It looks like his left finger.
It looks like his left finger. Yeah, they've gone back.
I don't think this will be a goal. We'll get crossed flags here. Yep. Well, that's good
Correct
work.
Call. Yeah, it is.
From the arc, that's what they do. Need to have a check.
So Alex Neil-Bullen goes from 2 goals back to 1. Melbourne
doesn't it kill the footy record?
Get out the wide out.
I hate that.
Off the text, one just says, go Maggies Bucks, you're a champion. David Truckey on his way to Adelaide says, go the Pies as well. 1-1-7 to 1 straight 6 here. Melbourne by 1 point as Dacos works his kick up the line. Gets the hand pass back now and kicks just to the wing now. Mychek in the contest opposed to Harrison Petty. It bounces loose out the back. Socking effort here from Elliott. Picked up though in defence. I've got numbers here. The Demons. Langdon's hand pass was chopped off. Now a player's been taken high. It is going to be James Jordan who cedes some ground to go all the way back to fullback where Stephen May is waiting. Across to Lever, and they'll exit defensive 50 slowly towards right half back where Max Gawn takes a mark on the flank. They lead by a point. 11 minutes gone here at the SCG.
Gawn kicks to Jackson, who marks on the wing, presenting in front of Roughhead. And he'll kick it wide to Langdon, who's... No, my apologies. That was Jordan out there who chips it short, and Langdon's got it now underneath the patrons in the O'Reilly stand, which is populated today. Langdon's kick towards attacking 50 and a pack. Juggle from Tom McDonald. Couldn't take the mark. Moore tries to slap it away, but only to Harms. Gives it to McDonald. Kick smothered. Falls to Harms. Tries to give it back to McDonald. Good hustle from the Pies, and Dacos will come away with it. Hand passes to Maynard. His kick from the pocket. He is looking there for Murphy. He'll get a free kick for a push in the back against Lever. 1-1-7 Melbourne. Collingwood 1 straight 6. 12 minutes played on the Queen's birthday Monday at the SCG.
Murphy comes inboard for Dacos. Nearly every player on the ground between the arcs.
Well, Melbourne's just set up their defensive structure so well, and they do it so quickly.
Dacos up the line. Well-weighted pass it was. Mychek wheels around here just forward to the wing. Spears a pass inside 50. Finds the chest of Murphy. Nathan Murphy marks 45 out. An angle slightly better than 45 degrees to the left-hand side.
Yeah, well played. If you do get a mark in that zone to play on quickly, you can go through it, and that's exactly what Collingwood did in that occasion. And he played on at half forward, about 60-70 off, and the options were plenty for him.
He was drafted back in 2017. It's only his 9th game overall, Nathan Murphy, and he hasn't got all of this one. It's up toward the hot spot. Trying to find the marking target. Lynch was up there. McCreary's hand pass left wanting, bursting through Elliott to Degoe. He can snap, go straight up in the air. Melbourne Demons defenders at the drop. Hand pass was chopped off. That was Harm trying to get it out of there as well. Now they pile in from all angles. The umpire's going to ping them. No, he's going to say, let's give it to me. And we'll ball it up. 15 out from the Collingwood goal. Randwick end. Melbourne 1-1-7. Collingwood 1 straight 6. 13 gone here in the opening quarter.
Lynch and Gawn in the ruck. Lynch got the first hand, but Jordan with a hand pass to Langan. Quick clearing kick from fullback. Comes down on D52 Pies at the drop. And the mark is taken by...
Kick it. Make the distance. He's back far enough.
By Jack Madgen. There was a couple of Pies there, and the defender up in what was the last line, with everyone flooding to that Randwick end. And the ex-basketballer's got a chance to put the Magpies into the lead. He's only ever kicked one career goal. That's a good roost on the right, but just off to the right-hand side. And he levels the scores at 1-1 apiece through 13 and a half minutes.
Collingwood love the ex-basketballers, don't they? It's got Pendlebury. We had Tommy Lynch, Tom Wilson, I beg your pardon, who debuted here a few weeks ago. He's out. He's emergency today, I beg your pardon.
Pendlebury played basketball, did he?
I've heard it once or twice.
I think every kid in Australia's played basketball at one point in time.
Not many have played for the Cairns Taipans, though, like Jack Madgen.
Yes. Trent Rivers marks it from the kick out. The Demons, again, showing no real urgency. Harrison Petty is marked in the right back pocket.
Yeah, they have done this well, Collingwood.
1-1-7 apiece. 14 on opening term. He kicks for distance up the outer side. Cuzzy Pickett wants to sit, went far too early and gives away the push on Main.
Almost got it, though. If you got a fingertip to that, it's all right.
It would have been absolutely enormous from Cuzzy Pickett. Main has the Sharon here for Collingwood on the O'Reilly wing. His short pass to Maynard. Maynard wheels and goes here around Pickett. His kick almost chopped off by the Melbourne defence there. Tom Sparrow is up, bursting away with the football. Hunt does well on the long sleeves and just nurses the kick here to James Jordan at halfback for Melbourne.
Jordan to the outer side, Pickett the target. Oh, can't take the mark. Late arriving pressure from Maynard and spilled over the line for a boundary throw in.
Didn't mention Mason Cox either, of course. Another ex-basketballer.
Yep. Well, watching on today, big 6'10 Mace. Ball thrown in. Lynch from behind. Gawn taps down boundary side. Crisp with the clearance for Collingwood. Hands passes defensive side of the pack to Hoskin Elliott. Turnover on the infield kick. Brayshaw's there to mark. Uncontested at the edge of the centre square. Here's the run from half-back from Hunt. Receives the hand pass, kicks the Demons to the pocket. Not well placed. Moore first to meet it. Petrarca tackles him. Moore gets the hand pass away towards the boundary. Crisp was close enough, I think, to disguise that. And a boundary throw-in is the result, despite the dismay of the Melbourne supporters at the SCG. 1-1-7 apiece through 15 and a half minutes.
A few supporters there, and the same last week against the Giants out at Spotless. Melbourne had some good representation in the crowd.
Yeah, it's a good crowd and very into it, very noisy.
Umpire heaves it back in. Playing from behind Jackson. Down here for Pickett. Jackson follows up at ground level. Hand pass out wide. Petrarca beats the goal to the football. Hand pass inboard. Jordan back to Langdon. He can turn Crisp inside out. High ball inside forward 50 here for the D's, but it's a great intercept mark taken by Darcy Moore at left full back.
Great name for both these footy clubs. Moore runs through full back or mishits his kick. It's a shin ball towards half back, won by Hibbard of Melbourne. 60 from goal through hands of Jordan to Lever. He chips it back to Hibbard. Takes the mark, 60 from goal, centre half forward. Kicks the Demons to full for 2-on-2. Roughhead got a good piece of that marking contest and will be given a free kick. He would have had all of it if not for the chopper. I think they're paying the mark, are they? I think the umpire has signalled that is a mark for Jordan Roughhead at fullback for Collingwood and has to go very short with his kick. Maynard marks in the pocket, kicks it around the boundary where Madgen's the next man in the chain.
Using the wide expanses here of the SCG. Hoskin Elliott marks it from the Madgen kick right on the junction of 50 near the boundary line. 1-1-7 apiece. Coming slightly inboard now for Main. He's called to play on, stepped off his line. Across the defensive goal mouth sets a task for Noble. And he floats the hand pass out wide. They can start again. Madgen this time comes into the right back pocket for Roughhead. The Premiership Bulldog of 5 years ago. Has a bounce, has some space. Up the wing now in the 2-on-1. Murphy was outnumbered, which allowed the defender to come through. Trent Rivers marks on the wing here for Melbourne. Kicks a shocker though straight to Pendlebury.
Turnover in the middle of the ground. But he's got no one to really move it quickly to, so he kicks judiciously as always. Main presents, marks, hands it to Crisp, runs to 50, kick to full forward. Elliott can't take the mark, going back with the flight and immediately at the crumb. Steve May rushes it through for a behind. Enough to give Collingwood the lead though at 1-2 to 1-1 through 18 minutes.
So that's when Collingwood needs to move fast on the turnover. So you turn them over, Pendlebury's done a great interception, then bang, you go hard at them and go fast.
Go the D's, ignore the sentiment, says Peter from Hampton. 0437774774. Plenty of sentiment here, as you say. The navy and red here at the SCG as it's marked by McDonald on the wing for Melbourne. Comes across the half-back line. Harms just jots back on the back edge of the square. Again, they'll switch toward the outer side. Harrison Petty kicks around Myercheck towards Fritz leading up the ground. Beats Main to it. Takes a chest mark just forward of the wing. Can they get some forward thrust going here, the Demons, toward the Paddington end? His kick goes straight down the throat of Madgen again at left half back. So another intercept mark. The Pies have it. They lead by 1 point. 1-2 plays 1-1.
Sorry, Spriggy. It's been the story of the game, really, playing between the arcs. The injuries haven't been great from both sets of teams.
Madgen finds Bianco just on the wing, and his kick is over the head of the target there in Lynch. Rumbled to the middle of the ground. Brayshaw has got it for Melbourne. Hand passes to Hibberd, hand passes wide to Rivers and his chip all the way to the interchange wing. Oliver's over it, he's been quite early. Quainer tackles him high. Free kick to Clayton Oliver, and he plays on immediately. Kicks Melbourne towards attacking 50, up high, one grab but not the second from the presenting Wiedemann, with Moore doing enough to make the spoil ball out of play for a boundary throw in at left half forward for the D's. Right half back for the Pies. Tight start early on here in Big Freeze 7. It's Collingwood 1-2, leading Melbourne 1-1 on Grandstand AFL.
About to hit time on in the opening term. Back in it comes. Jackson wins it down here only as far as Crisp. Hand pass off the deck for the Pies to Goey. Nursed up the line by Dacos. And the umpire says deliberate.
Really? Tig shaking his head.
Yeah, it's just got to be consistent from now on if you're going to go that way.
Oh, he was. He's dribbled it straight out of bounds.
There was another one in the far wing that he can give. I just want consistency on it.
As the pack converges up inside forward 50 at the drop, Pendlebury wrapped up immediately. Umpire waits for it to come out. We'll get downstairs shortly. De Goey here. Hand pass off to Isaac Quainer. He could rebound the Pies from half back. And now Thomas back to Quainer, straight into trouble. Got a hand pass away though. Back to Madgen. He circles back away from Tom Sparrow. Kicks back to the wing. Tries to go to the contest there. Cameron got some separation. The kick was too deep though. Brayshaw back off to Jackson. And the Demons are away towards half forward. It's marked by Spargo.
Hard on the boundary, 60 out, chips to the corridor. McDonald the target, can't mark and is offended from behind, has he? No play on. Harms roves the pack and has a shot on goal and kicks the goal while Scott Pendlebury's down feeling his head. But the ump said play on, and that is a fine finish. Melbourne's second goal, 2-2-14, plays 1-1-7 as Harms kicks his fourth goal of the season. Sophie Clappin on the boundary.
Yeah, guys, Nathan Murphy has just come off looking in a lot of pain. He's struggling to put weight on his left leg. He's in the hands of the physio now, but I'll have an update for you shortly.
Good on you, Soph.
Just get numbers for the contest there. No, they're very precise. I think both teams have been very careful in their ball movement, and they've gone very wide. I think both teams are really guarding that corridor, but Melbourne just seem to be able to just be a little bit more precise. And when they do go forward, they seem to have just a few extra numbers. And when you get finished like that, make the most of that opportunity. You can see a team that's in some really good form.
There's no emotion there. Free kick every day of the week. No emotion involved in that call from the umpire.
I almost stopped calling.
Story. Come on,
because it was so obvious to my mind. But no free kick.
Melbourne by 5 points here. Time on opening term. Socket forward by De Goey only as far as Salem. Melbourne wins the clearance. Petrarca up the line for Jordan. Lays off the hand pass. Back to Petrarca. Goes inside forward 50. Has the target presenting in Jackson on the second bite. Reels in the grab. 45-degree angle, perhaps slightly tougher, right on the paint of 50.
He's been good this year, this fella.
He's kicked nearer to the pocket, and it's marked defensively by Quainer.
Well done, Rhino.
Yep. Absolute moz. 2-1-13 Melbourne. Collingwood 1-8. 22.5 played opening term.
I didn't say he kicked well this year. I just said he's been a good player this year.
Missed his target, kicked it over his head. Quainer goes short, and it's taken by Poulter. His kick is intercepted by Jackson.
There you go. See, he reads it well.
60 out left half forward. Hand passes to Rivers. A little in and away on Thomas, who's kicked it back to Poulter. Oh, erase that, please.
There has been a lot of intercept kicks today. Like already, it's like a lot of trying to be too cute. I'm not sure.
Poulter from defence kicks to the wing. Cameron uncontested, drops the mark for Collingwood. Roved by Jackson. Hand pass to Jordan, dispossessed. Ricochets to Pendlebury for Collingwood. Hands it to De Goey. De Goey back to Pendlebury by hand on the wing. Infield through Crisp to Poulter. Forward of the centre circles now. He runs to half forward. Got pushed off his kick. It's a mongrel inside 50. May buffets Elliott off the ball. Wins it. Gives to Gawn under pressure. Gawn hands it back into the chop. And the men pile in, and we'll see a ball up at the top of the goal mouth at the Randwick end. It's Melbourne 2-1-13, Collingwood 1-2-8.
I reckon there's been one effective entry inside of either forward 50 for this quarter of football.
I'd say there'll be about 8 intercept marks so far this quarter.
Ball in the air. Both rucks missed it. Gawn just pats it out the back. De Goey's there first, however. Tries to soccer it off the deck. On hands and knees. Head over the football, Harms. Jordan tries to knock it clear as well. Socket away by Max Gawn. Back towards the flank here. Wide in front of the Barongal stand, and Maynard is wrapped up over the boundary line. And a tackle with all kinds of intent down there from Bailey Fritsch, and the umpire will throw it back in. 65 around from Collingwood's goal. Seeing Nathan Murphy doing a few run-throughs downstairs, so perhaps a positive sign for the Pies, as Sophie Clappin mentioned. He was being assessed earlier. Here, Melbourne leads by 5 points.
Lynch got the tap down from the throw-in right half forward for Collingwood. Ground level Poultice, hand pass out the back looking for Madgen. Petrarca's there to pinch it for the D's. Hands to Neil Boland, rides a tackle, hands to Harms. They're out here. Numbers swarming to the members' end. He got it to Jackson. Hand passes to Tom Mack. He's missed it. On the run from 25 without much pressure. Well, more was coming at him, but that should have been a goal. Melbourne 2-2-14, Collingwood 1-2-8.
Absolute sitter he's missed there.
He's got his mind firmly focused on second child being born on Wednesday, whatever it is. Certainly, no, I'm just being silly. Darcy Moore has got the free kick here for Collingwood from the kick out.
But that's exactly how dangerous Melbourne can be. They can go on the counter punch, go bang straight there with some real speed, and like really that should be a centre bounce after
kick
that.
Across the defensive goal mouth. Madgen can't control it, so it's ricocheted off him, out of bounds for a throw-in. So a forward 50 stoppage here for the Demons, who lead by a goal. 2-2 plays 1-2. 25 gone in the opening term.
Yeah, Petrarca's the one who's lifted his rating the last couple of minutes around the football. He's dangerous here in this forward 50 stoppage.
So a dicey kick results here in a forward 50 stoppage for Melbourne. Rough head in the ruck contest. Madgen thumbs out the hand pass to go. He can just slap it on the boot, clear the area. Toward the O'Reilly wing. Might check out the back. He hacks it out of the air as well. Wobbly ball. Sits up on the bounce there for Lever. He turns one way. His hand pass is a shocker. Elliott just pats it back here. Darcy Cameron has to bend over and pick it up. Loses a bit of time there. Elliott's run down as well. Great tackle by Salem. Loose footy in the pocket here for Collingwood. Mycheck goes in again. Demons in defence circle up around it as well. The umpire says let's ball it up. 25 out from goal in the left forward pocket for Collingwood, attacking towards the Randwick end. It's Melbourne, though, who leads 2-2, plays 1-2, 26 gone in the opening term.
A rough old affair it is to start things here. The ruckman tangle neither gets a telling touch. Ground level, Jordan and Dacos tangle. It's stuck under them, and the ump will come and do it again. So is this Collingwood bringing Melbourne down to its level, or the Pies lifting? We'll get Ryan and Tig to have a think about it. As Lynch won that down clearly, but no clearing kick. Pendlebury's kick towards goal is punched through for a point. 2-on-2 pack there. The telling hand coming in from Petty to put it through. 2-2 to 1-3. It's 5 points the lead to Melbourne, close to quarter time.
I think just the intensity and emotion that we maybe thought the game was just didn't come. I think it's, I said, Melbourne was very clinical about how they're going about it, and Collingwood probably didn't jump out of the blocks like we thought they may.
Demons from half back. Tom McDonald finds Jackson right in front of the bullseye at the SCG. Turns his kick down towards half forward. And it's marked out there by Langdon. His kick goes to the pocket, little too deep down there for Petrarca. It sits up on its point for Maynard. He can deflect the Pies back the other way, setting a task for Thomas. He was beaten through the air by Hunt, but he gives away the free kick. Collingwood free kick at left half back. It's Melbourne 2-2-14, Collingwood 1-3-9, 27 gone here in the opening term.
So Thomas kicks it around the outer wing, and an uncontested mark there for Lynch. He's going to play on with a kick to half forward and hits Cameron. Takes the mark 52 from goal at left half forward for Collingwood. He chips it to the pocket looking for Elliott's lead, and he takes the mark on a very tough angle, 40 from goal near the boundary.
Great play by Elliott. I was watching him specifically that entry once Darcy Cameron got the ball. He made 3 or 4 leads to try and get Hibberd the bite on the tail to where he actually wanted to go. It was really nice forward craft. He is tight on the boundary, but it was very well played.
Had a big contribution at the Adelaide Oval last week. We know that he spent too much time in the injury ward for Collingwood fans' liking. Really important player, Jamie Elliott. This to give Collingwood the lead. He opens the angle from 45 out. Skillful player, hits the post. Near side. He went the drop punt too. That looked good for 95% of the journey. But it's another behind for the Pies. 1-4-10 trails 2-2-14. 28 played.
I know Elliott nearly hit the goal there. But that's what Melbourne will do. They'll force you wide. They'll force you, if you're going to have shots on goal, you're going to be having shots from the boundary. Just the way that their defenders play in front.
Stephen May plays on from the kick out, goes long beyond defensive 50, spoil over the back from Darcy Moore, picked up by Jordan of the Demons. Now Petrarca, hand pass out wide, Gawn in best position. He goes forward as well for Jordan. Petrarca's down behind play. The umpire's spotted a free kick here. It's going to come back to Melbourne's inside midfield bull. Petrarca short to Brayshaw. It's going to be Gawn who gets the free kick. Petrarca thought it was him.
It was downfield. It was on him. It was downfield because of the handball.
So Gawn from the logo commentary side. His kick towards the left forward pocket. Up goes Tom McDonald. Ricochets down towards Crisp, his opposite number. He's dispossessed as well. Just got to kick away. It goes straight to Petrarca. 65 from goal here for Melbourne.
Petrarca, precise with his entry to the pocket, trying to spot a leading target now. A mark has been taken very close to the time that the siren sounded. Langdon got his chest to it, claims the mark, and of course time doesn't expire until the umpire says time has expired, and this mark has been paid.
He took it before the siren went.
Yeah, it's the umpire's call. When the umpire calls it, makes a decision. When the umpire hears the siren, obviously, I think it was a correct call.
So Langdon right on the boundary in the left forward pocket, 25 metres out. Setting up for the right foot snap punt in what will be the last play. Now, I'm wondering how much he can go on here before he's called the play on. Anyway, he's done that within the legal bounds of his execution, but missed right across the face. It's interesting. He actually was allowed to run off his line there.
It's a rule change brought in a couple of years ago.
Of course.
2 years ago, you can actually come off once you've marked the ball after the siren.
Us old fellas have just got the old
rule.
Yeah, still got the old rules in their head.
As long as you don't go past the line of the mark.
Yeah.
Do that.
Yeah.
But I would have had a job punt from there.
On your left?
Huh? Yeah. I've kicked many from there, Tyke.
It's a miss. It's nothing. And it remains Melbourne 2-2-14 to Collingwood 1-4-10.
Goals to James Harms and Alex Neil-Bullen for the Demons in the opening term, while for Collingwood, Darcy Cameron has their only major, as you heard there from Quentin Hull. 4 points the difference at the first change here at Big Freeze 7. The Queen's Birthday Monday clash this year at the Sydney Cricket Ground. Second term coming up on ABC Radio, News Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
Now, where was I up to in Wakefield? Wait, I can set up a free ABC account. Charlie Pickering. Too easy. So from July, we'll need to log in to stream shows on ABC iView. You'll still get all the same great content that's already on ABC iView, and you'll get recommendations based on what you watch, so it's easier to find the content you love.
For more information about your free ABC account, head to abc.net.au/ABC account.
The 2021 AFL Premiership season on ABC Radio and on ABC Sport Digital.
Queen's Birthday, Big Freeze 7 with a difference here at the SCG. Quaynor has to beat Cozzy Pickett. Good luck. He goes to fend here on Poulter. He's dragged around Pickett. Ball comes loose here for Fritsch. He balks, squaring pass inside 50, and the mark is taken with Alex Neil-Bullen. 30 out, slightly left of centre. For the first score of the game, it's a goal.
Bianco takes the mark, forward of the wing. He's got a teammate running shotgun. It's Hoskin Elliott. He gives the hand pass. He's 55 out. Doesn't go for goal. Kick for Cameron. Got a couple to beat. Nice work, Lever. Leaving his man to make it a 2-on-1 against, but it's a Collingwood free kick. Darcy Cameron. On the Queen's Birthday Monday, he kicks the goal from point-blank range. It's one straight apiece. To the corridor. McDonald, the target. Can't mark and has offended from behind, has he? No play on. Harms ropes the pack and has a shot on goal and kicks the goal while Scott Pendlebury's down feeling his head.
The 2021 AFL Premiership season on ABC Radio and on ABC Sport Digital.
Big Freeze 7 here on Grandstand AFL. Melbourne leads Collingwood by 4 points at quarter time, 2-2-14 to 1-4-10. Brett Sprigg alongside Quentin Hull to call the action. Your text welcome 0437 774 774. A couple of these coming through this afternoon. Where did I see a couple of them here that I haven't read yet? Hi, Grandstand team. I'm seriously going to cry at the end of this game. It won't be if we lose. Best of luck, Nathan Buckley. Thanks for the ride, says Fran from Melbourne. Joe in Q says Bucks would have 2 flags if he'd played at Kangaroos like he said he would. Okay, Joe. And there is... Oh, this is clever. Playing today. May, 3 letters. Main, 5 letters. Maynard, 7 letters. That's from Trevor Picken in Broken Hill. Good on you. 0437 774 774 as Ryan O'Keefe and Taikanili help us make sense of a lacklustre opening term here at the SCG.
Yeah, well, there wasn't that emotion that I think, especially, Tyke, you're hoping and you're thinking that's the way you'd coach this, especially if you're Collingwood. But they didn't bring any emotion and as I thought, Melbourne would go about business. But it was just a turnover game. It was just Can I
give you 2 stats here, Pebbles?
Yeah.
Ryan, sorry. Efficiency inside 50 from both teams. 5 shots from 15 inside 50s, 33% Melbourne. 4 shots from 13 inside 50s, 31% for Collingwood, and that's what it's been, the intercept possessions.
But you can see because Melbourne get back so quickly in their defence, so you can understand why, and that's why they're the best defensive team in the comp. Melbourne, they get numbers back, they defend dangerous space over the player, so they get there, and that's why sometimes on a turnover, if you go quick, you can get them over the back because May and Lever, they're sitting in front, so they give their, not that they don't disrespect their opponent, it's just that's their defensive model. But Melbourne, on the other hand, they've had opportunities, but just they've turned it over themselves. So is it the intensity of the game sort of just a little bit flat? So Melbourne are playing a little bit flat as well. Look,
I'd just like to see the Pies take it on through the middle. A couple of times they look a lot more dangerous when they came through the middle. Sorry, but you're right. Melbourne just trying to be way too safe. You'd almost want them to slow it down and just go along and be predictable with their smalls to the front who love to put on the pressure and who've got the speed around the ball. But it's a good start if you're Collingwood.
12. You can see the kicking's off today. Like I think De Goey shanked about 3, and Pendlebury's had a couple of bad kicks, unlike him, and it's just the foot skills. But that usually happens with intensity and mindset. When the intensity and the vigour in the game's not there, or the mindset's just a little bit flat, generally the skills follow that.
12 possessions for Jordan. He leads all comers. May with 9, Petrarca 9 and Jackson 9 for Melbourne. De Goey leads the way for Collingwood with 10. 9 for Maynard and Pendlebury. Overall plus 16 possessions for Melbourne at 113 to 97. Contested wise, the D's plus 5. Clearances are level at 7 apiece. The marks plus 3 Melbourne, 35 to 32. So as expected, not much in these stats. The inside 50s Melbourne plus 2 at 15 to 13. And of course the scoreboard has 2-2 to 1-4.
The other important scoreboard, the fundraising for Fight MND, 1.9 million. Woo! For this year's campaign. Awesome. So they want to get 2 million by the time this game is done. There are still 3 quarters left in the second term underway here at the SCG. Melbourne by 4 points over the Pies. Back underway. Gawn opposed to Lynch. Tap down here to Petrarca. Melbourne with the first clearance. It's a wobbly ball up inside forward 50. Wiedemann spoiled from behind though by Roughhead. Oliver first to it. He can get away. It's socketed forward now by Jordan. De Goey gets there for the Pies. They can get it back here. Crisp is dumped at a tackle. Gets it away into the pocket. Quainer. Cozzy Pickett looking dangerous. Neil Bullen tried to go as well. Oliver picks up the foot. He steps across his body and goals from 25 out. They got there eventually, Melbourne. Just pinballing around at ground level. In the end, Clayton Oliver said, thank you very much. And he is their third goal kicker. 3-2-20 to 1-4-10. It's the Demons by 10 points inside the opening 50 seconds of quarter number 2 on Grandstand AFL.
That's the most impressive thing I've seen with Melbourne this year compared to their team last year is the work rate from their midfielders like Petrarca. In the past I've been probably critical of him not, being a little bit lazy, but he's got great work rate now. Oliver's the same. He just works and get to contest, pressure, and eventually the pressure just causes a goal. They're lucky not to have a free kick for a tackle anyway.
Every day of the week.
So, look, and then you
Tommy Sparrow, great tackle on top.
It is, but holding the ball is one of those, it's a bit of a lottery. It's gone. So, but Melbourne just get numbers to the ball through work rate. So that's the biggest thing they've brought to the game this year.
Fine bounce in the centre to restart play. Lynch again over the top of Gawn, first hand. De Goey has the second spike, but straight to Neil Bullen. Melbourne's clearance. Here's hand pass to Sparrow. Kick inside 50, dropped by Pickett. Quainer there to try and mop up for Collingwood. He's tackled as immediately as he picks up the footy. And we'll see a bounce or a ball up just inside, attacking 50 for Melbourne, who are attacking the Randwick end in this second term. Thrown in the air, Gawn down to Walliver. Free kick going to Collingwood. To Lynch, who was shepherded out of that. He hands it immediately to Main. Through hands to Noble. His hand pass to the left half back flank taken by Thomas. Hand pass to Hoskin Elliott. Hands it back to Noble as the Pies by hand run the members' wing. Hands it off to De Goey. Here's the kick. It's an impressive one inside 50. Myercheck underneath to mark. Hard in the pocket, 30 out.
You're crying out for it, Quinton. Someone with some poise and control with the entry inside 50 from the first quarter, but De Goey, that was beautiful on his left foot going towards the boundary. Nicely placed, but took the game on by hand and foot. Collingwood, it is a tight position to be kicking from them.
Two-time leading goal kicker for the Pies, Brody Myercheck, but this is a tough angle. with the famous members stand at close range. He runs over the pain of 50, hits it on his right from 40. It's across the face and won't have the journey, and rush through off the fist of Gawn for a minor score. Collingwood 1-5-11, trailing Melbourne 3-2-20 early stages second term.
Let's hope it's a sign of what's to come in the second quarter with some good ball movement from both sets of teams.
Stephen May takes his time with the kick out, buys some space in the left back pocket, sends it toward the eastern wing here at the SCG. Up in front, Wiedemann goes again at ground level. Beaten to it by Pendlebury. His kick smothered by Neil Bullen. Bounces back here. Comes to De Goey. Pies through Chris. He can snap from 45. It's wobbling its way toward the goal square. Back with the flight, Darcy Cameron. Nurses the ball to his chest. Right up against that left-hand goal post, and he's going to be set back here on the angle. He wastes no time. Coming off, and he just kills it around the goal post. For goal number 2 for Darcy Cameron. And the Pies respond in this second quarter. Collingwood 2-5-17, Melbourne 3-2-20. 4.5 minutes played here in the second term on Grandstand AFL.
That's an example of if you turn over on Melbourne, you go back quickly, you can get it over the back because the Melbourne defenders play in front. They try and take away that dangerous leading space, and that's just the prime example of that.
Yeah, you said it. May took so long to take the kick out. I don't know what was going on. Was he waiting for the tall ruckman to get to the contest? But it's a bit like Melbourne's been playing, the way they've been so predictable and precise with their ball movement. Great turnover, and De Goey's having a good game. You know, he's been involved in a lot of play, and there was a lovely block here by Mychek as the ball came forward on his opponent, which allowed Darcy Cameron to actually have an uncontested mark deep in the goal square. But you're right, Ryan, go back direct and straight on any turnover against a team that like to play in front. You're going to get them out the back.
Ryan O'Keefe and Ty Kennelly with you on ABC Sport. Grandstand AFL at the SCG. Wobbly bounce should be recalled and is, as it went straight to Max Gawn. Shot on the big screen of Simon Goodwin coaching from the boundary line on what's been a fine enough but overcast day in Sydney. Secondary ball up. Gawn got the hand, but roving there is De Goey. And Collingwood get the clearance, although Main has a fumble at the edge of the bullseye, and that allows Oliver to swoop and pick up for Melbourne. Hands it out the back to Neil Bullen. Chip to attacking 50, semi-smothered. Main picks it up for Collingwood. Hand pass to Chris. Ball messy stuff near the bullseye. Now Oliver gets it. Palms away from one. Rushed entry. Fisted away by Moore of Collingwood. Picked up by Pendlebury at half-back. He hands it to Maynard, who's had a good start to the game. From centre half-back, kicks to Hoskin Elliott. Marks on the wing and hands it immediately to Thomas. Inside 50, the leading Elliott. His chest is presented and hit. And Hibbert is spewing on the mark because he had no chance of stopping that entry.
He had to hit it and take the mark because he had De Goey streaming forward also. I thought he was going to give the handballs.
Elliott plays onto the pocket. He's got Hoskin Elliott who'd run on and is unmarked. 30 metres closer to goal, albeit on a tougher angle.
He's worked hard, Hoskin Elliott. He took that critical mark here on the wing. If he didn't take that, Melbourne would have intercepted and gone back the other way. He took a critical mark, and that broke it open for him. And then he's worked hard forward to get past some real lacklustre defending by the D's.
Well, it's hardly been a poster match at the moment, but on this emotive day for the Pies, Hoskin Elliott's put Collingwood in front against the ladder-leading Demons early in the second term. Collingwood 3-5-23 lead Melbourne 3-2-20 as Will Hoskin Elliott kicks his first of the afternoon and 8th for the season.
Well done, Darcy Moore. You know, he's not going to get a possession for the turnover, the spoil that he created centre half back. It was strong. He came straight through the football, a big 20-metre punch, and Pendlebury got the ball on foot because they had been messing around with the ball in the middle of the ground with too many handovers, giving Melbourne a couple of opportunities to turn it over, but Pendlebury kicks it wide. Hoskin, as you said, Ryan, had a strong mark in the air and ran on hard, and poor defensively from the Melbourne defenders, but nice finish and better start to the game from both sets of teams for the quarter.
Mazin Dongra, WA. Hi guys, great call. Although Buckley didn't win a flag, he played on the big stage a few times. He's a great footballer, and coach, his contribution to our great game is what it's all about. The best in life's journey. Well done, Nathan Buckley, says Mazza. Good on you. 0437 774 774. Got a few texts coming through expressing their admiration for Nathan Buckley. The job at hand here, though, for the Pies. They are in front. Picked up, though, by Trent Bianco. Going inside forward 50, and again presenting and marking Brody Mychek, 45 out directly in front.
So this is where the Melbourne defence can be a little bit vulnerable because they're so good working as a unit. If you can get them one-on-one and make them actually have to defend a person and you got your foot skills are all right, you can get opportunities on this D defence.
Brody Mychek for his first goal of the afternoon to extend Collingwood's lead from just inside 50. He's hit it pretty well, not well enough to the right-hand side for a minor score. 3-6-24 Collingwood. Melbourne 3-2-20. 8 minutes played here, second quarter at the SCG on Grandstand AFL.
And that's why the stoppage is so important against Melbourne, because you don't allow them to set up with a spare. Or if you are winning the clearances and winning the contested possession inside, it doesn't allow their defenders to play off.
Again, Rivers taking his time, as Stephen May did. A very long kick from Rivers all the way to the middle of the SCG. Gone from behind, flies, got a hand, can't mark. Petrarca rose, but his hand pass stolen by Madgen. Gives to Pendlebury, back to Madgen, has a fumble, taps it to the advantage of Maynard, then Madgen, and now it's going to be a ball up inside attacking 50 on. Again, the rumble downfield from Collingwood. Lever was there to apply a tackle on Thomas, and it will be thrown in the air 45 metres from Collingwood's goal. Ground level, Salem gets the clearance at that stoppage for Melbourne, hands it through Jackson to Jordan, and he kicks it out wide to the O'Reilly wing. On Wiedemann's head, he gathers, rides the tackle of Moore, got a free kick played on anyway, hands it off to Cozzy Pickett, hands it there to Langdon, kicks it towards attacking 50. Neil Bullen the target, spoiled by Main to the deck, and Collingwood with the numbers. Madgen there.
Comes out to Dacos up against the boundary line. He was dragged over, so we'll throw it back in. 55 around from Melbourne's goal at the Randwick end. Pies by 4 points. Overcast conditions here at the SCG. Back in it comes. Lynch and Jackson at ground level. Pendlebury is wrapped up and the umpire will ball it up. He wastes no time. Tap to the outside. Chris merging with the football. Hand pass to Quainer. Stops, reshuffles, comes to the outer side. McCreary presents on the wing and marks on the eastern side here for the Pies. He comes inboard now. Mychek slides it on the half volley. Can't complete the mark. Salem off to Neil Bullen. They can rebound the football here. The Demons. It comes from Jordan and now wide. It's in the hands of Trent Rivers. Still inside defensive 50. He pops it back over the top to Jordan. Little 1-2 effort there by way of kicking.
He's had a prolific day already, James Jordan, up to touch 15. Called to play on from the right half-back flank. Kicks the ball down the line looking for Gawn. High-flying ball from Moore. Gee, he hits that punch with such great timing. Again, it was right underneath us, Tig. He just, gee, flushes it well, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's a great defender, and it's great to see him back playing his natural position. Obviously, they tested him going forward.
Throwing just forward of the wing, attacking side for Melbourne. Tap down boundary side. Roved by Sparrow, but couldn't create, too close to the line. Little hand pass, Harms couldn't control. So we'll see another throw in as the interchain works furiously, and Cameron comes on to the field. He's about to do battle in ruck with Jackson as it's tossed into play. Cameron got the hand for Collingwood. Ground level, a battle there for Dacos. Has to play tackler to lock it up, and yet again another neutral. Hard footy to win here. Gee, it's like O'Keefe and Kennelly are working hard under the coaching of Ruse here, keeping it in tight, boys. It's Swans footy at the SCG here at the moment.
Collingwood by 4 points. Crisp comes away with it, goes inside forward 50. Mark, you got to push Murphy as he was presenting, and Harrison Petty gives away the free kick. So Murphy is 52 from goal. Lays off here towards Maynard. He can hoof it from 55. Not eyeing the big sticks towards a 2-on-2 in the hot spot. Roved by Poulter. Hand pass back inboard. Thomas. Squaring kick across his body is safely in the hands of Tom Sparrow in defence for the Demons. No change to our score. Collingwood by 4 points, 12 gone second term.
Kicks to the outer side. Wiedemann flies, can't mark, but Roves and Ham passes to Hunt, running off half-back. His hands to Harms, hands along the deck in the middle of the SCG. Neil Bullen slips over. Ball in the bullseye. Gawn mops up. Ham passes to Sparrow. Melbourne does get to attacking 50, but the kick's wide and wild and easily read by Moore, who takes an uncontested mark for Collingwood. There are some concerning signs here for the ladder leaders. There's more chips to Maynard. Maynard at left half-back marks and transfers to Hoskin Elliott. And he takes the grab. Hoskin Elliott kicks to the wing, and an unmarked Main can turn and go on. He does, but very conservatively with a chip pass to Crisp. And the Pies have had the better of the football in this second quarter. Crisp is about to set up another attacking entry. Kick skims off the hands of Pickett, but goes to De Goey. Ump goes down in the periphery of my vision as De Goey kicks a spear inside 50, which is marked by Myercheck 35 out straight in front.
I don't think he meant that. He just turned around and just whipped that around the corner and happened to land in his breadbasket there. But you're right, Melbourne are just off with their skills and being clean. Yeah, or just that they're just fumbling a bit, they're over-handballing, they're not getting that clean, fluid, fast ball movement that we've seen them have.
A finish we come to expect Myercheck to make the most of on his right. He does just that. And Collingwood leads by 10 points in Big Freeze 7 at the transferred venue of the SCG. The Pies 4-6-30. Over the Demons, 3-2-20, and we've travelled 13 minutes of the second term on ABC Sport.
Yeah, they've certainly had the better part of the ball and the better part of forward territory in this quarter. That's Collingwood, and they've evened up the clearances and contested possession, and it's a key part of Melbourne's game, Melbourne's go forward, but also Melbourne defensively in the midfield group have been off, along with the ball movement has been great. We saw Darcy Moore again with an intercept mark. He's having a big impact in the game with intercept marks or spoiling and helping Collingwood rebound. And De Goey is the same. He's having an impact in the game. But you're right, Ryan. I don't think he meant it. But you claim it as all good players do.
Yeah. Look, Collingwood need to make the most of this momentum on the scoreboard. They've had twice as many scoring shots, so the best pressure you can put on an opposition is scoreboard pressure. So they've got the run. Let's capitalise. Let's get the Melbourne defence is looking shaky. Let's start picking them to pieces.
Our experts Ryan O'Keefe and Ty Cannelli on Grandstand AFL. Magpies by 10. From the restart, Gawn taps it to the outside. De Goey had a path cleared for him. Nice pick up as well on the bounce. He sends his kick up the line, little too deep for Thomas. Harms collects out the back here for Melbourne. Off the deck with a hand pass to Langdon. Retreats back to Harrison Petty. Pressure coming from Bo McCreary. He's good at that. Coming up the outer side now, where it's marked again by Harms. He can slow things down just forward of left, half back. They surge forward here in the red and the blue. Cozzy Pickett goes back with a flight. Marks maybe 70 from goal. Wheels around here, wants the entry towards a 2-on-1. Gawn reaching from the back, but a strong defensive grab taken by Darcy Cameron. At right full back for the Pies. They keep a 10-point lead. 15 gone, second quarter.
That was a great clunk.
He was the only Magpie there. He chips it to Main. Marks hands to Noble on D50 and a chip marked by Moore. On the right half back flank, he immediately hand passes to Poulter on the outer wing. Poulter's kick to the half forward flank, low in front of the diving Elliott with May. Both get up. Elliott first to win it, hands it back to Poulter. Back on halfway. Through hands to Noble, back to Poulter. Now the chip on the head of De Goey, who's having some game. Marks 2 kicks from goal. Kicks inside 50 to Myercheck, right in the corridor, 45 out.
You saw an example of Elliott there in that contest with May. They were both on the ground and how quick he was able to get to his feet. And that's the difficulty of matching up on a player like that. He's so good in the air, but also on the ground. His ability to get back on that ball. But it's all started back here with that intercept mark from Darcy Cameron and to play on.
And De Goey just released around the ball, is now up to 16 touches and having an influence. Myercheck has a set shot for a 16-point lead, no angle, 49 metres out. Collingwood with 4 goals in a row. Watch out. I think Tig's hearts are fluttering. He and the Romantics with the storyline today. They're giving us a show, Tig. 16 points to lead to Collingwood in Nathan Buckley's last game as coach at the 16-minute mark of the second term.
We were just looking for a team to be cleaner, weren't we, with the ball going inside the forward 50. That was the story of the game in the first quarter. And Collingwood now are just working harder. They're more efficient with the ball going forward. And De Goey is certainly the one that's getting on top. And they'd want to put a clampers down on him if you were Melbourne. And I love seeing him around the ball. And that's what Elliott does for you as a Collingwood football club. You can keep De Goey on the ball when you've got a forward like Elliott forward of the ball. A player, sorry.
They're going a lot more direct too, aren't they? And lowering their eyes. You know, if you blaze it long to Melbourne, they play that zone defence well. Lowering their eyes, hitting the lead up. And Myercheck's he's had a few siders, now he's nailing them.
From the middle. Lynch wins it down, follows up here for the Pies. His option by hand is side bottom. He sent it before he had it. Now it falls to Clayton Oliver for the Demons. Wobbly ball inside forward 50 towards the pocket. Noble and a great one-handed grab taken by Spargo. As they both fell to ground, he just stuck out the right mitt and controls the ball to the right side of his chest, and that means his shot at goal is going to be 35 out on an angle slightly tougher than 45 degrees.
I had a bit to do with this boy as a young fella coming through under 18s and under 16s New South Wales, and we used to call him Mighty Mouse. You know, he used to take on anyone, the big men, or he loved the competitive stuff, and that's the way he's playing his scene of football. But lovely mark.
We're right behind him on the angle here as he kicks. Down by 16 points, Melbourne. Can they reignite things here with Charlie Spargo? The set shot's on its way and missing to the left-hand side. Melbourne 3-3-21. Collingwood 5-6-36. 18 going second quarter here at the SCG on ABC Grandstand AFL.
Main quick with the kick in, very short to Maynard in the pocket, marks and transfers to Roughhead. Right on the paint of 50 at right half back. He'll go backwards to Maynard, to Main, should I say.
They're out here if they switch it, Collingwood.
Yeah, he's not looking this way. Now he does Chris Main. Oh, just got that to Madgen in the goal square. That wasn't a good kick. Madgen marks, kicks it to Crisp, who just got there. Spargo made an effort. Crisp can't mark. Ground level, Fritz Robes. Tackled, puts a little toe to it. McDonald makes good of it in the pocket, hands it to Jackson, and they've rumbled a goal. Jackson put his left boot through it in the goal square. That was a horrid exit from Collingwood, and Melbourne's made them pay a half dozen for it. Pies 5-6-36, D's 4-3-27, 18 and a half second turn.
That's the danger when you're not clean or you have a bad turnover. Like that just off kick by Main just slowed that switch and gave Melbourne the ability to be able to shut it off. And then when they went forward, they had their numbers forward. And this Jackson, I like the way he goes about it. He's a very good player. Moves well for a big fella.
And competes hard, doesn't he? Also, Jackson. But you're right. When you're switching the ball, you've got to use your legs to actually try and take the distance, because otherwise Melbourne want you to kick long, so it gives them time to set up that defensive zone across the ground. But if you take the shorter one, it allows Melbourne to set up, and that's exactly what it did. And then obviously not executing the kick doesn't help.
Another name in that rather tedious discussion of ex-basketballers, Luke Jackson, out of the famed Willerton High School and Willerton Tigers basketball program out west. Trust me, it's a known thing in basketball circles. As Petrarca goes to fed, he's stripped of the footy by DeGoey. Umpire lets them play. Clearance will go the way of the Magpies. Crisp goes straight to Brayshaw. Melbourne get it back from the logo commentary side. Collingwood by 9 points. It comes on the 45 here for Spargo. Marking just forward of the wing. Wanting the entry here. It's up the boundary line again. Gawn's with a couple to beat, but coming across with ease, Jack Madgen to take the mark. No.
2 grabs.
Didn't control the footy. So it's going to be thrown back in near the junction of 50 Randwick. And 5-6 Collingwood plays Melbourne 4-3. About to hit time on here in this second quarter.
Is that the basketball community saying how good we get all these basketball playing AFL? Shouldn't they not be promoting their games maybe not good enough, they're not staying in it?
I can't speak for them.
Jackson taps down to Harms on attacking 50. The kick's a high ball to the corridor. Underneath, half a chance for Sparrow. Drops the mark under pressure. Petrarca has it ripped from his grasp. Side bottom picks up. Collingwood wins that tangle. Hands it through Maynard to Quainer. His kick on the outer side, juggled and marked by Thomas. He runs on from the wing and kicks to attacking 50 over the head of the leading. Well, hold on, McCreary was there. He's looking at the ump saying, "What, me? Yes, you. Play on." Free kick Melbourne. May plays on from full back, kicks it wide to Spargo, who takes the mark at right half back. And now looks to play on to kick the broadcast wing for the Demons, who trail by 9 points. Kicks to Gawn, sandwich between 2. But Big Max is still too good and takes the mark just forward of the wing for the Demons.
Waits for the options. Narrows a pass up the boundary line here. Fritsch comes down heavily. Had the arms chopped by Maynard, who picks up the footy and hands it back to the young Demon. 65 from goal. Toward the pocket, Petrarca. Kick was too deep for him. At the back, Quainer waiting for it. Got the hand pass from Pendlebury. Oliver ripped to the turf by Noble, too high. Melbourne free kick. It was certainly there. He had time as well to execute a better tackle, and he took Oliver too high, so he's 25 out, right up against the boundary line in the right forward pocket.
Pendlebury was too quick with his hands for Quainer. I don't think he was actually expecting a handball from Pendlebury. It was nice by Pendlebury, but bit crude to say the least from Noble on that high tackle.
So Clayton Oliver, drop punt, already a goal this afternoon. It's going all the way back to the fence in front of the Churchill stand. This to give Melbourne some valuable momentum as we approach half-time. And for back-to-back goals for the D's. Oliver on the drop punt. It's missing to the right-hand side. Only just. 4-4-28. Melbourne, they trail Collingwood 5-6-36. 22 and a half played in this second quarter here at the SCG on Grandstand AFL.
So 6 minutes of playing time before half-time. Main up the corridor with a short kick in to Crisp. Takes an uncontested mark and he flares to the half-back flank wide to the boundary line for Maynard. So that's a good exit. What from here? Maynard down the line to the wing for Hoskin Elliott. Untouched, they transfer just beyond halfway the Pies. And now just a slower ball movement for Hoskin Elliott. Drives it as deep as he can to the pocket. Cameron, the target, comes to ground level. Roving there is Murphy. He's tackled immediately by Petty. And the up will come in and ball it up. But the Pies got it untouched from the kick in to a stoppage inside 50. Thrown in the air. Ruckman share it. Ground level Pendlebury first there out the back for Collingwood. Hands it to Hoskin Elliott. Rush kick to the corridor. Poulter spoils down. Doesn't have a rover, so he follows up. Brayshaw's hand pass. Went to Murphy. Tackled high by Hunt. No. It was all in the bounds of the laws of the game, says the umpire, and he hugs his chest and will throw it in the air. 35 from Collingwood's goal. The Pies leading by 8 points.
Up it goes. Gawn. Goey here spins to a tackle. Hand pass goes straight to McCreary, who spins away from Oliver, straightens up on goal and has the finish as well. What about that from Bo McCreary? So the Pies get one back. And they keep a 14-point lead. 6-6-42 to Melbourne, 4-4-28. 24 gone in this second quarter on Grandstand AFL.
There's a couple of pinballs going there. First it was De Goey, really strong take up, first take off the ruck, and then he spin out of trouble, which drew another Melbourne defender at him, which fed to McCreary, and then McCreary spun around and then just put it straight through the big sticks. That's a great opportunist goal there by a couple of strong forward players.
And look, young Lynch is doing all right, isn't he, in the ruck? Max Lynch, that's a lovely hit off to Goey, who's the one for me that's turned the ship as far as Collingwood's concerned and get the ball go forward. Nice and clean hit and strong inside in the contest and well finished.
Well, I just wonder, Nathan Buckley doesn't have to wonder or worry about what Jordan De Goey becomes after today. Why not give him a run in the middle? And hasn't it worked?
But not this swap now with Elliott in the middle and he's gone forward to Goey. They've just done a straight swap to Goey full forward and Elliott and ball.
Well, under the centre bounce, side bottom with the clearance for Collingwood through hands of Lynch to Noble. His kick inside 50. May leaves his man and takes a fine defender's mark just forward of fullback for the Demons. Chips across the face of goal to Salem. And he holds it up. The ladder leaders are just under a little bit of pressure here at the SCG, approaching half-time. Collingwood with a 14-point lead. Salem's kicked very wide. Quainer did his best. He gave away about 1.5 foot to Max Gawn. He went up and tried to spoil him, but Maxie said, no, my mark, young man.
At least he made it hard for him, a bit of body contact. And we talk about body spoiling. When you do spoil the ball, go through the body, make him earn it.
Not a fair fight, that one. Gawn kicks to a pack on the wing. First hands there from Wiedemann, can't mark. Rode by Pendlebury. Collingwood's ball again at the coalface. Through the hands of side bottom to Dacos. Then through Ruffhead, hands to Maynard. Kick from around the boundary, out in the full. Should have been. The ump's just got it wrong. Mychek took the mark, kicks inside 50. Looking there for Elliott. Punched away by Petty. Out of play. And forgive us for being a little Harrison Petty. But that was out on the full for sure.
He marked it in the members' stand.
Well called. 30 around from goal. Collingwood's attacking end here at the SCG. The Pies lead by 14 points. Back in it comes Max Lynch. Wins it down, though, only as far as Sparrow, who's held without the football, and wins the free kick for Melbourne. Oh, no, De Goey's got the footy here. Collingwood free kick. He shies on goal from 50. It's away to the left-hand side. Well, a bit of confusion, not least of which from me, as to why that was going Collingwood's way.
Melbourne a little bit stiff in the last two passages of play with some decisions.
Well, that being said, I reckon Spargo's kick on goal, which was a point, the ball was out of bounds there as well. Yeah. We do have a very good vantage point high on this wing at the SCG. Short kick him, Salem's got it in the left back pocket. D's just need to get to half time without doing more damage here. Salem's kick to the left half-back flank in a contest. Ball to ground level. Fritsch does the roving. Hands it out the back in hope. Picked up by Petrarca. Tries to give it back to Fritsch. He went without it. Noble there for Collingwood. Hand passes to Main. He goes backwards to Dacos, who's now defensive side of the wing. Circles, gets on his right. Kicks it over the head of Pendlebury. McCreery comes through. Can't gather. Pendles, though, knocks it back to McCreery. Volleyed it out of the air. Marked by Hunt, who read it the best for the D's at left half-back. Plays on quickly with an infield kick. Marked by Neil Bullen. His hand path through Jordan out towards the wing. The kick. Running in front of it is Langdon. He's pushed off it by Hoskin Elliott, and Collingwood has the ball again.
Myercheck pushed off the kick by Cozzy Pickett, just wobbles up the wing. Elliott was manhandled by Christian Salem. Still alive here for the Demons. Lever back to Salem, out the back now for Hunt. He shirks a tackle as well. Salem standing still, off a step now, goes back to the bullseye where Hibbard waits. They can switch here. Brayshaw unmarked through the corridor. Oliver presents 55 from goal. He can wheel and go now. Eyes the big sticks or a marking target deep in the pocket. Fritsch was beaten to it by Roughhead. Effective spoil from the Magpies defender. It's out of bounds for a throw-in. 20 around from the left behind post at Melbourne's attacking end. They trailed by 15 points.
Petrarca must have had Harry Potter's invisible cloak on there. He was absolutely in a mile of space in front of it. What was Oliver thinking? That was an absolute horrible decision.
Great stuff from Ryan O'Keefe on Grandstand AFL. D's in attack. Well, the boundary throw-in. Pitches in front of McDonald. Pickett roves and snaps and out on the full. Did it hit the post? I just missed everything. And Main's going to take the free kick for Collingwood in the right back pocket. Quickly chips it to the North Macedonian marble. It's amazing how international sport teaches you things. I didn't realise that Macedonia is now North Macedonia, thanks to Euros for teaching us that. So of course, it's Dacos who kicks the right half back. Ball to ground level. Petrarca's underneath it and jumped on. And the umps watching might ping him. No. Ball up.
Yeah, a couple of worrying signs for Melbourne now. You know, Pickett could have handballed the Neil Bullen right there in a better position. Oliver was the same with Petrarca. All year they haven't been playing this football. They've been very selfless in the way they've played, but not thus far in this game.
And the Rita side bottom, and now Lynch can kick up the line here for the Pies towards a 2-on-2. Harrison Petty makes a contest. Taps it on here for Stephen May. They can get it going all the way back to left half-back. Christian Salem can find Petrarca in space in front of the O'Reilly stand on the eastern side of the SCG. His kick's a shocker. It's gone straight to Noble. Magpies can start again. Coming inboard now for Roughhead.
Is this the same?
15 points. Sorry, Q.
I was just about to say, is this the same team you saw in the last quarter and a half out at the showground? Beat Brisbane last Friday night?
Definitely not.
They did start the same way, you know, against Brisbane. They weren't great in the first half against Brisbane last week. That's Melbourne. They turned it around at half-time.
Now more off half-back. Kicks to half-forward. 2-on-2. And Myercheck, the leader, couldn't mark, but follows up with a great tackle to dispossess Hibbard. Spillage to McCreery. Chip inside 50, marked by DeGoey. 40 out directly in front.
What's Collingwood's forwards are doing? They're really making the, not say unaccountable Melbourne defence, but making them have to defend one-on-one a little bit more. They've been precise, a bit more precise in their ball movement, what you're crying out for, Tig, earlier on. They've just been cleaner. They've been executing their kicks, where Melbourne, on the other hand, just haven't. So that's the difference in this quarter. Collingwood's going forward's been a lot more efficient.
DeGoey for a 21-point lead. He's pushed it to the left and misses. 6-8-44. Leads 4-4-28 late in the second term.
From the kick out, Langdon receives it, lays off the hand pass to Salem, and he finds Oliver by foot on the outer side. Coming back inboard, wasn't 15 to Petrarca. And now he lays it off to Jaden Hunt through the middle of the SCG, going up inside 50. Effective spoil from Darcy Moore on Fritsch at the drop. Thomas there for the Pies. Be careful off far back. Run down with the footy is Dacos.
It's a free kick.
And it's going to be a free kick because the tackle was effective from Tom Sparrow.
Shot on goal.
Yep.
This is Tony Lockett's spot.
I reckon he's 60 from goal, Tom Sparrow.
This is Lockett in the prelim final against Essendon.
I'll probably have a little bit more confidence in Lockett kicking it.
The young South Australian who turned 21 a fortnight ago.
It's a fair run-up. He's got the cricket run-up. He's at the SCG. He's got a Brett Lee run-up.
To the run again.
So his chase down tackle resulting in a free kick here after the half-time siren. Can he give it the appropriate distance? No. It's going to be just knocked back in the field of play by Darcy Cameron, and that will be a 16.
A bit of their mindset there, Melbourne. Kick the barrel. They've played really safe.
It is. Take the big dog out and swing hard.
Yeah. Collingwood 6-8-44. Melbourne 4-4-28. That second term went 31 minutes. Goal kickers in the game so far. Darcy Cameron and Brody Myercheck each have a couple. Will Hoskin-Elliott and Beau McCreary kicked a nice goal in that second quarter as well. Meanwhile, for the Demons, it's all single goal kickers. James Harms, Luke Jackson, Alex Neil-Bullen, who kicked the first of the game, and Clayton Oliver as well. So 16 points it is here. 6-8-44, plays 4-4-28. Half-time here. The thoughts of our experts, Ty Kennelly and Ryan O'Keefe.
Oh, look, I think it's just... Melbourne have been off. Like, just the intensity, like... There's a lot of turnovers. They're fumbly, and then what Collingwood's doing. Collingwood's been able to turn them over and go quickly and a lot more direct at them. So, and then like their forwards have had to make the Melbourne defence, who play really well as a unit and guard dangerous space, but because it's coming back with some speed off a turnover, the Collingwood forwards are having to make Melbourne defenders defend one-on-one a lot more, and their efficiency in the inside 50 has been spot on. And look, they've had shots on goal, and look, to be honest, what are they? They've had 6 goals, 8. They could be a lot further front if they actually kick true.
14 scoring shots to 8.
Yeah, and it's been their efficiency inside 50. We called it for at quarter time to lift, and they've increased that efficiency inside their forward 50. They've had 11 marks inside their forward 50 against a team that love to intercept. And you're right, Ryan, it's making them defend in the way they've used the ball coming forward. It's Collingwood I'm talking about, and the goal is a major reason for that. He's got very busy in that quarter of football. And it's good to see a bloke that is playing a bit freer and running around the ball.
I'd love to know whether this was a part of the plan for Jordan De Goey this year, or just because Nathan Buckley thinks, well, it's not my footy team after today, let's give him a run.
I think Elliott helps him. I think Elliott helps him with the decision-making as far as playing him. You need two of them, and Elliott's a similar type to him, playing him deep forward.
Probably the thing with De Goey's game, because he's an elite player, contested, skillful, is his fitness. He can't go in the midfield for long periods of time because he just blows up. Then if he blows up, he's no good to anyone. Even if he goes forward, he's tired.
Well, he missed that shot.
He's a power player.
Yeah, but even watching that in the game there a couple of times, you're right, Ryan, I saw him, and he didn't move when he's got the ball attacking offensively, and he just stayed on the wing. Because it's obviously messages they've almost gone, you know what, don't worry about when Melbourne have got the ball. You do what you do offensively, because he doesn't have the tank, as you're saying, to actually work defensively.
Exactly right. Ways. So for De Goey, like at this point, it's probably with Petrarca. So I reckon he's Petrarca, say 12 months ago, where Petrarca's built his fitness up, and you can see he's moving, covers the ground a lot better. Those big, powerful, strong players, De Goey goes in there, puts a lot of impact in, and then goes forward. But Collingwood probably just don't have that wave of midfielders to be able to replace it De Goey. Where Melbourne, that's why I said Petrarca's so good this year, is that he's gone in, he's powerful, impacts, but he can last longer, and then they've got the cavalry in the midfield to back it up. So, look, for De Goey, he could be a great inside mid player, but he just needs to work on his fitness.
The other one is Darcy Moore has been outstanding. He's a great not just player. Intercept marking, but he's had a couple of massive spoils. It's turned them around. Melbourne's offensively coming forward. It's turned them right around, and Collingwood have jumped on the back of that and came forward and been efficient with the ball movement going forward in the second quarter. And the midfield group of Melbourne are non-existent in that second quarter of football for mine.
Darcy Moore, I'd say, is the best key position player in the game. He's sensational. I really, really think he's great.
Yep.
A few of your texts, by the way, 0437 774 774. Bucks has been let down by Collingwood and their ridiculous rhetoric around players and trades. From there, it was always going to be uphill. Good luck to him moving forward. D's to win. Go Swans. That's from Benno. And another one here. G'day, boys. Inzi here. Streaming liquid fertiliser on canola crops in Harris Smith, WA. Loving the call. Congratulations to Nathan Buckley on wonderful football resume, and what an awesome Sunday night game here in the West. Carlton Eagles. Yeah, last night it was a tremendous conclusion to that game in the end. Speaking of matters out of the weekend earlier, the AFL has issued a statement, by the way, in the last half hour clarifying David McKay's tribunal date for Thursday night. So this Thursday, the AFL will contend during the hearing that the impact to Hunter Clark was severe and that there should be a 3+ match suspension for rough conduct. In the same statement, they also confirmed that it was Steve Hocking who referred the incident, not Michael Christian, because I think that was what we thought had happened, because the MRO, having sort of passed it off to the tribunal, it was Steve Hocking who made the executive decision to have that heard.
Is that the process? That's not the normal process.
No.
So why come in? Why step in, Steve Hawking?
Oh, if the Kremlin doesn't like what's going on, it goes to the top, doesn't it?
Yeah,
like, that sounds extra. Are you serious?
Yeah, that's undermining.
Well, what's Chris O's job?
That's right. That's my point. It's undermining Chris O. What's he doing there?
If you've got a process, you've got to follow the process.
That's right. Stick to the process. Yeah, that's interesting.
That's
very, very interesting.
Extraordinary.
Yeah. So that's to come out of that game back on. That was the Cairns game, wasn't it? Saturday night. Yeah. So anyway.
Yeah. By the way, boys, what do you think?
I think it was a football incident. That physically you're going to get hurt in this game. That happens, and I think he was purely going for the ball. And football accidents happen. That was my gut call. And I'm watching the game live, and after seeing it a few times in replay,
I know Dave McKay. He would not hurt a fly. Like, he would have no malice in it, and spot on target. It's just the football. These things happen. You play a physical game, you are going to get hurt at one point in time. And I think he was going for the ball. He's not the player that would ever go intentionally to try and hurt someone at all. We're
always going to be in the situation when we look at the impact or the result of an impact, and that's what happens in these incidents. And we've set ourselves up for this because of when you're looking at the impact of an incident.
That's spot on.
Broken jaw. If it wasn't a broken jaw, it gets off nothing.
Exactly right, and that's the way the system's put in place, is about what is it. It's all about an outcome. It's an outcome-driven system. So if you hit someone, they get up, they're fine, all good. But if the exact same action hurt someone, broken jaw, concussion, you got weeks.
Give me the intent every day of the week. If he had an intent to hurt someone, you can clearly see it from a player's perspective. He's got the intent to go and hurt him. McKay had the intent to go and win the ball. There was an accident in actually the fact that he broke his opponent's jaw.
It's the hotbed topic of this last couple of days.
I can't believe that. Is that seriously?
I've looked at this statement a couple of times now, and that's what I'm gleaning from this. So we'll come back and discuss.
That's another story altogether.
A little bit throughout the course of the Arvo. Half-time here, by the way. Collingwood leads Melbourne. Yes, you heard that right. By 16 points, the Magpies at 6-8-44 to Melbourne 4-4-28. We are halfway through the Queen's birthday clash. Big freeze 7 here at the Sydney Cricket Ground. More from Quentin Hull, Ryan O'Keefe, Ty Connelly, Sophie Clappin. I'm Brett Sprigg. More coming up from us. But first, it's time for us to head to the ABC newsroom.
ABC News with Glenn Lauder. Police are investigating after the death of a spectator at the Fink Desert Race in Central Australia. Officers say a vehicle left the road and hit a group of spectators about 35 kilometres from the finish line in Alice Springs. Commander Craig Laidler says a man in his 60s has died as a result of the incident.
We also have a second male in his 50s who has serious injuries, and he's being medevaced to Royal Adelaide Hospital tomorrow. There's a third person that has minor injuries that we believe to be the navigator of the vehicle.
The Health Minister, Greg Hunt, says some GPs will begin administering the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine from July. So far, GPs have been restricted to the AstraZeneca jab, with Pfizer vaccines administered at state and federally run clinics. Mr Hunt says GPs will soon be able to administer both vaccines as supplies of Pfizer ramp up.
That will mean that we'll have 300 plus initially. General practices begin with Pfizer, and they'll be focused on the same basis as the National Cabinet advice of 40 to 49. And then that will grow in the latter part of the month to 600 plus.
But the Victorian government has temporarily suspended walk-up vaccinations of the Pfizer dose because of supply issues. The federal government says it's in the process of reuniting a Tamil family who have been in detention on Christmas Island. 4-year-old Tanika Murugappan was medevaced to Perth with her mother last week. Her father and sister remained on the island. She'll need to remain in hospital for 2 weeks. The Deputy Prime Minister says the government's acting on calls from WA health authorities to relocate the rest of the family to be with her. Their immigration lawyer, Karina Ford, hopes all 4 of them can be together again soon.
The hospital has made the decision for her to remain in hospital for at least the next 2 weeks, and has also recently called for the family to be able to join her mother and herself in Perth.
The Victorian government's defended its response to the state's devastating storm and flooding event. Kalorama in Melbourne's outer east was among the worst affected areas, and some residents still don't have heating, food or essential supplies. Locals are angry. State government and emergency management officials have not yet visited the area. The Health Minister, Martin Foley, says that the acting Premier, James Molino, lives in the area and has been meeting with affected people.
The acting Premier in particular has taken huge focus on this. He was down
in the flood areas of Gippsland yesterday. He has been around, I know, his own community in the Dandenongs yesterday.
A reopened inquest into the Whiskey A Go-Go nightclub fire, one of Australia's worst mass murders, has begun in Brisbane. 15 people died when the Fortitude Valley nightclub was firebombed in March 1973. James Finch and John Stewart were convicted for the murder of one of the victims, but the inquest was reopened after the 2017 conviction of 2 more men over a cold case triple murder believed to be linked to the arson. One of those men, Vincent O'Dempsey, is in court, while the second man, Gary Dubois, and French and Stewart have since died. The 2-week inquest will hear from witnesses, including friends and family of the victims. The oceanographer Stephen Rintoul has been made an Officer of the Order of Australia for his service to climate change. Mr Rintoul's been one of the CSIRO's leading researchers on Southern Ocean currents since the early 1990s. He says he's seen the oceans around Antarctica warm and shift dramatically in that time, and he's worried about what that will mean for our climate.
And at the same time, there's optimism because we are, with the rise of renewables and storage options and so on, we have technologies coming that will help us make the economy less dependent on carbon and therefore safeguard the climate.
State media in Myanmar has accused an ethnic armed group of killing 25 construction workers in the east of the country. The group's reported to have been abducted by the Karen National Defence Organisation while working on the Uhu Creek Bridge near the Thai border. Women and children were among those taken but are understood to have escaped. The KNDO is among the armed groups whose military campaigns for greater autonomy have flared up since February's military coup. And the death toll from an artillery strike on a hospital in northern Syria has risen to at least 15. The shelling over the weekend caused widespread destruction and knocked out the hospital's maternity ward and surgery unit. It's not yet clear who was behind the attack. The US State Department has condemned the incident and is calling for a nationwide ceasefire across Syria. For more news at any time, you can head to the website abc.net.au/news.
Open your ears to the world with the ABC Listen app. Step into someone else's shoes in conversations with Richard Feidler and Sarah Konoski.
She hadn't seen me since I was 10. I was about 16 now. And she looked at me. She said, "That's my baby brother, Archie."
Or learn how to make your money work for you as comedian Nazim Hussain looks at spending less and spending better in the Pineapple Project.
I learned the hard way to budget, but I'm still paying for my 20s in a way.
Open your ears to the world with the ABC Listen app.
The 2021 AFL Premiership season on ABC Radio and on ABC Sport Digital.
Comes to DeGoey, pies through Chris. He can snap from 45. It's wobbling its way toward the goal square. Back with the flight, Darcy Cameron. He wastes no time coming off, and he just kills it around the goalpost. For goal number 2 for Darcy Cameron.
Elliott plays onto the pocket. He's got Hoskin Elliott who'd run on and is unmarked. 30 metres closer to goal, albeit on a tougher angle. On this emotive day for the Pies, Hoskin Elliott's put Collingwood in front against the ladder-leading Demons early in the second term. On the head of DeGoey, who's having some game. Marks 2 kicks from goal. Kicks inside, 50 to Myercheck, right in the corridor, 45 out. No angle, 49 metres out. Collingwood with 4 goals in a row. Spargo made an effort. Chris can't mark. Ground level, Fritz Robes. Tackled, puts a little toe to it. McDonald makes good of it in the pocket, hands it to Jackson, and they've rumbled a goal.
Goey here spins to a tackle. Hand pass goes straight to McCreary, who spins away from Oliver, straightens up on goal and has the finish as well.
The 2021 AFL Premiership season on ABC Radio and on ABC Sport Digital.
Half-time in the Queen's Birthday Clash at an overcast Sydney Cricket Ground. My name is Brett Sprigg. Great to have your company on ABC Radio, News Radio and ABC Sport Digital. Quentin Hull calling the action with me. Our experts are Ty Kennelly and Ryan O'Keefe. Here it's the Pies by 16 points, 6-8-44 to 4-4-28. And I think a beat we can all dance to is the scoreboard as far as the Fight M&D fundraising is concerned. It's just gone over $2 million for this year alone, which is fantastic. The work done by Neil Danaher and his team, as always. For Big Freeze 7. So those donations are still coming in. There's plenty of beanies here around the SCG. I've seen them around town during the week and in all parts of Australia indeed. So great that has certainly looked like a success despite the change of venue away from the MCG. The slide still happened. Gillan McLachlan, the AFL CEO, went down as Meatloaf. Abby Holmes, who of course herself is a Channel 7 commentator and boundary rider, she went down as Robert Dippy Domenico, Dipper in the old Channel 7 Dries a Bone. We spoke pre-game to Jeff, a wizard farmer, who was a wizard, and he disrobed out of his wizard's cloak and went down in budgie smugglers adorned with the Aboriginal flag, which was a nice touch for the former demon and Fremantle wizard. Shane Crawford also as well. He went down as the Queen. Shani Norda was Vanilla Ice. And Billy Brownless wore the Assumption College jumper. It's the school he went to and the school Danaher's all went to as well, a famous football school in Victoria. So here, the teams are back out there. The Pies are out there first. Melbourne also running out onto the SCG with the second half not too far away. Around the grounds, as far as the Queen's Birthday Clash in the NRL is concerned, the last game of round 14, Canterbury Bankstown 8, the Bulldogs, they lead St George Illawarra 6. So 8-6 late in the first half there. Earlier in the basketball NBA conference semis, Milwaukee 107 beat Brooklyn 96. That was game 4 of the series, now tied at 2-2. And the Suns swept the Nuggets. Phoenix winning 125 to Denver's 118 in that conference semis. Speaking of the basketball, and Quentin Hull mentioned that it isn't a public holiday in most parts of Australia, including WA, where a lot of our AFL listing audience are. But there is still some sport on a school night tonight. Game 3 of the NBL semi-final series, the Perth Wildcats and Illawarra Hawks will meet at Perth Arena, and listeners through all of WA on ABC local radio will hear that from 7:30 tonight, and also on ABC Illawarra if you're listening in that part of the world just south here of Sydney. Game 3, deciding game of that series, and the Melbourne and Southeast Melbourne series is still alive. That deciding game is tomorrow night. That's all you have to know about the business end of the National Basketball League. Here, it is 16 points the difference. Collingwood leads Melbourne. We saw the Demons last week find another gear against the Brisbane Lions in that game at Giant Stadium. Ryan O'Keefe, Ty Canelli, what do they have to do here in the second half to find their way back in front?
Well, it's the midfield battle around the clearances. Like, Collingwood are up in the clearances, and the Collingwood midfielders are on top, like the DeGoey and Pendlebury and Cripps, and these players they're winning their fair share of the ball. Like, the leading possession getters for Melbourne are the defenders, which is saying that the game's played in the back half a lot. Petrarca's probably the only midfielder for Melbourne that's sort of showing something. So it's definitely got to come out of the middle. And
Max Gawn's the one. Max Lynch is putting it right up to him, and as far as how to play as a ruckman, young rookie off the rookie list, and a New South Welsh man, and he's putting it right up to Max Gawn at the moment, and hence why the midfielders of Melbourne are also struggling. But that's a work rate, but it's also the captain of your football club needs to lift.
And just a sign of solidarity here from Collingwood. Now, we don't get to see all teams at all venues all the time, but quite obvious that they have linked arms here. A real sign of unity on the 50 down at the Paddington end of the ground. Now the Demons doing the same, but it looks like there's a call to arms being issued from both teams, in fact. Max Gawn really laying down the law for the Demons.
It is, as you say, an emotive day for Collingwood. 27 years of connection comes to an end with Nathan Buckley, and his team's in front by 16 points. A few numbers, Quentin Hull, if we can, to half-time.
For Collingwood, DeGoey with 19 disposals. Interestingly, 4 clearances but only 1 contested possession for Jordan DeGoey, but he's been prolific. Maynard 18, Pendlebury 17. The top 3 for the Demons, Salem 16, Jordan 15, May and Petrarca 14 each. Overall, Collingwood with 9 more at 204 to 195. Contested, it's +4 to Melbourne, 46 to 42. The clearance is +4 to Collingwood at 18 to 14. Tackles, pretty even there. Pies 21, D's 20. And inside 50s are 30 to 26 Melbourne's way. What were you pointing at, Ty?
Scott Pendlebury, 9 contested possessions, 17 disposals. He's having a bit of a crack for his coach, yes. I'm sure of it.
Yeah.
Second half underway. The Queen's birthday clash. Petrarca tries to squeeze out the kick. It's deflected out towards Elliott. Shoved off it here. It just tumbles towards half forward. Hibberd gets there first for the Demons. Can he track it towards the boundary line? It's sockered, kept alive here by Thomas of the Pies. Salem gathers here for the Demons. Comes away off the half-back line here. It's a kick in space at the bootstraps of Noble. And it came from Melbourne, so Collingwood might get it back here. Noble goes in hard, gets it back from Lynch, snaps inside 50, and that will drop beautifully and find the target at the Randwick end where Thomas was just waiting for it, and he's 35 out, slightly right of centre.
Let's just sum up Melbourne's game at the moment. A turnover, a horrible turnover of Jake Lever, and that's probably just one knock on Lever's game. And remember, at Adelaide, he used to do the same. He used to try and do a little bit too much with the ball. He's kicked it to Collingwood, and then Melbourne's defence, no one's picking up anyone.
Yeah, they're all watching each other.
Thomas on the approach for the ideal start here to the third term for Collingwood. It's across to the left-hand side and thumped through by Lever. A minus score. Collingwood 6-9-45, Melbourne 4-4-28. A minute and a half gone here in the third quarter on Grandstand AFL.
The opportunities Collingwood have got to put him to the sword. They've got to keep putting that scoreboard pressure on Melbourne.
Salem runs to the pocket, wide to the flank with the entry, marked by Hibberd on D50. Hands it to May, who's under pressure, hands it back to Hibberd, and he rushes the kick towards the wing, but it works out. Jackson's there to take the grab for the Demons. So I've got to halfway, but it certainly had its nervy moments about it. Jackson infield kicks back to Salem. Marks with side bottom standing the mark. And very slow movement of the footy. Salem kicking infield to Hunt, who's unmarked and then runs away. Elliott gets him. Hunt's hand pass is a little 50-50. Oliver's there to gather at 55 from goal for Melbourne. Hands it wide to Brayshaw. Numbers in the pocket. His kick finds Gawn's chest. And the big man lopes and takes the mark 40 metres out.
There's a real settler Melbourne need. Like Brayshaw, really good, lowering the eyes. Look, he's a class player, Brayshaw, I think. But this is something that Maxi, you mentioned it, Tig, he's probably hadn't put his stamp on this game. If he goes back and puts this as a captain's goal, maybe this might just recalibrate Melbourne.
Has kicked the 7 goals this year. Starts his approach beyond attacking 50. About 10 metres in from the boundary at left half forward. Runs infield, Gawn. Right foot strike. Big time goal from Big Max Gawn. And if we were at the G, the smokers stand would have erupted with that one, as the skipper of the red and the blue puts them back within 11 points early in the third term.
The crowd's got a bit of voice. Like there's a decent crowd here, and they're really into this game. It's great. It's great to see that Sydney's, embraced this game, and all the Melbourne and Collingwood supporters that do live here in Sydney have come and supported this game. It's fantastic.
Yeah, the opportunity just came almost from a mistake from Jayden Hunt, who took the game on, because the ball movement was being slow and precise again. But Jayden Hunt took the bull by the horns and looked like Elliott was going to run him down. It came off nothing but a nice finish and inside 50 kick, and great captain's goal, as you said, Ryan. It's exactly what Melbourne needed to try and get themselves back on the right track.
Now, Sophie Clappin downstairs, I think Nathan Murphy may have succumbed to that thigh injury in the first quarter, and Jay Rantel is running up and down the boundary line. So we'll get down to you shortly if we can, so for confirmation of that sub, as the goey's slung around here by Harms, and it is holding the ball. So a successful tackle from Harms. The goey hands the footy back to him. It plays on up inside forward 50 towards the forward pocket. Quainer takes the intercept mark. Great work at left full back. It's the Pies by 11 points, 4.5 played third quarter.
Looking infield, looking outside, goes outside with a chip to the boundary. Moore takes the grab. He transfers to side bottom. Takes the mark on the lead. Still at left half back for Collingwood. In front of the Daly Messengers stand out on that eastern side of the field. Artificial lights really taking effect as we reach 10 to 5 local time. Kick down the line to a contest, and it's read by De Goey of Collingwood on the wing. Hand it to Elliott, hands it to Pendlebury. His hand pass to Thomas. Beyond halfway, Collingwood. Now the chip to half forward, not great. At the boots of Lynch, he couldn't mark. Hibberd arrives to help for Melbourne. Taps it, hoping there for Hunt, who will pick it up and run the D's away from half back. Hands from Salem to Harms. This hand pass hoping for Oliver. He ran into Maynard, went down. Hunt ran on. Maynard picked himself up, made the tackle, and highs the call. Free kick, Melbourne.
No, a sling dump.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Well, not that I agree, Ty. You'd agree with me. Sometimes it does pay in life to have hair.
That is a perfect tackle. Yeah. He couldn't do anything better.
The flailing hair accentuated it. Hunt goes wide to Brayshaw, and his kick from 50 is out of bounds on the full. Free kick to be taken by Moore in the right back pocket for Collingwood. 11 points the lead to the Pies early in the third term.
Footy karma. It's all right. It all balances out in the end.
Just a bit of common sense, really. You know, it's a strong tackle, and I understand why the AFL are trying to stamp it out of our game, but we've also been able to be physical in the game.
Morby on defensive 50. Strong pack grab from Jordan DeGoey.
So you obviously don't have to hit your opponent's head in that, because Hunt didn't hit his head on the ground.
But if he hits his head in the ground, you know, he's going to get suspended.
Towards the contest, Neil Bourne's hand pass to Oliver. Now Salem's been pushed over by Crisp. Comes to Maynard here. He just puts his kick up the line. It was a little one here for side bottom. Hand pass picked up by Salem. DeGoey bursting through. Clean pick up. Harms back inside forward 50 towards a 2-on-2. They're trying to get Tom McDonald at the back though. It drops for Moore, and now it's Madgen's kick dicey, picked up by Brayshaw. 45 from goal towards the teeth of goal, and it's bouncing over the pack and out of bounds for a throw-in. Not pretty footy in this opening 6.5 minutes of the third quarter.
He did a turtle.
Take the obvious.
He did a turtle. Look at that. He ducked his head.
Seriously, if you're a neutral in Sydney who got a free ticket and got told, come see the best team in the comp at the moment, Magpies thinking, what?
By 11. Crisp goes the pick up. Overran it. Now DeGoey can clear the area. Back to Thomas.
So Collingwood now play the outer side as Thomas kicks it to Hoskin Elliott. The Demons look anything but the ladder leaders at the moment. Hoskin Elliott chips in field to side bottom. He's called to play on. Will roll over the logo and chip it wide to the flank. Oh, nowhere near a target. May presents and gathers on the half volley for Melbourne. Hands it to Neil Bullen. His hand pass to Langdon on the outer wing. Has time to bounce. Noble applies the pressure. Langdon now kicks around the boundary line and gone. Leading, sliding, marking. 60 metres from goal. Hard on the boundary at right half forward. Maxi's kick deep to the pocket is out of bounds on the full.
We've gone back to the first quarter.
Free kick, Collingwood in the left back pocket.
So, a confirmation of that sub downstairs?
Yeah, guys, Nathan Murphy, who came off in that second quarter with a corked thigh, hasn't recovered, so he's been subbed out. Jay Rantel, Collingwood's medical sub, is set to be activated. He's lining up on the boundary, about to be injected into the game.
Thank you, Sophie Clappin, as Max Gawn takes a mark here at right half forward, feeds off the hand pass to May, kicks with distance into the pocket, Petrarca waiting out the back. Bananas from the pocket on the run and has the finish. Might that spark the Demons? Margin back to 5. Collingwood 6-9-45, Melbourne 6-4-40, 8.5 played third quarter on Grandstand AFL. Here's Ryan O'Keefe.
You called it, Ty. Big Max needed to step up, and he has. He's taken some. He started forward as a deep forward, and he's presented well, taking some marks. So he's the one that's lifted in this quarter for Melbourne. He's obviously stepped up as a captain and said, hey, I've got to start doing something better.
Well coached, you know. Well coached. Obviously, they've put him forward, and he hasn't had a great first half, but they put him forward, and he's had an impact in the game, certainly in this third quarter. But the efficiency still hasn't been great from Melbourne, and nice finish from Petrarca. He'll do that all day with his power and explosiveness and quality around the goals.
Ryan O'Keefe and Ty Kennelly with you on Grandstand AFL. 2 goals in a row for Melbourne after Collingwood led by 16 points at half-time. Now a 5-point game in favour of the Pies. Centre bounce comes off the boots of DeGoey towards half-forward for Melbourne. Jackson hands it inside 50 for the D's. Wiedemann gives it back to Jackson by hand. Now on the outside to Langdon. Snap from the pocket to the goal mouth. Well read by Maynard. Got in the way for the Pies. Kicks down the corridor. And here's the slingshot if they want. Lynch marks but holds up. Hands it to his captain, Pendlebury on defensive 50. Chips it to Elliott. They still want to move it quickly now from the wing. Elliott's kick wide. Rantel the sub. Oh, it hit him on the head. He couldn't take the mark. It's gone to deck. He's hassled there by Rivers. The cavalry arrives. Jordan picks up for Melbourne. Gave to Neil Button. Too slow. Holding the ball. Great tackle, Thomas. Play on taken. Poulter for Collingwood. His hand pass through McCreary to Main. Oh, back to Thomas. It's hectic. It's hopeful. It's out of play. And a boundary throw in it right half forward for the Pies.
They're bringing the heat. the Pies. That's a good thing probably we haven't seen from them much this year. They're bringing that intensity, that hit, that pressure, and it's making this, usually cool, calm, efficient ball movement of Melbourne be a little bit shaky.
Melbourne have kicked the only 2 goals in this third quarter so far. Lynch lays it down here for Chris. Beaten to it, though, by Jackson. Off to Cozzy Pickett. Out wide, waiting for it, Brayshaw. Up that left boot now towards the 2-on-1. Petrarca has them to beat. Keeps it a lot in front of Ladies Stand. Floats a hand pass in Bordeaux. Too hot for Neil Bullen. At the bootstraps of Dacos. He gathers here for the Pies. They'll track all the way back to Darcy Moore at right half-back. And now across the defensive goal mouth, where it's spilled by Bianco between his legs. Fritz can close him down a little slowly, but the Pies will have it through Hoskin Elliott. No, didn't travel to him, so it's going to be play on, and he's tackled by Langdon. The umpire will ball it up. 52 out from the Melbourne goal. It's the Pies who lead by 5 points, 11 gone third term.
Hint of desperation coming into this Queen's Birthday clash as Cameron taps down for Collingwood at left half back, but Digoi's given away a free kick. Holding Pickett. 60 out at right half forward for Melbourne.
I tell you who's been good in the ruck is, well, they've obviously swapped as Jackson for Melbourne. He's provided a lot of energy.
Pickett's kick went over the head of Harms, took a touch. Jordan Marks gives back to Harms on the snap to the goal mouth. Roughhead got a fist there for Collingwood. Main Roves tackle, dispossessed. Fritsch swivels, snaps and puts the Demons back in front. It hasn't been pretty, but it's been effective for Melbourne in this third term. They've kicked the first 3 goals of it, and 11 and a half in, they've erased that deficit of half-time, which was 16 points, and they now lead the game by a point at 7 goals for 46 to 6-9-45.
Almost a repeat of last week's game from a Melbourne perspective. Got him in at half-time. The coaching group made a couple of changes, and this guy coming off the ground now, Max Gawn, has been a big impact on what Melbourne have been able to do, but just got the ball forward in there and created a contest and fight and scratch for the goal. And I'm not too sure Fritz meant it. I think he was trying it, but I think he miskicked it when he kicked it over his head, and we've seen a couple of them in the weekend. Obviously Saturday night's goal over his head. Oh, it was a miskick. I'll give it to him. Oh, just look through as we're watching the replay on the screen.
So as you heard there from Quentin Hull, 3 goals to start this third quarter for Melbourne. And now back in front, Jackson beats Cameron in the ruck. Picked up though by DeGoey. They can win the clearance through Crisp. Tumbles it up the line. Side bottom in the contest. And now he follows up as well. Floats a hand pass back here for Elliott. 45 out to DeGoey. Shapes the kick. Goes the hand to Poulter. Standing start from 35. Pulls it way too far to the right-hand side with a snap on the left. And it is scores level. Collingwood 6-10-46. Melbourne 7-4-46. 13 gone third term.
Just rushed himself there. Probably a little bit more time. Just made a little bit more composed and could have hit the drop punt.
May's kick in is successful. Marked by Rivers at left half back, or just inside defensive 50 for Melbourne. Will kick a long ball to the wing. McDonald's behind, doesn't get a hand on it. Maynard, third in line, takes the grab for Collingwood. Plays on with a chip to Poulter. Takes the mark and is held up on the mark by Brayshaw. Oh, then his kick was straight along the ground to the man on the mark. Brayshaw picks it up, gives to Spargo. His chip on the head of Fritsch. Spoiled by Maynard to Deck. Maynard butters up for Collingwood. Hand pass to DeGoey. Tackled by Harms. Just got rid of a hand pass. Hard ball to win on the edge of the centre square. Free kick going Melbourne's way. Maynard dived in with his head, I think. And that's why they're giving the free kick to Jordan.
Took him low. What I love about Maynard, he's actually come with some vigour and ferocity. He's had a crack this whole game.
Jordan's going to kick Melbourne deep into attack. McDonald's got 3 to beat, was shepherded out of the contest. That is a bad free kick to be given away there by Roughhead when there was no chance of taking the mark, in my humble opinion.
Yeah.
Rhino?
Yeah, no, that was... Collingwood had that totally covered. It was one of those unnecessary... the intention, you can see what he was thinking, but just didn't need to do it. That was so blatant. That is absolutely blatant. You'd be filthy as a defensive coach there, Ty. That's an absolute coach killer.
Yeah, Cameron had taken the mark at the front of that pack. There were 3 against Tom Mack in that. But here's a chance to return Melbourne to the lead. 30 metres out, slight angle to the left. McDonald on the approach, hits the post near side. It's enough to put Melbourne in front. 7-5-47, lead 6-10-46, 14 and a half third term.
Poulter's kick before looked like a nervous person on the first tee and just would love a mulligan.
Ian Poulter.
Yes.
So all the outer side from the kick out from Moore. Now Hoskin Elliott up the line now for Sidebottom. Premiership player and two-time best and fairest, recent 250 gamer. He still has the footy. Sidebottom at left half back. Melbourne leads by a point. His kick goes up towards the contest, although Gawn got separation late and takes a strong mark on the outer wing at right half back, or just in front of right half back for Melbourne. Going back inside defensive 50 where Rivers is waiting. They'll switch here, the Demons coming commentary side. Harrison Petty sits up on a couple of bounces for him. And now his kick was a little off balance, and that's going to be out of bounds on the full, I fancy. Yes. Pies to get it back just forward of halfway commentary side. Melbourne leads by a point. 7-5 plays 6-10.
Dacos on the inbounds kicked it straight to Oliver, who plays for the opposition.
I haven't seen as bad at kicking this year.
Oliver just forward of left half back, kicks the Demons back into the attacking half. A 2-on-2 more. Too good in the pack for Collingwood. Takes a clean mark and he's immediately on the lateral. On the switch to the outer side. Kicks to Hoskin Elliott, forward of D50, left half back. Kicks wide to Sidebottom. Marks in space, true centre wing outer side. Plays on, chips it. Marked by Lynch, 60 from goal, hands it back to Sidebottom. His entry is an up and under Hoper to the pocket. 3-on-1 against Cameron, but Cameron claims the mark. Oh, Steve May touched that first, but Cameron's been paid the grab.
For sure, May touched it first. Yeah, it was 3 back when he came and would spoil that. Darcy Cameron.
Oh, Stephen May marked 80% of that. Darcy Cameron got the last 20. Wow. Anyway, Cameron is going to line up from 20 metres out, slightly left-hand side. He's already kicked to the big man. And this puts Collingwood back in front if he kicks truly on the approach to the Randwick. And the Pies return to the lead. 3 for Darcy Cameron. 7-10 leads 7-5. 17 minutes third term.
Sidebottom's the one's got his hands in the ball the last 4 or 5 minutes for Collingwood. You know, just trying to on that far wing of ours from us here in the commentary box, and he's got his hands in the ball a couple of times, and he's creating a bit of go forward for Collingwood. But lucky with the call, obviously, as an understatement. But you'll take it every day of the week as a key forward.
You're spot on there, Tig. But Sidebottom there, it came off back of Darcy Moore's intercept mark and moved it quickly. Sidebottom was on this near side, and he work rate to get outside to provide an outside option. We know Sidebottom's an elite runner, and he just provides that work rate, and that's why he's a good player for such a long time.
Such a smart footballer.
Yeah.
He's crossing wings a couple of times with his work rate to get across the other side of the ground. It's been outstanding to watch live.
No more hot pies, only cold pies, says Grant in Mora, WA. That's premature, Grant. They're certainly hot again with that goal from Darcy Cameron. Pat from Mullinup, also in WA. Love the way Ty commends the coaches. Doesn't happen enough. There we go. Ball up here. A shaky bounce. Main slides in. Gathers here for the Pies. Brings it away from the centre circles. Up inside forward 50. Intercept grab taken by Hunt. 48 for an offensive goal for the Demons. Short kick to Salem, dummies the hand pass, goes by foot Petrarca. Can they get it going here, Melbourne, from the logo members' side? He kicks around Main despite the attempted smother. High ball inside 50, 3-on-3. Ricocheted at ground level here. De Goey coming by. Noble lays the tackle on Spargo. Ball comes loose for Jackson of the Demons. Only as far as Moore for Collingwood. Now De Goey balks his way around Jackson. Great work from Jordan De Goey. Kick not so great. Down to Christian Salem.
Kicks in field and Hunt marks just forward of halfway. Looks in field, goes back to the edge of the centre square. Left foot entry to the corridor. Wiedemann has to play spoiler. Pendlebury Rose for Collingwood. Gave to Noble. Great tackle from Jackson. It's rewarded. That's holding the ball. Noble swamped on by the talented big man Luke Jackson, and he's earned a shot at goal from 25 out straight in front.
That's come off. Wiedemann made a critical forward contest just to bring the ball to ground to stop an intercept mark by Collingwood's defence. But Jackson, he just moves so well. There's so much energy for a big guy. I just love the way he goes about it.
This is becoming a seesawing affair. Collingwood lead currently by 5 points. Jackson's already kicked the one today. Straight in front, kicking to the Paddington end from 35 metres out, nurses it through, and Melbourne's back in front by a point. Demons 8-5-53, Magpies 7-10-52, 19.5 third term at the SCG. Ty Kennelly and Ryan O'Keefe. Well, maybe we've got overs already. Did we think it was going to be this tight for this long?
Yeah, no. I just think with Collingwood's ability to start the game and certainly the second quarter to get ahead, obviously, and they've fought back, they haven't packed it in at all, which is great for Nathan Buckley and the coaching staff. But I remember looking at Luke Jackson as a 17-18-year-old when I was coaching at the Swans, and our recruitment team were showing us some vision on him, and his ability to work hard and compete and get after players was what stood out. The concern was that he wouldn't be big enough in the AFL competition at 198 to be a ruckman, but what it's allowed him to do is to compete. And if you've got a ruckman, no matter how small you are, as far as 198 compared to a 210 ruckman, you've got the ability to compete like he has, you're going to get a game in AFL football and play well.
Time on third quarter. Melbourne back in front by a point. Oliver tried to go at it, beaten to it by De Goey. He sends the Pies inside forward 50 towards that contest. One-handed May had one arm pinned by Cameron. At the drop here, Lever. And now Petty's kick up the line will work out okay for Jordan. So Jordan here for Melbourne. The left back pocket, still inside defensive 50. Comes up the commentary side. It's a loose man in the contest. Trying to get out the back here, Tom McDonald from Melbourne. Harms's hand pass was deflected out of bounds by Madgen. We'll throw it back in between wing and half forward at Collingwood's attacking and the Randwick end of the SCG. It's 8-5 Melbourne, plays 7-10 Collingwood. 21.5 go on third quarter.
You're hearing it on the national broadcaster ABC Sport through Grandstand AFL. Lynch and Gawn, the two Maxes, go at it. Ground level, Oliver hands to Brayshaw. Through Spargo, back to Oliver. Under pressure, tackled by Pendlebury, but got his hand pass clear. Picked up and chipped forward by Harms. A short pass marked by Neil Bullen. Turns and kicks to half forward. Petrarca marks 60 from goal. And takes a moment to assess. Kicks it out on the full. Out on the full by a good margin, Christian Petrarca. Free kick will be taken by Quainer in the right back pocket for Collingwood. Quainer kicks it back from whence it came. Lynch flies in the pack, so too does Moore. Ball to ground level, Moore dives to tap it to De Goey. Collingwood's ball, hands it through side bottom to Thomas, burning through the bullseye of the SCG. Hand pass to attacking 50. Myercheck is there, rumbled off it. Play on, says the umpire. Good pressure from Petty. Men pile in. Ball's a call from both sets of supporters, but the umpire says no prior. It's going to be a ball up 40 metres from Collingwood's goal, with Melbourne leading by a point. 22 played third term.
Gawn taps it down here. Pulled out of it, Jordan. Now Harms dumped to the ground. Loose footy picked up by Sidebottom. Skids it to the pocket here. Elliott has two to beat. Breaks the tackle off to Poulter, who snaps again. This time it is away to the left-hand side. Poulter's missed again. Scores back level. Melbourne 8-5-53. Collingwood 7-11-53. 23 played third term.
I know what Poulter will be doing during the week.
What about Elliott's pickup? The speed that was coming at the SCG. We've seen wicked keepers picking up the ball at speed, but that was elite.
It's like Mark Waugh just picking off beautiful slips catches. Salem kicks long to the wing through Gawn's fingers. Wiedemann at the back, hands it to Petrarca, slips over, hand pass through traffic to Jackson and Neil Bullen. All this under heat, but they keep the ball, the D's. Hands back to Jackson. Now a little in and away there from Sparrow. Hands it wide to the boundary. Under pressure is Jordan. Tackled there by Maynard, and they've rumbled it over the line, the Pies. Or the D's. Which way do you want to look at it? It depends. But everything Melbourne seems to be doing is under pressure. And it's ensured we've got this tight contest. Locked at 53. 23 minutes third term. Throw in left half forward for the Demons. Gawn beautifully down to Oliver. Tries to take on Poulter. Caught with the ball.
That's a bit of the way Melbourne's been playing a bit. They've been trying to do too much. Rather, the start of this quarter, they've just been quite simple. First option going a little bit more direct. When they start overusing the ball and trying to be a little bit too cute, Collingwood's brought the pressure today and it's turning it over.
Scores level 53 apiece. Time on third term. Up it goes. Players converge. Gawn and Hibbert almost spotted each other. In fact, Lever, in amongst all that, has claimed the mark and paid it. So Lever from left half back. Up the commentary side. Jackson in from the side. Spotted the free kick here, has the umpire. It will go the Demons' way.
Yeah, against Lynch, he wasn't looking at the football, ran straight into Gawn.
So Max Gawn will have it just forward of the wing. on the entry. Off a couple of steps towards the pocket where Cozzy Pickett is up. It's a little too deep for him and fisted out of bounds by Quaynor. We'll throw it back in. 35 around from the left behind post. Paddington end. That's the end that Melbourne are attacking. 8-5 plays 7-11. It's 53 apiece. 25 gone. Third term.
Not sure about that kick. There should have been more direct top of the square.
Like, who he kicked it to also.
Yeah, Cozzy.
He almost set it up for the hanger. Cozzy had a couple of step ladders but couldn't really get up there. All thrown in left forward pocket. Oliver slung off the ball. Legally? No, illegally.
It's the same umpire to make the call before
Crisp the offender. Well, and he's down, Clayton Oliver. Another look on the replay, Ty Kennelly.
He's actually handballed it, and the tackle, I think the tackle was legit. He's actually handballed
the arms. Oh, dear.
You can't do anything like that. It's in a rotation motion. You can't do anything as a tackler. Like, what is Chris supposed to have done? It's
arms were free. Yep.
It's not like you haven't driven it. That's the momentum. Otherwise, as a tackler, you get hurt.
It's a stronger opponent on a weaker opponent. So he's obviously stronger than him, and he's thrown Oliver to the ground. So you're allowed tackle, but it's the same umpire to make the call as before. Maynard, the one was given for slinging.
Well, he's a classy player, Clayton Oliver. Angle acute to the left. He's got the journey from 45, but he's left it near side. But that puts Melbourne back in front at 8-6-54 to 7-11-53, edging in on three-quarter time at the SCG.
Collingwood from right full back. Main has it. Called to play on now. In front of the old grandstands. Up goes Cameron. Spoil from behind. Gawn. Rantel the sub for Sidebottom. Keeps it alive here. On the bounce out of Hibbard. Melbourne get it back. Now it's Petrarca. Goes the fend. Dumped here by Thomas. Ball comes loose. Holding the ball. Thomas gets up quickly. Hand pass off to Sidebottom. Still running. Up the line here for Elliott. He's 65 from goal. They're streaming forward here in black and white jumpers. Elliott stops. Assesses the options.
Yeah, too slow. I had an opportunity to go short earlier.
Spears the pass inside forward 50, trying to find Myercheck, and he's obliging with the second bite in the right forward pocket, no more than 35 metres out.
Sorry, Spriggy, who am I to tell Elliott what to do with the ball outside 50?
Myercheck was sitting there for ages, though. He was on his own for ages and finally got it, but look...
He knew what he was doing all the time. It's what they've done well here at half forward when they've won, or half back when they've won the ball. They've taken on that handball receive and came straight. You saw May dropping off Elliott and dropping way back for the long entry, but they've lowered their eyes hitting targets.
Spot on.
Couple of goals already for Brodie Myercheck. This for number 3, and to put Collingwood back in front. Expert set shot goal kicking. 3 goals for Myercheck. Magpies by 5 late in this third quarter. 8-11-59. Melbourne 8-6-54. There are twists and turns left in this game yet on ABC Grandstand AFL.
It's given us a bit of a prototype on how to play Melbourne going forward. You know, there's a bigger story to this game, obviously the story itself of the result, but going forward for teams playing against Melbourne and how you play them, if you do win the contest at the wing at all, is obviously you have to lower your eyes coming forward. We saw May dropping back lever. They do it a lot. You know, they're waiting for you to actually kick a longer ball inside your 50, but you actually do lower your eyes coming forward. There's options aplenty for you, and that's where Melbourne have got caught out a few times now with Collingwood coming forward.
They're putting enough romance into it for you, Tig. You thought
always go with the heart if you're unsure, hey?
We're getting the story here. The Pies against the ladder leading Demons in the last dance for Nathan Buckley as coach. They lead by 5 points, three-quarter time imminent. Gawn with a tap down in the middle for Oliver, who roves his own handball, gives it back to Gawn. The clearance is a hand pass wide to Rivers on the outer wing. He'll kick it towards the flank. Presenting and marking is Spargo. 2 kicks from goal. He's going to run on and kick wide around the boundary line to the pocket. Jackson the target, Moyle the thump. And into the front row of the stands where a couple of Demon supporters with their BF7 beanies on toss the Sherrin back to the boundary ump. It's going to be thrown in 40 metres from Melbourne's goal.
See, the start of this quarter, Melbourne, when they went inside, they were going a little bit more central and corridor, but lately they're going these wide out to the pockets.
Back in it comes. Roughhead taps it away. Hand pass farmed out from Dacos, only as far as Oliver. He's dumped in a crisp tackle, this time legally. He overruns the football, though, on the follow-up. Dacos tries again. He has the arms pinned by Rivers. The umpire signals, along with the siren, an end to the third quarter here at the Sydney Cricket Ground. Collingwood 8-11-59. Melbourne 8-6-54. Goal kickers in the game so far. For the Pies, firstly, 3 each for Darcy Cameron and Brody Myercheck. Singles for Will Hoskin-Elliott and Beau McCreary. While for the Demons, Luke Jackson has 2. Singles for Fritsch, Gawn, Harms, Neil Bullen, Oliver and Petrarca. There is 1 quarter left of Nathan Buckley's time in charge of the Collingwood Football Club. The emotion's been high all day. It's a nice occasion, as always, the Queen's birthday clash. Big freeze, 7, and there is 1 quarter to come on ABC Radio, News Radio and ABC Sport Digital. This is Grandstand AFL.
Conversations.
As a journalist in China, were you under surveillance by the state?
Spend an hour in the life of someone else.
We always worked on the assumption that the ABC Bureau office would be bugged.
Someone who has seen and done remarkable things.
So I didn't want to leave at all. I felt safe. And then at midnight, knock on the door, 7 state security police.
Hear the latest conversations. Weekday mornings from 11 on ABC Radio. And follow on the ABC Listen app or wherever you get your podcasts.
The 2021 AFL Premiership season on ABC Radio and on ABC Sport Digital.
Pickett's kick went over the head of Harms, took a touch. Jordan Mark gives back to Harms on the snap to the goal mouth. Roughhead got a fist there for Collingwood. Main Roves tackle, dispossessed. Fritsch swivels, snaps and puts the Demons back in front. Back to side bottom. His entry's an up and under Hoper to the pocket. 3-on-1 against Cameron, but Cameron claims the mark. Oh, Steve May touched that first, but Cameron's been paid the grab on the approach to the Randwick, and the Pies return to the lead. Pendlebury rose for Collingwood. Gave to Noble. Great tackle from Jackson. It's rewarded. That's holding the ball from 35 metres out. Nurses it through. And Melbourne's back in front by a point.
Thomas gets up quickly. Hand pass off to Sidebottom. Still running. Up the line here for Elliott. He's 65 from goal. They're streaming forward here in black and white jumpers. Spears the pass inside forward. 50. Trying to find Myercheck, and he's obliging with the second bite. This for number 3. And to put Collingwood back in front. Expert set shot goal kicking.
The 2021 AFL Premiership season on ABC Radio and on ABC Sport Digital.
You wouldn't yet say that Collingwood are in control, but they are in front, if nothing else, with a quarter to play here in the Queen's birthday clash at the Sydney Cricket Ground. It's Collingwood 8-11-59, Melbourne 8-6-54. You've got Brett Sprigg alongside Quentin Hull, and our experts on Grandstand AFL are Ryan O'Keefe and Ty Kennelly.
Look, Melbourne come out of that start of that quarter. They were direct. They were just playing really good, efficient ball going. When they went forward, they were a lot more corridor focused. But then, I don't know, as they sort of got control of the ball, they started overusing it. Like Oliver, how many times he got caught trying to do a little bit too much, and then their entries started going wide. But what Collingwood have done really well this whole game is they put pressure and heat. They brought around the ball, so they haven't just let Melbourne sort of bully him around that contest space. And they, like you mentioned it, Tiger, a few times, when Collingwood have turned it over, they've gone back with speed and gone with direct, and they're making Melbourne defenders defend.
Yeah, I tell you what, if Collingwood played with this attacking, aggressive style of football at half-back, they wouldn't be sitting not 17th in the competition, and Nathan Buckley would have a job. They've been so aggressive with their ball movement and the way they've taken off on turnover and came very attacking through the which has caught Melbourne off guard. And it's a way to play Melbourne. We're saying that during the call. It might be the prototype to beat Melbourne's press and the way they zone defence. But they've been aggressive with the ball, Collingwood. That's what they've been, and it's been a joy to watch them. And that often can happen. We talked about a pre-game releasing the shackles. In that quarter, Max Gawn was the one that lifted from Melbourne. We talked about and asked for it. You know, he gave them some impetus going forward. You know, but look, it's a good game. It's sitting pretty. It wasn't a great start to the game, the first quarter, but it lifted intensity in the third quarter from both sets of teams, and it's all to play for now. And you know, you got to back Collingwood, the fact that they've had a good 3 weeks, and now the emotional might get them over the line with the fact that Nathan Buckley's going to have his final address as a coach.
I was going to say, what's being said down there at the moment?
I love you boys, let's go. You know, but knowing Bucks being a measured coach, he won't change tack whatsoever. I think he'll be very happy the way the team has played thus far, and you know, it just, you're looking at him right now, they're getting pretty tight, and I'm sure Pendlebury be one that'll be very emotional.
Yeah, they've just had the magnet board taken down, and it wasn't all that long from Nathan Buckley, just a moment or two, no more than 10 seconds with his team really huddled around him. So it doesn't look like the great last stand demand from from the outgoing coach. He just looks business as usual as he comes from the SCG for his last three-quarter time address as a Collingwood coach.
Simon Goodwin holds them for a moment here. The Demons, they had to keep their nice start to the season intact. I mean, it's only one game really, but this is a big game, the Queen's birthday game. They are 11-1. They're going to be 11-2 after this.
Yeah.
By the way, the sub has been made, so I mentioned that earlier, just to repeat. Jay Rantel the sub was made at half-time, so Jay Rantel came on early in the third term. Still no sign of Melbourne's sub, Kate Chandler.
Just thinking of that three-quarter time huddle, I mean, if you're Nathan Buckley and you know that Scott Pendlebury's your captain, you don't really have to do much because you know what Pendles is going to do here. He's the one I'm really looking on in this quarter. He's the only one out there for Collingwood that actually played alongside Buckley when Pendlebury was a young player and Buckley was getting to the back end of his career. Two of the most famous names in Collingwood history. One's in the box for the last time and Pendles is going to start in the middle. That's the intriguing part of this story. And really, if Melbourne are to be who we think they are, they kick 6-1 in this quarter and win easily.
I think Collingwood have played, hats off, they've played well today. It's how Melbourne go about it. That's going to determine this game. Collingwood, you'd say, yep, they've played well. They've all played, given effort. So regardless of the result, that's a tick. It's just the way the game's gone, depending on how Melbourne's gone.
Collingwood by 5 points. 1 quarter to go. Here we go on Queen's birthday Monday. Gawn down to Petrarca. They'll win the first clearance. Wrapped up Sparrow. Can't get rid of it. It was good first effort to go in. Holding the ball was the call. Spoke too soon. No Melbourne clearance. The Pies will bring it away.
He's a tackler. Pendlebury.
Tagoe and Pendlebury. Yeah, it was a gang tackle in the end. So Pendlebury's the one to get the free kick.
Had a strong contested game today.
Kicking it short to the bullseye. Noble takes the mark. Just a little proppy on his left foot as he goes back on the mark. Very stagnant forward line in front of him. So he just drives it down the corridor. Myercheck bumps into the pack and gives away a free kick. Trying to attack the ball. That's going to go to Lever. And he will relieve Lever from full back for Melbourne. Called to play on. Runs off his mark and kicks out towards the broadcast wing. Drops in front of the pack and Quainer marks in front of Tom McDonald. So
nice
Collingwood
hops,
setting up for another entry.
Nice hop, very explosive, jumps high and takes the footy.
Quainer called to play on now. Loads up inside 50, goes searching for a marking target. Up in from the side, Cameron at the back, Lever in defence to Hibberd. Just gets away from McCreery. Dicey effort here near the goals. They'll clear through Harrison Petty. High ball beyond defensive 50. Crisp goes up, can't win it down. Gawn for Melbourne. Kicks up in the air. Roughhead parks himself under it and marks right smack bang on halfway. The Pies can go again. They lead by 5 points.
Almost a panic kick from Gawn there. As Roughhead gives to Quainer, kicks deep to a pack at full forward. Knuckle came in there from Lever. Roving and snapping on goal is McCreery, but it's across the face and through for a behind. Extends Collingwood's lead to a goal at 8-12 to 8-6, 2 minutes into the final term.
You're spot on there, Quinn. That was a panic kick. He had numbers around to feed and run off. It just shows the pressure Collingwood's putting on him.
May to Hibberd. They can exit defensive 50 here, the Demons. Fritsch couldn't hold on to the grab. Follows up at ground level. Petrarca beaten to it. McCreery mops up off the crisp. Pies can go again inside forward 50. Spears the pass to Myercheck. Mark not paid. Straightens up on goal from 35. It's well across the face and out of bounds on the full. No change to the score. Collingwood 8-12-60. Melbourne 8-6-54. 2.5 played. Final term here at the SCG on Grandstand AFL.
And Lever's going to bring in from the right back pocket. Runs away from the man on the mark, trots 20 metres before driving a right foot drop punt to the wing. Coming in from the side, Fritsch got a hand but couldn't mark. Roved by Crisp, hands it out the back to Maynard. His hands to Madgen. The kick from the wing back into attack for Collingwood. May with the fist, knuckles it towards the boundary line in the pocket for the Demons. Brayshaw tries to get a kick to it. Oh, he might have hurt himself there. Hoskin Elliott came in with a tackle. It's out of play. And Brayshaw just felt for, I think, his leg for a moment there, but he's okay. And we'll see the boundary umpire brought into action. 40 metres around from Collingwood's goal. Good touch there from Lynch. Beats Gawn. And I was watching the footy, Tig. What did you see?
Yeah, the goal he ran through Oliver. He's ran past the ball. I'll have to watch the replay.
That was a good piece of acting.
Yeah.
That is a great piece. He should be.
He caught him. I reckon he caught him high, Ryan.
Oh, but look at him. He's gone down like he's.
Yeah, I know.
Anyway, free kick to Oliver. Kicks it back to the wing and a pack on halfway. Underneath it, it's the Pies ball. Rough it out the back via hand to Moore to Noble, and his kick across half-back marked by Maynard.
He's got form, doesn't he, Clayton Oliver? The acting. I'm not saying that was the case, but...
He went down like he got shot, then all of a sudden free kick bounces straight back up.
This is the ball through the corridor. Noble finds Pendlebury just forward of the bullseye. On that left boot, going inside forward 50, and the mark is taken by Cameron.
I'm telling you, Collingwood would not be sitting 17th in the comp if they played the attacking style of football they've played today. It's aggressive. It's coming through the middle. Love to see it. And we're just looking at the replay of the goalie who he caught him pretty high in the replay. You two over there, Spriggy and Ryan O'Keefe, I'd like to see the two of you get an elbow or from a shoulder to the head like that.
I'm just saying.
I've got plenty of them, mate, because I actually went and got the ball tight.
I'm soft as butter, so I can't even. Darcy Cameron lining up for goal number 4. Importantly, to make it a 2-goal break to Collingwood at the start of this last quarter. On its way and straight over the goal umpire's hat. Cameron's got 4. The Magpies by 12. Inside the opening 5 minutes of this fourth term, Collingwood 9-12-66, Melbourne 8-6-54. Don't go anywhere. There is some sort of finish coming up on Grandstand AFL.
100%, Spriggy. And the goal has been the story, obviously, the way he's played the game, but his attack on the ball and the man, it's been a story in itself and what's going to come out of it. But, yeah, it's just the ball movement from Collingwood from mine has been great. It's back on Melbourne. You know, you can't write them off. They're top of the table. They will respond. They responded the second half, but aggressive ball movement, which you love to see at the SCG, certainly in a smaller ground.
And Cameron's been great today.
Oh, massive.
I know he's kicked 4, but he's provided a lot of contests and really good marks. And when Pendles gets the ball in there, he doesn't waste it.
And Lynch as well, you can add, the two big men in the absence of Grundy.
Yep.
Well, Romcom fans, Collingwood fans, we feel ya. It's set up for the big finish here. 2 goals to lead to the Pies. Jackson first touch in the middle for Melbourne. No clearance over the D's. It's Dacos for Collingwood. Handing it off to Bianco. His kick's a shocker. And intercepted by the Demons at half-back. Langdon's kick to the wing and a great fly and mark taken by Madgen.
Had to take it. Melbourne
in a
a lot of numbers
2-on-2.
on the ground. Yes, sorry.
Great mark. He's kicked to the edge of the square. Thomas waited for it. Spoiled away from him by Rivers. Melbourne's ball. Hand pass to the wing. Goes through the hands there of Sparrow. Hands to half forward. Spargo picks up. Gives to Harms. Deep, hoping entry to the pocket. In front. Almost a spoil from Moore. He brings it down. But Pickett roves. Fades 2. Doesn't shoot. He ran too far. No. Ran too far when hand passing to Spargo. No. Free kick. Pendlebury in the back pocket.
Can the Pies use it again through the corridor? Madgen waiting for it. Still inside defensive 50.
It's all gone their way, isn't it?
Switch toward the outer flank where Poulter receives an easy mark. Kicks towards the contest. Rantel tangled up there with Lever. Hacks it out of the air, and it's just going to hug the chalk here. McCreary keeps it alive on the right half forward flank. Runs straight in to Rivers, and eventually it is thumped over. We'll throw it back in. 45 around from goal. That's Collingwood's attacking end, the Paddington end. They lead by 12 points. 7 gone, final term. ABC Grandstand AFL from the SCG.
Oh, I can't believe that call against Pickett. I cannot. That was electrifying.
Throw in 50 from Collingwood's goal. Tapped boundary side. Pendlebury does the roving. Hand passes to Dacos. Little hand pass along the ground. McCreary picked up. Couldn't create much. And Harms is there. He's close to the line, and Pendlebury tackles the ball out of play. Last phases of Nathan Buckley's career as coach at Collingwood, and the 3-9 Pies, who started the round in 16th, are 2 goals to the good of the 11-1 Ds, who are the competition leaders. Throw in Lynch with the tap down front of the pack whistle. Free kick Collingwood. Dacos to be the recipient. Just beyond his range, 70 out at right half forward. What does he do? Called to play on, kicks to the corridor. Thomas the target, spoiled away by the Melbourne defence. Rivers brought it down, but Elliott rose for the Magpies. 1-2 hand pass exchange with Pendlebury. Elliott has a snap. His kick is smothered by Langdon. Langdon gets it back. It's Melbourne's ball on D50. His hand pass is a hospital hand pass to Petty. He's wrapped up, ball up. Still in attack for Collingwood. 40 from goal.
Tell me they're not playing for their coach.
Yeah, they've
Tell me they're not playing for their coach.
They have brought the pressure and heat, Collingwood. That's one thing they've really lifted this game.
Up it goes. That ground level Max Lynch. Backed it out of the ruck. And May can just dump it through for a rushed behind. So, handy point. 13 points the margin here. Collingwood leads Melbourne. 8.5 minutes played. Last quarter here at the SCG.
Stephen May taking his time with the inbound. Now steps beyond the goal square and is going to launch that left boot long towards the O'Reilly stand side. Gawn in the pack. Nudged off it. Roved by De Goey at ground level. Hands it to Main. Back to De Goey in the middle of the ground. Shrugs the tackle of Neil Bullen to hand to Madgen. Hands to Main. They're going backwards, but setting it up through Maynard at half back. He calmly slots it to Thomas. Takes the mark on the wing for Collingwood. And you can hear someone in the crowd telling Thomas what to do. He doesn't switch. He goes to the wide near boundary, and Hoskin Elliott takes the mark. Taking his time on this entry for Collingwood, who lead by 13 points. It's a deep kick from Hoskin Elliott to a big pack. Gawn's there, got a hand. Elliott Rose. Hand passes pinched though. Or half a chance for Sparrow. Holding the ball, incorrect disposal. And the tackle's been affected by, guess who? SP10. The game's a record holder, the only man on the ground who's played with Nathan Buckley. And this is a huge moment for one of the biggest names in this big club's history.
Tell me this is not a fairy tale.
13 points is the lead to Collingwood. We're 10 minutes into the final term and Pendlebury has a set shot. 45 degrees to the left. Imagine there's 90,000 at the MCG, ladies and gentlemen. Sydney will do its best. Here's Pendles from 45. The strike is as pure as you will see. Get out the tissues. This fairy tale's about to come true. 10 minutes into the final term, it's Collingwood by 19 points over the ladder leading D's.
You can see the enthusiasm. You even look on, just down on the bench, they're all high-fiving. They've got excitement. There's energy. Compared to the Melbourne bench, it's just very, very, subdued. They're getting to each other. They're playing with energy. They're just doing the little things by pressure, tackle, getting a hand in there. That tackle was just enough by Pendles just to get a hand in on a Sparrow. Causes a mistake.
I'm not sure it actually was a free kick. He's held his hand and he missed a handball, but he's got his foot to the ball. But yeah, you're right. The raw emotion's very visible from the Collingwood perspective and their effort and their intent, and it's back on the table. Team at the top of the table now. They've got to answer to show what you've got.
Game high lead, 19 points. Restart back in the middle. Gone out of the ruck. Follows up. Kick up and under. Crisp positioned. Spoils away. Langdon spills it here for Melbourne. Off the deck though. Only as, Harms spilled it as well. Langdon's kick goes only as far as Noble. And now Main back to Crisp. Magpies are away. Has space to bounce, does Crisp. The lad for Myrtleford goes inside forward 50. Elliott presents in the pocket. Controls the ball to his right. He's 35 metres out. An angle slightly tougher than 45 degrees.
They're just going with speed now.
Where's this been on?
Yeah, it's just direct. They turn it over, they get numbers, and they're running with speed and going direct. And making the Melbourne... I'll keep banging on about it, but they're making the Melbourne defenders actually have to defend.
Kicked 6 goals last week, Jamie Elliott. Hasn't had the same sort of impact, at least as far as goals, but he'd trade them all, I'm sure, for this one right here. He lines up the set shot to the Paddington end. It's away right to the behind line and forced through for a minor score. 10-14-74. It's Collingwood by 20 points. Melbourne 8-6-54. 12.5 played, final term.
What have the D's got? They've got 11.5 minutes. That's one thing. Playing on from defence and running away there is Rivers before he puts a hoping kick on the head of the pack of the square, and Quainer gets there to mark it. Terrible return of the ball to the field of play. Quainer puts Collingwood wide to attacking 50. Hoskin Elliott marks, and his best can almost make it from here with a man on the mark 50 out. He's taking his time, Will Hoskin Elliott, and now with nothing presenting.
You're right, Quentin. Obviously with the new rule, he's almost going to be kicking on the 50 if he does it properly.
Tough angle. 55 out, doesn't kick for goal. Looking for Elliott. It's over his head. Out the back of the pack. Knocked away from Rantel. Dacos roves. Tackled by Salem. Ball spills free. Rantel goes again. He's jumped on by Langdon. And the ball will be called a neutral by the umpire and thrown in the air in the right forward pocket by the Pies. Well, for the Pies, who lead by 20 points. And we've played 13 minutes of this final term.
Up it goes. Gawn taps it down. Langdon shoved to the turf. Ball jars free. Elliott slips the Gawn tackle. Ball goes with him, though. Umpire lets them play. It's come out the back. Hibbard to Harms. Gets away from Sidebottom. Wastes the hand pass, though. Out of bounds for a throw-in. Forward 50 stoppage coming up here for Collingwood. 25 around from goal. Paddington end. It's Collingwood by 20 points over Melbourne. 13 and a half played. Final quarter.
Melbourne just can't get their hands on the ball.
Yeah, smacking them around the clearances, not Collingwood. And it's Melbourne's midfielders, and Brayshaw's got a lift, and Petrarca around the football. Got to get him in there first. Petrarca, that is.
Cameron roves his own tap. He's tackled, kicks it up and down the mine shaft. Oliver's underneath it. No mark play on. It spills to Dacos. He's tackled. And again, another ball up. Now, we know that they are the most polarising club in football, but has there ever been any more neutral love around the country for the Pies than there is right now? I can feel it, guys. You're either thinking, no, not again.
Sidebottom's kick out of the ruck contest, smothered by Rivers. They follow up through Oliver, and now Harms clears the area here towards a 2-on-1. Maynard in from the side. Fritsch in there as well for the D's. Noble lays a tackle. The umpire waiting, and eventually says, give it to me. We'll ball up between wing and half forward.
I go with the positive. I mean, there might be others out there thinking, damn, Collingwood are going to get their way in Bucks last day.
Still in Collingwood's attacking half. 20 points is their lead. Petrarca wins it away here for Melbourne. Oliver's kick hurried up the line. In from the side, Moore through his fingertips. Jackson out the back. A free kick here for a hold. It will go the way of Melbourne and Jackson. So Luke Jackson, 65 from goal. Goes toward the hot spot, needs a marking target. Wiedemann's up there, Crumped at the back for Trucker. Hand pass Jordan, dumped by Quainer. Spargo comes through, overran the football. Noble can clear here for the Pies. It'll go straight, though, out the back. And taking a tumbling mark is Langdon. 55 out from goal. Goes into the corridor. Quainer missed it here in defence for Collingwood. Ducked in from behind. And a free kick for in the back.
They've got all the answers, haven't they, Collingwood? Certainly defensively at the moment, and that's been the story of the game.
Harms, the infringing player. Quainer has it, 25 from defensive goal, and it'll be 50 as well, I reckon. Not exactly sure what for.
I think Harms stepped off the mark, but it's going all Collingwood's way, isn't it? You know, it's funny the way the football gods work, and we all know that in this world.
One more will kill it off, you'd reckon, for the Pies. Here's an entry coming up. Quainer kicks wide. Hoskin Elliott marks. Hands it to Pendlebury. Chip to the pocket. Just too low for the diving Elliott. He half volleys it off his diving chest out of play.
They've got plenty of time, Melbourne, but the last stoppage you saw on the far wing with Max Gawn actually hit it outside the bubble of the inside players from Collingwood. It worked quite well with Petrarca getting the outside hit. That's what they need to do with Gawn getting his hands on the ball now a bit and get it outside that bubble so Melbourne can get some players running onto it.
Pendlebury saying that this might have come off the legs of someone, and now the three umpires have converged for a conference.
It's come off Elliott's knee, and they're saying it's on the full, but now there's discrepancy. Now it's
going to be a throw-in, which is what we thought. In the left forward pocket for Collingwood, the Pies leading 10-14-74 to 8-6-54.
Back in it comes. Gawn wins it down. Pendlebury dispossessed. Stripped of the footy by Petrarca. Oliver comes through, wrapped up by Cameron, and the umpire balled up again. Ian asks on the text, when was the last time Melbourne won a Queen's birthday match? Well, 2017. They won 16 and 17. Pies have won the last two. There wasn't one last year in its traditional slot. Hoskin Elliott off to Bianco. Kicks inside forward, 50 to a contest. First hand still here. A free kick's been paid to go Melbourne's way. It was Sparrow who got out the back and was wrapped up. So
I'll tell you what other record Collingwood have got a good record in Sydney.
Beg your pardon. Jordan comes up the line now for Hibbard.
And he rolls on. Looks to the corridor, but no one immediately presents, so Hibbard has to kick wide, and Rivers takes the mark just beyond left half back. Time becoming the enemy of Melbourne now. 8 minutes and change left. 20 points the lead to Collingwood. Rivers with the chip to Petrarca. He runs on and receives the hand pass. Rivers hands it to left half forward. Pickett has to gather under pressure near the boundary, and Poulter tackles him out of play.
Why give that handball? Like that's what they've overused the ball. The handball, their kick to handball ratio is way out of kilter for Melbourne. When they go a bit more direct, they're so potent. They've got 3 big keys up forward. Get it in there.
Collingwood by 20 points. Umpire throws it back in. One down from Cameron to Dacos. Hand pass to the outside. Crisp back in board now for Pendlebury. Tumbles a high ball up the line. Lever. Strong pack grab in from behind. They can thrust their way forward again, Melbourne. They have to make every possession count from here. Toward the flank. Getting back, taking a towering mark. Cameron at right half back for the Pies.
Been very strong in the air, obviously taking a couple of defensive marks, and at the other end has been all kicking 4 goals.
Chips it short to Noble, who marks on defensive 50 at right half back. All but dark here on this late Monday afternoon / evening. As Noble kicks a high ball down the outer wing. Lever gets to the drop and marks it for Melbourne. Hands it to Neil Bullen. Hands to Oliver under pressure. Gives it backwards to Petrarca. Keeps it in hand to Neil Bullen. 60 out. Chips it to the pocket. Pickett! Nudged Noble under the ball. Takes the mark. 35 out. Big moment in the game here for Keziah Pickett.
They nearly made a mill of that again, Melbourne, by just over handball overuse. Once they kicked it and got it forward, this is the result. They've got dangerous forwards that can create opportunities, take marks.
He's kicked 20 goals this year. He's become a fan favourite. But this is a big moment for Keziah Pickett. Melbourne trailing by 20 points at the 19.5-minute mark of the final term. Tough angle to the left. Pickett on the strike from 40 in the left forward pocket. Near side. And a behind. Pies by 19. At 74-55.
Claire says, OMG, go Pies. Someone sound the siren. Can't hold my breath much longer.
It's a bit like that, isn't it? You feel like Melbourne are going to lift. But Collingwood had majority answers this quarter.
About to hit Tom on this final quarter. More from the kick out to Madgen. They'll run the football here off half back. Unkind bounce for Noble. Gathers in front of Pickett. Kicks up the outer side. Rantel cops a push or a high tackle. Take your pick. Same result. Too high, says the umpire, and he comes back in board now for Maine. We're living and breathing this with you on Grandstand AFL. 0437 774 774, our text line. They come across here, switching from right to left. Roughhead inside defensive 50, back to Maynard, unchecked on the commentary side. Short kick to find Hoskin Elliott.
They're doing it well, Collingwood, just owning the possession. No, Melbourne's zone defence there. They're not giving it up, and they're just chewing time off the clock.
Hoskin Elliott infield to Maynard, who's had a big day. He marks and chips it to Crisp. 5.5 minutes of playing time to go. And 19 points is the lead to Collingwood. Crisp hands it back to Maynard. Now the long kick from the wing to attacking 50. In the pack, almost a mark there to Lynch. Roving is Elliott, hands it to De Goey. Left foot snap to the top of the goal mouth across the face and straight to Langdon of Melbourne. They can slingshot, they've got it at ease. He chips it to Pickett. He can't hold it up, Cozzy, you got to go. He chips it back towards Langdon, who'd run onto the wing. Poulter fringes with a front on spoil. And Langdon receives the free kick. He looks behind him and he's got Salem running in support. Gives the hand pass and chips it. Mark taken by Hunt. Hands it back to Salem. Here's the kick to attacking 50 for Melbourne. Big fly Wiedemann can't mark. Pickett one-handed pickup. Boundary tumbler. Needs to bend. Back there Hoskin Elliott there to save the day. His kick is smothered through for a point by Fritsch. It's a minor and a neat 3-goal lead to Collingwood.
That was horrible by Pickett. Absolutely horrible. That was, I don't know, that was selfish play. I'm not sure what it was, but that was just selfish play. That he could have ran in, could have given it to McDonald. It would have been an easy goal.
Moore's kick out is precise and marked at right half back by big Max Lynch.
It's a huge moment in the game right there, Pickett. It tells a lot of the story for the game for me, where Melbourne have been selfish in the way they've played today.
Spot on, Tyke, spot on.
Maynard back to Darcy Moore. They'll switch on here. Closer to defensive goal, the Pies at the Randwick end. Roughhead now comes to the left back pocket, right near the junction of 50 where Maine is waiting. One of their 2 inclusions this afternoon. The SCG is covered in artificial light. It's a black sky overhead. In the last 4 or 5 minutes of Nathan Buckley's coaching career. It's Collingwood by 18 points, or at least at the Collingwood Footy Club anyways. Brayshaw tries to claim the mark, but I reckon it's going to be out of bounds on the full. So either way, it's the same result. He sends it back up the line towards half forward. Petrarca marks 55 from goal.
They've got to kick 3 goals to level the scores. There's 3 minutes and 40 seconds left. Petrarca kicks to the goal mouth. Oh, Moore went the knuckle out the back. Langdon kicks a goal. It cleared the pack. 2 goals the diff. Timepiece stops with 3 minutes and 32 seconds left. Just when you thought the fairy tale was going to come true, we get the twist, Tiger and Rhino. It is 74 plays, 62. 2 goals the diff, 3.5 to play.
It's amazing what you get when you go direct. When you go direct, like, get it there, get it to a dangerous spot, not this little trying to be cute into the pocket. Go direct, top of the square, and something will happen.
Just going deeper with it, you're right. You know, and you often see it in football when I think it was Darcy Moore on this occasion. He comes from deep off his man, actually go long, missed the spoiler, comes off the top of his knuckles and straight to the goal square. We've seen a couple of goals run through over the back this weekend.
We've already had one draw this weekend.
So they put Pickett in the middle here. It just shows that looking for a bit of speed. This centre bounce is critical. This could determine whether Melbourne come back or not.
Did it finish 74 each in Hobart yesterday?
Yeah, it was a draw.
Restart.
It was
Joey. Pats it out the back here. Pendlebury beats Oliver to it. Keeps it moving here towards Chris. Pulled off the kick. Bounced off the back of Sidebottom. He follows up here for the Pies. Sockets it towards half forward. Hunt gets there first. He's run down by Sidebottom, and umpire says holding. I think he's a bit stiff there still, Sidebottom. Melbourne free kick from right half back. They trail by 12 points. 24.5 played final term.
It was a pair of fours. It was 94 each yesterday. With 74 to 62 here. On the wing, Collingwood's ball. Quainer hands it to Main. Over the top to Hoskin. Elliott tackle, dispossessed, holding the ball. Brayshaw wins the free kick.
Still a chance, Melbourne.
3 minutes on the clock. He chips inboard to Salem. Marks. Hands it to Hunt. Look at him run. Puts it under his wing. Goes as hard as he can. Hands it to Tom McDonald. Shrugs a tackle. Chips to attacking 50. Play on. High contact free kick against McCreery. And it's going to Sparrow. 55 from goal. He doesn't look like a man who's got the journey.
Just got to go top of the square, about 5-10 metres out from the square.
He does chip it to the goalmouth. Jackson the target. Pendlebury with the fist through for a behind. 11 points the difference.
I love my fairy tales, Quinton. Come on, Collingwood.
2.5 minutes to play. Well, that probably takes the draw out of the equation. 74 to 63.
Maynard to Main. On the angle finds Roughhead, still inside defensive 50. Can the Demons lock it in? They need 2 goals. As Quentin said, a couple of minutes left. Roughhead thumps it long beyond defensive 50. Lever up into the side. Gord takes the mark.
Got to rip it in. Got to get it in.
He wheels around now, Max Gawn. Toward the pocket. Needs a flyer. Pickett nowhere near it. Up goes Oliver on the bounce. At ground level, Madgen there for the Pies. Can they get that footy out? Oliver off to Quaynor, only as far as him, and now Myercheck comes wide, back to Crisp, and now Pendlebury. The Pies skipper is everywhere. Shares the hand pass to Maynard. Can they kick beyond left half back? Yes, back toward the commentary wing.
But he kicked to a 3-on-1. Lynch outnumbered and marked by Petty of Melbourne. Kicks in field to Hibberd. Marks at the edge of the centre square. It's Collingwood by 11 points. There's a minute and a half to go. May on the switch. Out on the left half-back flank, kicks it towards Hunt. They've got to get a goal quickly to give the grandstand finish. Hand pass off to Langdon under pressure. Up and under kick is out of bounds on the full.
Game over.
Free kick Collingwood on the right half-back flank. As we enter the final 70 seconds of Nathan Buckley's senior coaching career at Collingwood, in this iteration at least. You never say never in this game. Madgen's got it in the right back pocket. Pies fans, you've had to ride some bumps this year, but this will be worth celebrating. Madgen kicks to the wing and May's taken a hanger to give Melbourne a last surge forward.
May off a couple of steps. High ball up inside forward 50. Need the mark. Maynard claims it. Maynard takes the intercept. And the Pies can start again from right full back.
He has been outstanding today. From the start of the game, from get-go, his intensity, he's been brilliant.
Up beyond defensive 50, towards a 2-on-1 and off hands and over for a throw-in.
A shot on the big screen of Nathan Buckley, arms crossed, hardly with a ripple of emotion in his face. Staring out to the SCG, his boys have done him proud today. One of the great club legends in his last game as coach. They're going to upset the ladder leader, the Demons. Dacos with the clearance on the wing. Kicks it to half forward. Ball goes to Deck. 50-50 to be won at right half forward. Picked up by Lynch. He'll kick it to side bottom. Who takes the mark 40 from goal? The siren will sound. Collingwood will beat Melbourne in Nathan Buckley's last game as coach. And Steele's side bottom has a chance to kick a goal after the siren to really cap it off.
Pendlebury goes over to have a chat to him.
Well, the result is decided. And here at the SCG, it will make its own noise at this famous venue. But Pies fans, close your eyes. You know what it's like. Imagine there's 90,000 of you at the MCG. You're about to hear the song. Bucks has won his last game, and here's Steele's side bottom after the siren. His strike on the right is straight through the middle, and the Pies run to him to form a group of jubilant men. What a fairy tale for Collingwood. They've won it by 17 points.
Side by side they stick together to uphold the Magpies' name. See the barricades are shouting as all barricades should. Oh, the premiership's a cakewalk for the good old Collingwood.
Most footy fans love to hate them, but today has been a day for the football romantics. Collingwood have dug deep for Nathan Buckley and stunned the Demons on the Queen's birthday. 11-14-80 to 9-9-63. Melbourne led by 4 points at quarter time. The Pies by 16 at the half, by 5 at the final change, and in the end, winners by 17 points.
Good old Collingwood forever. They know how to play the game. Side by side they stick together to uphold the Magpies' name. See the barricades are shouting as all barricades should. Oh, the premiership's a cakewalk for the good old Collingwood.
Nathan Buckley is out there amongst it. He ran from the box to embrace his players. And the celebrations will certainly continue here for the Magpies. There'll be an on-ground presentation shortly to present the Queen's Birthday Trophy. Of course, the Neil Danaher Trophy and the Queen's Birthday Medal as well. Collingwood by 17 points over the ladder leaders to win it 11-14-80 to 9-9-63. Goal kickers for the winners. Darcy Cameron kicked 4. Myercheck kicked 3. Singles for Hoskin Elliott, Beau McCreary, Pendlebury and Sidebottom, which was the very last kick of the game after the full-time siren. And for Melbourne, Luke Jackson kicked 2. He had 21 touches as well, Luke Jackson. Bailey Fritsch, Max Gawn, James Harms, Ed Langdon, Alex Neil-Bullen, Clayton Oliver and Christian Petrarca also on the board. Time for us to take a breath on Grandstand AFL and hand things to our experts, Ty Connelly and Ryan O'Keefe. It was the definition of spirited for this Collingwood team to get up and win today.
Yeah, definitely, and it was led from the front. It was led from them, like we spoke about at the start of the game. It was really going to come around to that contest, that midfield battle, and Collingwood's midfield just dominated. Like DeGoey was fantastic, and then you had Pendlebury just played an absolute superb game, and then the young guys in the ruck really competed well against Gawn. And then as you go forward, Myercheck, he was busy, he's hitting the scoreboard, and then Cameron, he had a really good game, but then you go down the other end, Maynard, he was fantastic. He just led, he had that intensity, played with vigour, he plays with, he gives away a few free kicks with a bit of ferocity, but you love that about him, and that was that was just the sort of the passion and intent you were talking about at the start of the game, Tig. And yeah, definitely Collingwood just brought that heat around the contest. And to be honest, Melbourne looked like a bit of Melbourne of old in terms of just a bit of that selfishness, a bit of just try to do too much. And there's a few absolutely key moments, and probably typified when Pickett had that absolutely uncalled for, snap dribble when that's not a sign of a team that's on top of the ladder playing good team football.
Yeah, you're spot on, Ryan. This is why I love football. This is why you talk about people coming to the game from Sydney. The first quarter wasn't a great advertisement for our game, but this is what football's all about. These fairy tales happen when we can't predict them. We couldn't predict Friday night when we were here at the Swans versus Hawthorn. These things happen, and this is why we love football, because emotion can draw so much out of you as an individual, and you think you're trying hard, and then when you put in the emotion involved and you start thinking about it when you're out on the ground, well, things and football gods, we talk about it, happen, and certainly this is one of them. Football gods have spoken and clearly on the side of Nathan Buckley, and Coles went their way, and the ball bounce went their way, and the look at the draw, look at the game went their way, and that happens. Now, I will say this, the last 3 weeks they had changed the tide a small bit, lost by a point Port Adelaide, 10 points to Geelong, and obviously last week's win.
Let's join our on-field presentation downstairs.
Beast, that is motor neurone disease. The Neil Danaher Trophy is awarded each year to the player judged the best on ground in the Big Freeze match. Presenting the trophy today is Olivia Blur, who sadly lost her mum 3 years ago to MND. Together with her aunt, Olivia has raised $100,000 to help fight MND, cure motor neurone disease. The recipient of the 2021 Neil Danaher Trophy is Collingwood's Scott Pendlebury.
That completes the fairy tale. The only man who has shared the field as a player with Nathan Buckley. He was everywhere in that second half to make sure they got there. And Scott Pendlebury, best of field in the Queen's birthday game.
First off, I'd just like to thank Melbourne and to our boys as well. To play on a game like this, M&D, it means a lot to both clubs, I know that, and to come up to Sydney and play this year, it was great to play in front of a crowd, and thank you for your support, and best of luck to Melbourne for the rest of the year. And lastly, to Bucks, it was great to send you out on that note, mate. That was awesome, so well done.
Scott Pendlebury, best of field for the second time in his career in this fixture. 2009 was the other.
Congratulations to Scott, and also for Collingwood as well. Very deserved win. And thank you to everyone who have supported Fight MND in their amazing efforts to find a cure for motor neurone disease. We're all behind you.
There we go. And over $2 million raised as well, which was well beyond the target. Big Freeze 7. Wasn't the same. It wasn't a roaring MCG.
It was a good crowd, though.
Good crowd, but this result gave us so much more as well.
I'll never forget this game. And outside of the fairy tale, do we take a moment to say, is this just a day for Simon Goodwin and the D's where they had a blip, or have there been a couple of weaknesses exposed, or are they a tired team who's been so good looking for a week off?
Oh, look, they didn't play their best. Like, you get missed kicks, fumbly, like they were trying to do too much. You can see when they were good, their good is very good, but they just sort of slipped in some poor, bad habits. That's all. So I reckon what they've shown, they're not in that position where they are now, to saying, hang on, the wheels are falling off and there's a massive alarm bells. They had a bad day. And they had a bad day because they slept, and this happens to all teams. You sort of get complacent a little bit and you think you're going okay, and then you just need a bit of a recalibration. And I think Goodwin's great, and his coaching staff will look at it and go, hey, look, this is not us. We know what wins for us and what doesn't. Let's get back to the way we've been playing all year.
The Collingwood players have joined where the most Pies fans are, in the lower level of the Victor Trumper stand, to really share this with their fans. There's a banner that says thanks Bucks with number 5 emblazoned across it, and they're really revving up those fans who were so appreciative of the 17-point victory. Courtesy of the host broadcaster Channel 7, Nathan Buckley spoke with Jude Bolton a short time ago.
Bucks, what has it been, this final victory, just in the black and white?
Yeah, it's better than the alternative. The boys were amazing. It's a really
solid four-quarter performance against a team that's been performing really well. So it's in the moment it's awesome.
I saw at three-quarter time you gestured towards Braden Maynard. You said, "I love you." Some of your defensive efforts.
No, he played out of his skin. So did Geordie. So I mean, when it's a final game, it had a bit of an air of a big game occasion, and boys were able to stand up. So it's awesome.
Must have been pretty pleased though to see them execute.
Yeah, for the most part, we had some young boys that played some really important roles. I mean, it's going to be a pretty good footy team. So yeah, they're on their way.
Congratulations.
They're trudging up the outer side of the SCG. Thanks to Channel 7 for that. And Braden Maynard still with Nathan Buckley, walking side by side, as it were, for the Magpies, who will be clapped off the field here at the SCG.
There's probably two guys that are stiff that didn't get that award, I thought. Like, the Pendles had a great game, in my opinion, but I reckon there was two players that were better than him today.
Yeah, Maynard was.
That was Maynard and DeGoey for mine.
Maynard started the game. His first 90 seconds, he was involved in about 3 or 4 contests, and he's hitting hardness around the game. But, great sentiments from Bucks. But clearly, Collingwood were playing inspired today. They were an inspired football club. What Melbourne didn't do was concentrate on the process of how to play, and they almost got caught up in the game itself and the emotion involved in the game. I was trying to say that at the start of the game, draw on the emotion of your own team and what you need to do as a football club, and not get involved in the emotion of the opposition.
The Collingwood fans have converged around the race, where Scott Pendlebury is leading the applause for Nathan Buckley, who will lead them off. Not sure if they'll cheer him off, but yeah, I think they're going to. He's just he's got his young bloke down there, his sons, which he's hugging now in front of the fans. His players are lined up. And after 27 years of constant involvement, player and coach, Nathan Buckley departs for the Collingwood Football Club after close to 500 games. It's an emotional moment. And we'll try and drop into the song as well when that sort of gets roaring as well. I'm sure they'll belt it out. Collingwood winners here by 17 points on the Queen's birthday, handing Melbourne its second loss of season 2021.
It's a bit I was just going to say that. What's going through his head right now, and he said it in the question there with Jude, is this team's going to be a good team. Like, there's that sadness, but obviously the enjoyment of winning the game of football, but the sadness that he won't be continuing on as the coach.
And here we are in Sydney, describing it not on a big day at the MCG. All of these, it just from, you got to take it when you get it in sport and in life, and sometimes even the perfect finish might not be perfect, and that's what we've got today in a sense. They've knocked off the ladder leaders, but it's a season which looks like it's going to be pretty much a trudge through the mire to try and get something out of it. But in the moment, for today, they've been able to celebrate, or certainly a victory that's going to be long remembered for those that love black and white.
WA listeners will leave us very shortly in about 20 or so seconds. We can see the Collingwood players circling up in the rooms, and we'll bring you the song when we can at the earliest possible opportunity. But it certainly is going to be an emotional rendition of good old Collingwood forever, because they've got the chocolates here today. There's plenty of sad Collingwood fans, I'm sure. As you say, it's bittersweet. They got the win, but seeing Nathan Buckley depart the club, albeit amicably, as you said, Ryan O'Keefe, it certainly is a moment in time that Collingwood fans, I'm sure, won't forget. And WA fans have just departed us. So let's go to the song. I think the word is gusto.
Very much so.
That's the term we use to describe that kind of rendition, but they're very happy.
It's a release as well for a club that has been under the pump ever since quarter time of the second week of the finals last year. Essentially,
Yep.
Geelong smashed them in the first quarter of that cutthroat final, and they were humiliated through the rest of that game. The off-season was, in many eyes, a disaster for them, and they lost their very high-profile president. The
Footy manager, list manager.
Well, the club's behaviour as an organisation when it came to handling of Indigenous people was questioned. It's been a nightmare ever since for Collingwood, but today, in that moment, they get to release and enjoy one of the good things of their club and their sport.
And that's right. Like, today's what it is, but these decisions have been made for a reason. And I don't know, we mightn't all know the truth of it, what it is, but this parting of ways is happening for a reason. It's not just a random pluck of an idea. So there's obviously some, from the powers to be there, they've made a decision, and it's obviously where they want to go and how they want to go about it is different without Buckley in their plan.
Yeah, but it's hard. Like, the club's not united. It's clearly not united. They were exhausted before the season even started. What happened in the off-field situations? What went on with the football club? And ever since obviously the trade thing that happened, their general manager Jeff Walsh stepped aside. He was there for 12 years. Then the list manager steps aside, and then obviously the president. They lost all key leadership personnel in that football club, bar the captain and the CEO, in the last 9 months. So there was a lot going on in that football club, and the changing of coach is not going to fix it. You're going to need some unity above, and the top brass is going to have to come together to try and bring this club forward, which is the biggest club in the country.
So it's interesting whether, and that's what I asked that question on Liquor earlier on, is like, what direction are they going to go for? An established big name coach, or what?
Well, they've had 2 coaches in 23 years.
What are they going to, like, what direction are they going to do? That's going to be the interesting play out of all this.
Well, you've asked the question if you've got a Ross Lyon or Alistair Clarkson types. If you're Ross Lyon, I'm looking at Carlton as a better list as far as further advanced, and you get more out of them right now from a Carlton perspective. Now, that's saying David Teague's obviously still in contract, and respect to him, but I'm just throwing it out there as far as if you're Ross Lyon or Alistair Clarkson, which I'm just throwing the names out, that Carlton's a better mix for Ross for mine. But who they go after, I think they got to go after an experienced coach.
I'll just give you some numbers. Final scoreline again: Collingwood 11-14-80 to Melbourne 9-9-63. Both teams with a bye next week. De Goey with 32 possessions, Maynard 32, Pendlebury 31, Main 25, Sidebottom, Hoskin, Elliott and Crisp 21. Just want to isolate this final quarter. Pendlebury had 10 disposals, 2 clearances, 2 inside 50s, 4 frees, 4 in the last quarter for Scott Pendlebury. What a last term from a hell of a leader. Petrarca leading the way for Melbourne with 27, Salem 26 and 23 possessions to Jordan, Harms and Oliver. Overall, Collingwood had 395 disposals to Melbourne 357. Contested-wise, +4 to the Ds at 87 to 83. Clearances +10 to Collingwood, 34 to 24. The Battle of the Maxes is another story. Lynch was a big fine for the Magpies today against his more credentialed namesake in Gawn. Inside 50s, Melbourne had 7 more at 54 to 47. And the free kick count in the end was Melbourne 28, Collingwood 17. 17 points, the final margin, and the crowd figure 16,453. Certainly not what you would have got at the MCG today, and our thoughts are with those who have been affected so much by yet another lockdown in Melbourne. But, in the state of affairs and the state of life at the moment, if you're a Collingwood supporter, you've got to take what you can get. And I think no matter where you've taken that in today, Pies fans, we hope you've enjoyed the ride and you've got a smile on your face.
Q, what time's you playing?
In about an hour and 20 minutes.
Okay.
I've got a very friendly colleague, the great Alistair Lynch. So I'm borrowing the resources of pay television. He's got a car waiting. So Big Lynchy has very kindly said, righto, mate, you come down once you're done and I'll give you a lift to the airport. So thanks for your company again, boys.
Been great, Q, as always. Thank you very much. While you're on your way, we'll get some reaction downstairs from Sophie Clappin outside the Collingwood rooms very, very shortly. Here the Pies, 11-14-80 to Melbourne 9-9-63. Victorious on the Queen's birthday for their 4th win of season 2021. Now, the fixture for next week has just been confirmed. mostly as scheduled, or probably half of it as scheduled. Geelong v Bulldogs at Kardinia Park on Friday night. So it's apparently at this stage no crowd allowed for that game in Geelong on Friday night. Saturday, as scheduled, Gold Coast Suns v Port at Carrara. That's the 1:45 game, Eastern. The twilight game, North and the Brisbane Lions, was supposed to be Docklands. Now it's at Bellerive. That's the 4:35 game. And then at Giants Stadium, we'll be there for the Giants v Carlton Saturday night. The only game on Sunday with Hawthorn Essendon, it was scheduled for the MCG. It's now been moved to Launceston. So that's what the fixture looks like in AFL round 14. These two teams have the bye. Melbourne have got the bye, and then Essendon, the Giants and Port. Collingwood have the bye, then Freo, St Kilda and Richmond all in Melbourne at this stage. But, just the one game in Victoria, the game in Geelong on Friday night, and that is the just hot off the press fixture for round 14.
Yeah, be hanging for a game in Melbourne, obviously, to get a game and to go and watch. And I've mentioned probably the week afterwards, it's like the crowd's going to be 50% of what it's going to look like for Melbourne supporters. And
I can't fully understand the issue if Geelong's a regional area that they can't have some sort of crowd there, but I'm not one to get into all that sort of questioning anyway, so it is what it is. I'll give you the votes, Ty, because seeing as Ryan did Friday night, I don't want them quite yet. We've got our interview to come from downstairs, but we were talking earlier about the section of turf that Nathan Buckley was given, and you couldn't quite believe what you were hearing. But the answer is, I was being fair income. The SCG Trust have given Nathan Buckley like a little box with some SCG turf in it to signify and mark the moment that he ended his association with Collingwood.
I don't know what's his association with the SCG or Sydney's about. Anyway, look, I see that. It took the Swans. I think it took the Swans to win a premiership after 72 years to get a piece of turf. But
we couldn't train in this ground for
exactly
10
right.
years, and they're giving away the turf.
This is like no knock on Bucks or anything like that. Absolute legend of the game. It would be more appropriate to give him a MCG turf than SC.
It's bizarre. Anyway, 0437 774 774. Your texts always remain welcome. G'day, Pies fans will be celebrating tonight, but tomorrow we'll wake up and ask a serious question. Why the hell does it take the coach to resign before we play like that? If I was a Collingwood fan, I'd be filthy, says Peter. Well, you sort of touched on that through the game.
It happens there. It happens there. You know the Robinson Crusoe. It happens all the time. It's just an amazing. I don't know. It's the pressure. It's the build-up. But as I said, these decisions happen for a reason. If we ever know the truth of it, I'm not sure. But there's obviously a method to it.
Andy in Footscray rightfully points out Collingwood men's team under pressure all year. Their women's teams got to an AFLW prelim and VFLW minor premiers. Thanks, Andy. I suppose talking about the club holistically as well, we can say that it's been a tumultuous time for them. There's no sort of... That's not incorrect, I suppose, to say either, given all that's going on at the moment. Michael says, great call. Like the special comments from Tiger and Ryan. Always learn heaps. Tiger tip Collingwood. Thanks for the reminder. I thought Ty, that's not going to happen. But Michael, yes, he was.
I've had a good weekend of tips, actually.
Okay.
Very good. We tipped the Hawks and an upset also.
Dan in Epping says, told you they'd trip. Cheers. I can't remember that text coming through, Dan, but I'll take your word for it. Peter from Hampton says, oh, bugger, the Collywobbles responded to emotional nonsense. Oh, okay. Obviously a cynic or a sceptic, Peter. And there's a few. Imagine if the Pies played like this all year, says one anonymous texter as well. So, great to have you with us right through the day on Grandstand AFL, wrapping things up here at the SCG, where Collingwood victorious by 17 points over Melbourne.
It's sort of interesting. We're at that point of the year now where... I think we've mentioned it on Friday, Tig, where the ladder's starting to sort itself out. And where the finals is pretty much by those probably last two spots are pretty much sorted out. It's these teams now. Look, Hawthorn did it Friday. You look at North Melbourne starting to play better football, and Collingwood. It's almost like, okay, we know where we sit. We're not going to make finals. Let's take that off the table. Let's take all that pressure off us. Let's just go for it. So now they're starting to play more attacking, more exciting brands of footy. So, it's like, why didn't we do this? But pressure makes amazing things on people.
It's a great point, because on the flip side, the teams that are in the 8 can almost feel a bit comfortable and approach a game. Well, we're here, we're there, and it's we got a week off this week, and Melbourne did look tired, but you're right, they can approach it the other way as far as we're there, we're in the 8, and take the games a bit lightly. But there was some concerns and some signs from a Melbourne perspective that was worrying, as far as, and you mentioned it, Ryan, that the past Melbourne team, in the past. Oh, look. they've been outstanding, and we won't jump at one loss, but I've just still have a question on them for some reason because they haven't done it in September. And
I'm the same. I've always
last time I saw them was when they played the Giants down at Canberra, and I was still questioning it even then. And they've been super. They've beaten who they've beaten, but it's going to go back to the big days in September and how they can go. But they're doing everything right to put themselves in a strong position.
Sorry, Ryan.
No, you're spot on, Ty. And that's I've got the same sort of hesitation about the D's. Like, they're playing brilliant footy, and they're doing really well, but it's probably too many like missed opportunities, or the way they've played in the past. It's put a bit of a reputation on them as a club and as a football team that they haven't done enough runs on the board to prove anyone wrong. So the jury's still out on them.
Some other news to hand as well coming through. Match review news out of yesterday's games. Shane Mumford's been charged with misconduct for that tackle on Taron Thomas. He can accept $1,000 sanction with an early plea, so nothing there as far as suspensions or anything. If you missed it earlier, during half-time, the news came through that the AFL will contend that the David McKay-Hunter Clark contact was severe and that there should be a 3+ match suspension for rough conduct. And it was also revealed in that same press release that Steve Hocking has referred that directly to the tribunal rather than the match review officer, Michael Christian, whose job it usually is to do those sort of things.
I just watched it again. How that is just a fair contest at the ball. Like, that is ridiculous that's sort of getting mentioned. David McKay did not try intentionally to hurt someone. It was a fair crack at the ball, and it's a collision. Unfortunately, someone got hurt.
It might seem ridiculous based on what we know and what we've seen, but the AFL clearly wants to have a conversation around how we approach head-high contact, and this is a landmark case now.
Yeah, it is. Look, and I looked at it again last night when I was at home, in the replay and the vision, and they were talking about it on TV, and he sped up into the contest. Okay, now he's a quick player and he's quicker than his opponent. So what are we going to do? Punish a player for actually speeding up into the contest? We want to encourage our players to actually go after the ball and go at the ball. You want them to actually slow up and not go after the ball and not touch the opposition or not run through the ball. That's when more injuries are going to happen. The collision injuries are going to happen in our game, and it's part of it. We can have the discussions, but the fact of the matter also is there's a process in all the decisions, what's happened in the match review panel, and it's undermined Michael Christensen's role in his job, as they've come over the top of him and said, no, this should be a 3-week suspension, which I'm finding staggering because it is a process in place and there's a reason for the process in place, so it's done properly. And look, the incident itself, I can't believe we're still talking about it. It's going to be the issue that's going to be huge in the game, and the AFL are getting what they want, a discussion on it.
Melbourne remains on top. The Bulldogs have the game in hand, so a chance to go top next week due to their superior percentage. Geelong in third, of course. That will be a big game on Friday night in Geelong. No crowd, we're hearing, for that game to start round 14. Brisbane, Port Adelaide, Sydney, the Eagles, and Richmond makes out the top 8. Freo, a game further back from there. The Giants, due to the draw, half a game behind them in 10th. Essendon, Adelaide, St Kilda. Yes, we'll get down to you, Soph, very shortly. Carlton, Gold Coast, Collingwood, Hawthorn, and North Melbourne, the current, I guess, wooden spooners, if you like. Collingwood winners by 17 points here. It was spirited right to the end. The man who had the footy in his hands right at the end and kicked that goal after the siren, Still Sidebottom, is down there with you, Soph.
Thanks, guys. Still, what a win after probably a very tough and emotional week. I mean, you must be so pleased with it. How are you feeling after that victory and, under bucks for the final time?
Yeah, mixed emotions. It's been a really, like, I've never had a coach being sacked during the year like this, and it's just been, I suppose, very weird for me. Bucks has been at the footy club for the whole time that I've been there, and it's going to be really different, going into work every day and him not being there. There were just a few words spoken about him down there then, but I think even in my life, I don't think I've met a more caring person. The amount of, care and that he has for all of his players. He's a very passionate man. If he's doing something, he's doing it to the 100%. So I'm just really pleased that, the boys were able to put in a great effort tonight and send him off in style.
You could see the passion on the boundary right at that final siren. What was his message at 3/4 time, pretty much his last address to you guys?
It was actually quite brief. He actually just said thank you. I guess just for the experience that we've all shared together. It was very, very short, and just thanked all the boys. And I think the way that we fought out that last quarter shows, what Bucks means to the group. As I said, it's going to be different, but I'm sure he'll succeed in whatever role he moves into. He's got two young boys that he'll obviously love spending a lot of time with as well. So I'll miss him, but as I said, I'm glad to send him off in style.
Let's head upstairs to our experts.
Steele, Ty Kennelly here, mate. Well done on the result. It's clearly a bit of emotion in your voice, and you can tell what he means to you. How was the week? How did he coach, Nathan?
Well, as I said, it was very weird. I guess for me, I just always had it in the back of my mind that, Bucks wasn't going to be there next week. And I tried to, enjoy the week. There was probably stuff that he was saying that was going, straight over my head, because I probably wasn't concentrating on what he was saying. I was more thinking about, potentially what had happened and what it's going to be like going forward. But I guess, at the end of the day, and Bucks just sort of mentioned it there, it's when you have a tight-knit group, and, Bucks is clearly a part of that. The X and the O's and all that kind of stuff, really don't matter when the whips are cracking out there. And I'm just really pleased that the boys were able to grit their teeth and come away with the win. You believe in fairy tales, obviously, and the footy gods know they were speaking tonight. You had some form coming into the game. You've had a good 3 weeks of football. Yeah, we have, and me personally, I think every game this season we've been in games, and we, for whatever reason, we haven't been able to finish them off. So for the boys to be able to get a bit of reward at the end of it, is something very pleasing.
Yeah, still Ron O'Keefe here. Look, congratulations on that. As one of the senior players, when all this news in the week was going on, did you just grab the playing group together, and what sort of message did you do? I think the best thing that we could have done as a playing group is come out and play the way we did, to be honest. As I said, it was a very unique experience for everyone. I'm sure one that Bucks doesn't like being a part of either, but I guess at the end of the day, everyone's got to move on, all of us Bucks. But, I guess it was just important to make sure that we didn't sort of project too far ahead, because clearly we're playing the best side in the comp. So, whatever we did, I guess in the end has worked. And now that you got a week off, and obviously this is all gone, and you let it all sort of marinate, do you as a playing group, or especially a senior, say, leadership group, do you have any sort of influence, or will they come to you to talk about, what's going on going forward in terms of the coach, the style of coach you want? Well, to be honest, I've got no idea. Potentially the skipper, Pendles, I think he's got a pretty good IQ, so... I'm not sure. They'll have a panel or whatever in place, but I guess it's not up to me who coaches, but I'll leave it up to them guys, I suppose. You've played plenty of footy with Scott Pendlebury. How big was he today? And he's huge. I think every time there's a big occasion or someone needs to stand up, it's Pendles every time, and there's no surprise that it is him, because the things he does during the week, I've actually said that I think Pendles could probably coach us himself. He's, as I said, he's got a very good footy IQ. He sees the game so well, but I'm very privileged to be able to play alongside him, and he probably makes me look good a lot of the time as well. But he's a jet, and I think he's still got a few more to go yet. Back-to-back wins going into the bye. How will you spend the break personally? Well, at the moment in Victoria, we've got a 25k lockdown thing, so I might be able to go to the supermarket at home. I'll enjoy a few beers and spend it with my family back in Melbourne. Hopefully by Thursday they might open up, and I'll be able to head back to Shepparton to see the family, because it's been a bit. But for the meantime, I'll just tuck in at home, and hopefully we get some nice weather. Steele, great work today. The emotion was palpable. Great win. Appreciate your time on Grandstand AFL. No worries, pleasure. Thank you. Steele Sidebottom with us here on ABC Radio across Australia. Ty Kennelly, votes in the ABC Footballer of the Year, please. Bit of emotion, wasn't there, in his voice there, Steele, obviously.
I'm going to reverse it with one vote on to Scott Pendlebury. I think his impact late in the game, he had 10 disposals in the last quarter. You get 31 disposals, 11 kicks, 20 handballs, 12 contested possessions, 5 clearances. Jordan De Goey with 2 votes, 32, 3 contested possessions, 6 clearances. Had 4 score assists, but Braden Maynard was the 3 votes for mine. The way he started the game, his impact physically, his intensity, his effort around the ball was clear. His intercept marking was outstanding, his disposal, and clearly wanted to play for his coach. And well done, Collingwood, and on the back of those 3 guys.
Let me just look at your votes there, Ryan. What have you got? Same?
Exactly the same. We didn't even talk about it or look at it exactly the same.
That's why you were so successful together.
Exactly. We're singing on
synergy. 0437 774 774. Well, there's the blueprint to beat the D's.
Yeah.
Sack the coach the week before.
I don't think that's sustainable.
Maybe Collingwood should sack their coach every week to get results like that.
Yeah, I'll come back to that in a sec. Bulldogs in the NRL. Bulldogs 28, Dragons 6. That was the Queen's birthday game there, happening across town at Stadium Australia. And here it was Collingwood by 17 points over Melbourne, 11-14-80 to 9-9-63. Scott Pendlebury with the Neil Danaher Trophy for best on ground for the second time in his career. So where does it sort of leave Melbourne? Obviously, we know that they're beatable. They're still on top for now and still very much a contender. Is it just a matter of wait and see until September?
Oh, every team's beatable. Yeah. Like you're going to have ebbs and flows in your form, and I think we mentioned it before. Like this, they sort of just slipped into some bad habits that they've had in the past, and that's probably why there's still some question marks about them. But they've been playing some great footy and great team footy all years. They just need to get back to that. That's all. It's not a massive shift. It's just a tiny little mindset. And we keep going about how powerful mindset is in the game. Just need to retweak get back to what we've been doing all year. We don't have to change. We don't have to reinvent ourselves. It's just a little calibration.
They're very much a stoppage team, Melbourne, and they win the stoppages, they win the clearances, contested possession, they get the ball forward and they play territory football where they set up really well behind the ball. They got smacked around the ball today, and Max Lynch was huge for them in the ruck. Max Gawn had a good spell in the third quarter, but they really dominated. The on-ballers didn't have answers for De Goey or Pendlebury around the ball, and when you come up against a team that are a really good stoppage team, and if you can neutralise it and you can get the ball forward and the way actual Collingwood used the ball by taking the ball on at half-back and being aggressive. I haven't seen a whole lot of it from Melbourne, and lowering their eyes going inside forward 50 metres. Melbourne defenders look average. So there's a prototype on how you play Melbourne. Beat them at the stoppage, and if they do win the ball at the stoppage, you turn it over at half-back. Be aggressive with your ball movement.
What a day. The SCG's Football Festival, 4 games in 9 days, comes to an end. It's been great to live it with you, Ty Keneally, Ryan O'Keefe.
Awesome.
Thank you, as always, for your time here on Grandstand AFL. Thanks to Sophie Clappin on the boundary, and nice to get Still Sidebottom as well after such an emotional win for the Pies. And thanks to Aaron Bryans back in the studio, and to Way on the Faders here at the SCG. Big Freeze 7 has wrapped up. The Pies have beaten the Demons by 17 points. What a way to end round 13. You can join us again on Grandstand AFL from Friday night from Cardinia Park, Geelong and the Bulldogs to start round 14. That will be a blockbuster. But for now, from the SCG, thank you most importantly for your company, and we say farewell on Grandstand AFL.